Right, we're live, ladies and gentlemen, on the World Cup Watchalong, and it is a fantastic way to kick off the tournament. Given the fact it was last Test final, Australia, New Zealand, the Trans-Tasmanian rivalry. I'm Avnish Hegde. You're watching the CDC Watchalong, the first one of many this World Cup, and I'm joined in by an Aussie fan and Anirudh Suresh, and of course our chief editor. How do I introduce you sometimes, Somesh?
Just
don't
just
understand.
say my name. You don't have to
The
add.
brain.
Somesh Agarwal, of course. Guys,
The
Australia
brain
winning the
behind
toss,
CDC.
bowling first. First thoughts.
Again, Aaron Finch has done it again, I
He
guess.
just has these knack of winning tosses. Some's a joke.
Yeah.
The knack of winning important tosses.
Important tosses.
Not just knack of winning tosses.
And
How much did you win on a
yeah,
coin toss?
exactly. How much did you win in a
And I'm
coin
sure
toss?
he'll pick the best match to lose the toss, like some after maybe Australia have seal qualification or whatever. He might just lose
for
the toss against Ireland or
And at
whoever.
times when Aussie captains lose the toss, opposition batters opt to bowl first.
Exactly. If you know, you know
Say-
that. Listen, there's going to be lots of things you're going to be seeing in this watch along. Not just this one, but the next 14 that we have planned for you all. Experts, stats, banter, bakchodi, if I can say that. So I want to ask you about Australia's Holy Trinity. Every time I see that lineup in any big fixture, Stark, Hazelwood, and of course Cummins starts, it's either Zampa line, depending on the format. But talk to me about them and how critical they're going to be for this to defend
I mean,
the cup.
that just goes to show how effectively Australia are able to manage the players' workload. Like every team just keeps harping about workload, but inevitably nothing is being done about it. But it can be an important test fixture, important ODI fixture, important T20 fixture. These three will be there for Australia.
Yeah.
So it's sort of impeccable how they're able to manage it. They play lesser cricket than India and England. England, of course, play a lot more red ball cricket, and India play a white ball game every weekend.
Which is a joke.
So
BCCI, sorry about that, but honestly, it's a joke.
Sorry to interrupt, but the World Cup fixture is about to start in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And they're showing India's schedule for the World Cup.
Yeah, so I mean,
Star Sports, you're a joke.
Star Sports, obviously, it is
slanderous. Obviously, they have to tailor make it for the
Okay.
Indian broadcast, but
and they have a Kohli interview as well, no, in 5 minutes before a World
Lined
Cup
up.
match,
I
which
mean,
is not which actually features the two finalists.
Yeah.
Not even
Yeah.
it's not even an associate nation.
Now, we have, of course, England and Afghanistan as well, which is following this fixture. And we'd love to do a watch along for that, but I think we'll be burnt out. If we're getting lots of traction, why not? We'll actually keep it going for y'all. But does this work in Australia's favor? Not just the weather, but winning the toss as well?
Let's see. I mean,
Because
on
in
paper,
Dubai, we
yes.
saw everyone's winning the toss, winning the game. That's not going to be a trend.
Yeah.
On paper, yes. But I look at the New Zealand bowling lineup and I think it's really, really good.
Yeah.
At least, again, on paper, it's pretty scary, I guess. Because when Bolt, Saudi, Ferguson, Sodhi, Santner, and you have Phillips who can chip in with a couple of overs, Neesham who can, bowl absolute garbage and take wickets. So it's really, really scary.
Yeah.
It's the kind of bowling lineup that could run through any opposition on its particular day. Will today be the day? I don't know.
And conditions, of course, overhead.
Let's just say this. New
Super.
Zealand have the kind of bowling attack that is tailor-made for them to beat India in the semi-final.
But they're just anyway a tournament
it's-
team, right? So, I know
Exactly.
this Bangladesh series and all that happened.
See, I mean, if you talk about New Zealand, their pace bowling is their biggest strength. I mean,
Yeah.
I think I should say that that's their only strength, to be very honest. I mean, there is nothing apart from it. Spinners are okay. I know
All-rounders?
East Sodi have.
Lower order is
I
decent
mean,
now.
everyone is an all-rounder there, but it's
But
quality.
what they
all-rounder.
picked today in terms of Chapman, Bracewell, I think they've left out, Neesham, Santner,
Yeah.
and I think they have another guy in
Phillips.
Phillips, of course, who can roll his arm over.
Who can do everything?
And who can, of
Yeah.
course, go across the boundary and look after the kid after he's in his six.
and
Keep wickets.
keep wickets,
But the big call they have to make
open,
is
plain
Martin
middle order.
Guptill, guys.
Yeah.
His T20 pedigree, does reputation count for anything apart
No.
from India?
It doesn't. It shouldn't.
It
They had to
shouldn't.
choose between Finn Allen and Martin Guptill.
And you
so
guys-
we actually asked Dan Weston that
Yeah.
what would his reaction be if they dropped Finn Allen to make space for Guptill, and he actually said that I cannot express my feeling here.
Good old Dan. If you guys haven't checked that out, by the way, it's a perfect plug-in. Check it out because it's titled "Can the Kiwis Fly High?" and the invariable cliche, which is "Will they punch above their weight?"
It's again coming back to New Zealand.
Yeah,
They are just a good cup team. Forget about
tournament team,
tournament
it's
team and
insane.
forget about I mean, we just keep saying how tournament in cricket comes down to luck and
Yeah.
everything, and that is true.
Correct.
But I don't know what clicks for New Zealand. They just seem to have the kind of team that peaks during
When was the
tournaments.
last time they had a rubbish tournament? Now that I think about it, like not for a while, guys. Like they've always
14
kind of
probably 2014.
14.
They made the 16 semis, 15 final, 16 semis, 19 final, 21 final. World Test Championship champions.
What about the Champions Trophy?
Yeah, I was just going to come to
17
that.
Champions Trophy, right?
17 Champions Trophy they bowed out.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah,
they
I don't think they were in
yeah.
the semis. England beat South Africa and
India beat
beat
Bangladesh.
No,
No, England lost to Pakistan in the semis.
England lost to Pakistan.
We Bangladesh.
India beat Sri Lanka. It was a
In the
very bad
semis,
game.
okay, yeah.
It was a very, very bad game. I think
I'm
Sri Lanka scored
confusing the
like
2017 semis with the 2013 semis.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, true.
2017 India beat Bangladesh, didn't they, in the semis? Yeah.
They did.
Yes. I think Rohit denied Kohli a century, if I'm not wrong. But
They did.
anyway, no
Practically.
India talks, please.
No India talks. Look,
No
it's
India
Australia
talks.
versus
Would have
New
been
Zealand.
earlier.
But yeah.
Predictions. 1 second. Predictions, guys. Before the first ball is bowled, so we can't really change our minds. Australia, I'm guessing.
I'll tell you what, I want to go Australia, but the last 5 games, including the practice match they played against India, they've been in an extremely dominant position, about 14, 15
And they've
overs into
cocked
the
it up.
chase, and they've absolutely bottled it all every single time. So I know these guys have been saying that, oh, it's just a warm up. It's we are not completely intense yet and all.
Yeah.
But a bit of practice winning, they say, is a habit, right? So Australia kind of don't have that habit right now, especially while chasing. So if they can get over that hurdle somehow, I think that then they should win. But that is a very big obstacle. But I just feel that Bolt will decide who wins this match. The first
Okay.
spell of Bolt will decide who wins this match.
That's a good call. So you.
I think that's very specific.
Okay.
I think Australia have a clear edge. And
regardless winning the toss or not.
yeah, I think probably New Zealand had a better chance if they had picked Saudi over Milne. I mean, Milne over Saudi.
Yeah.
The other way around. Saudi's anyway playing.
More pace.
Because, we've seen Australian middle order struggling against high pace.
Yeah.
But right now, apart from Lockie, and Lockie is predominantly, he's more so needed at the death, right?
Exactly.
So
in the middle and the death, yeah.
New Zealand will miss a middle over enforcer, and that can hurt them.
Okay, interesting, because look, they're playing 2 spinners. They're best of the lot, really, which they've played for a while. Sodhi and Santner both start. And Sydney, out of all the surfaces, might have that extra spin compared to other pace conditions.
That sounds like a very cliched thing to say, that Sydney supports spin, but I'm not sure how true that is.
Sydney supports spin on day 5.
On day 5.
Not really.
If anything, yeah.
1 second, guys. Before the game resumes or starts, I should say, a word in the groups, because what have we seen? I was picking West Indies and Scotland, Zimbabwe and Ireland.
I was just hoping there was a situation where both Sri Lanka and West Indies could have been in India's group, and that would have made this group very interesting. And I was looking forward to see Bangladesh versus Sri Lanka. That is the hottest rivalry at the moment.
But now the other group seems like a group of death.
Yeah,
India kind of. But again, I just like someone pointed out last year as well. In this structure, you would rather be in a group of death than these groups where you have 2 tough games and 4 easy games or whatever, because in a group of death, everyone will lose to others, and it evens out eventually. But in this group, if you lose to your 2 biggest rivals, you're done, because everyone else will beat the smaller teams.
You're talking about the Australia New Zealand group?
No, I'm talking about the India group. Okay. You expect Pakistan to beat Netherlands, Zimbabwe and all, exactly, but pretty
I
comfortably.
Everyone to beat Bangladesh, actually.
Exactly.
So
India lose to Pakistan, then they are on a
pretty much out.
Yeah. Exactly, that's what happened last year, right?
We were putting Bangladesh in the 15th category out of the 16 teams which took part in this. But where would you put West Indies? Because they finished the worst in the qualifiers.
If you think about it, I won't be surprised if Bangladesh comes out the only team in this tournament without even a single win. Because even UAE managed to win a game now.
And here's the thing, Bangladesh have not won.
Bangladesh fans, sorry. I think we still get some love from Dhaka, so keep that going. But look, facts are facts. He's spitting facts, and so is he. Go on.
The last time Bangladesh won a Super 12 match or a proper match outside the qualifiers in the World Cup was in 2007.
Whoa, that's a stat.
Against West Indies. They have not won a single...
And there is no West Indies.
And we're doing one Bangladesh Watchalong, which is against India, of course. Otherwise, honestly, so won't care less.
And we'll promise you that we'll play the Soumya Sarkar theme song in that.
He has a theme song?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think
you heard it?
You will.
A Soumya Sarkar theme song. We were asking the viewers, of course, in the last watch along, who the members who took part in the first inaugural T20 and who also find themselves here. We got some good replies, so appreciate that. And keep the comments coming. I know it's going to be a hectic Saturday morning because you're going to be focusing on the action down there, but sink it in because that's what you'd ideally want to do in a watch along. You'll get our comments and then you can mute the commentary, which has been awful, but there have been some good commentators, of course, in the ICC panel.
Exactly.
The national anthem is going on. It's time to take our first comment of the day, and it is a good old friend for the channel, Subodh Chavan. No prize for guessing. Full support to Kane. If New Zealand beats Australia, then would you call this an upset considering New Zealand's past record in Australia?
Yep, very much. I mean, what was the start? New Zealand have not won us
in a game in Australia since 2011.
Yeah, white ball cricket, right?
Any
format.
Red ball,
That must have been the match where Doug Bracewell bowled Nathan Lyon, and that was in Hobart, I guess.
Yeah, I mean,
you
only an Aussie fan can remember that.
But tell me something. So even when Ross Taylor scored that crazy score in Perth,
that was a draw. That was a very horrible pitch.
Wow.
I think that sent Mitchell Johnson into retirement.
That was 2015.
Yeah,
that was 2015.
Yeah.
That was peak Ross Taylor.
Yeah, Mitchell Johnson actually said
Mark II Ross Taylor. Peak Ross Taylor was for RCB, though. Honestly,
that was it post-surgery Ross Taylor or pre-eye surgery? I don't know.
This is 12 Diwalis ago. I clearly remember it. Champions League game. Brilliant, honestly. Anyway, it was that leg side heave-o and the Chinnaswamy was just going berserk.
Oh, are you talking about that game against Cape Cobras when Domini...
the school organized tickets for us. It was the worst school trip
that was actually a Diwali day.
98 not out, was it?
And Domini took the piss, and I think he swept Kumble over mid-wicket to win it, and it was ridiculous. Vasantha going on to say sorry. So I would rather have Kane dropped for Guptill.
Why not? I mean, but I think kind of both are in kind of similar patch.
Who's the vice captain for New Zealand?
I would drop both of them and play Bracewell
and
or maybe Daryl Mitchell.
Yeah, where's he?
Oh yes,
he opened in the last World Cup.
I guess he's recovering from injury, but they just feel that he doesn't fit into the 11.
But surely I think he'll fit in for someone like Mark Chapman who plays spin really well. But
yeah, and here's a interesting thing about Chapman, since you mentioned a couple of things actually. So in that types of T20 batters article I found out that Chapman is one of the few batters who has better numbers against spin than pace in the middle order. I mean, he strikes at a very good...
And the sample size is not small.
Doesn't the same apply for Moeen Ali?
Not
Shivam
really.
Dube?
Yeah, Shivam Dube, yes. But Chapman is one guy who strikes at around 135-36 against spin. But against pace, his strike rate is around 118-19 the last couple of years.
But the aspects there is spin in New Zealand.
Yeah. And you have to take that
which
into
is
account.
not like rank runners by any stretch.
Yeah.
And shorter boundaries, because spinners, you need longer boundaries to get those catches.
Yeah. And Guptill is kind of your X factor batter. But again, does simply him being an X factor and reputation warrant a place in the starting 11? I don't know. But again, that could apply for Kane Williamson too, because
But hasn't Guptill always had a love for the ICC tournament?
Not really. He didn't. Last World Cup
2015 was the last time he did well.
2017 Champions Trophy was pretty good. It was all right.
Difficult to recall.
No, but it's again a problem plenty for them in terms of openers. We'll come back to that chat. Sarvesh Gaonkar going on to see Australia looking very strong, can easily qualify for semis with the quality they have. It's a no-brainer. Even in terms of betting and odds, they're front runners to win it. I think 3-1 in terms of Australia winning the competition. But who else would you put in that bracket? Is it the big three, even in world cricket, Australia, England, India, that undoubtedly are favourites right now?
I don't think India are undoubtedly a favourite.
Australia, England are that conversation.
I think Australia, England are 1 and 2, and then there is a gulf, according to me.
True. Anyone, I think probably the second tier of teams is India right up front in the second tier.
Maybe South Africa.
And
Pakistan. But right now, if I tell you it's an Australia-England final, would you be excited? Would you be...
I won't be surprised if
I won't be surprised, but it'll be a good game to watch. I mean, deservingly, it doesn't happen in the T20 World Cup, but if England, Australia are playing in the final, I think the two best sides would be playing the final.
For me, Sri Lanka would have been out and out favourites if Chamira wasn't injured. I remember someone mentioned poor... Again, out and out fast. Outright favourites. Do you mean against Australia or for the whole World Cup?
Because they have a tough group. I mean,
World
I
Cup
can see them beating Ireland.
Yeah, Vasant, actually, to your point, I wouldn't say Sri Lanka were out and out favourites, because it's not just about the pace, right? I mean,
Hmm.
the run scoring ability in their team is pretty doubtful. Kusal Mendes is on and off. He scored 80 after being out for single digit scores, literally even ducks for a while.
Mhm.
Pathum Nisanka is not really a very intent driven player, and the batting pretty much rely on Rajapaksa's performance, and long boundaries can actually be counterproductive for him, like we saw in the qualifier. So Vasant, I mean, it's not just Chamira. Sri Lanka's batting is the biggest reason because of which I feel they're nowhere close to be one of the favorites.
And if they have good games, it has to be like one-offs, blinders from one of their batters.
Right.
Yeah, they can win any game on a day. I mean, that
Yeah.
any side can do, but calling them favorites is stretching it.
Yeah,
Lovely
for sure.
jersey, by the way, New Zealand.
Very,
This is
very cool.
easily the best jersey of the tournament in my
Oh,
opinion.
really?
Yeah.
I would have preferred more black than grey.
Valuable distribution. One of our friends, of course. I keep saying friends. I have no idea who these guys are. And by the way, if you're joining us for the watch along, give us a rating out of 10 in terms of all the lovely
Yeah, I just
apparel that we've
move
got.
with
We've
this
got,
side
of course,
so you guys
Yeah.
can see the
the good old frame.
What we want is to have a new picture for this frame, hopefully
Yeah.
on 13 November.
15 years ago, of course. And then there's 2009, the 2010, and then West Indies, and then behind me, the Sri Lanka, West Indies again in Australia, and plenty of good old books. But look, sorry, Ali, we'll just take this one's question before the first ball's bowled. Your prediction: how much can New Zealand score, and could they have played Milner in place of Saudi? In fact, Somesh was just saying that just before you joined us, maybe. So have a look at that. Our prediction: New Zealand, how much can they score? I'm saying 165 is a good score. Honestly, it's a good score. Maybe
a lot
scoreboard
depends on this
pressure.
man.
I think they'll score
On strike,
153.
on screen.
Okay, but New Zealand, knowing that they can bowl well,
But fingers crossed, I just hope rain stays away.
Exactly.
If at all rain has to come, it should be in the second
3,
game, not
2,
the first.
Yeah.
1, and
has
we
there ever
are
been a
up
first
and
ball wicket in a
running.
T20 World Cup? Never, right?
Yep.
This is like the
So
Ashes.
Stark usually sets up the
Full
first ball of
toss.
any
Of
important
any, I mean,
tournament.
Rory
Full
Burns.
toss,
But
Rory
come
Burns
on, here we
missing.
go, guys. The first ball of the T20 World Cup. It's Stark to Finn Allen. What's gonna happen? Oh, and
Anticlimactic.
Hmm.
But
driven
I
down the
am a
ground.
big fan of this
Softball.
partnership. Right hand, left hand. One guy is a power play basher. Other guy is your
Better against
very
spin.
good accumulator who can,
Yeah.
who can bat through. And it's like, no, it's not like Conway is always stuck in that 125, 130 strike rate. He can move up to 145, 150 on good days as well. So
That is true.
yeah, it's just a very good partnership. I just wish, they
But
had
they
a
could
good
literally
number
play
three.
anyone there, right? We spoke about Darren Mitchell a while ago. He
Yeah.
did fantastically well in that
But,
position.
Yeah.
But Finn Allen, of course, like many people saying New Zealand's MVP, and here's why, because it's stand and deliver, one bounce for New Zealand get the ball up and rolling. Now, Soam's smiling, but he said, look, I'll put my head in the chopping block if New Zealand go out of the thing. It's still early days. But let's take one from Shubh Agarwal, who, of course, is one of our in-house writers, getting into the mixer right now, which we love. Which Williamson is more important or optimal batting position in T20s, opener or number 3?
Bench.
Yeah, I think bench is the perfect answer. But
Liability.
I mean, if I have to pick either, I think it will depend from opposition to opposition. In this game, I would have preferred Williamson to open because Australia do not have a slow left arm bowler in their mix, and they wouldn't want Zampa to bowl in the power
Williamson
play
to open instead of Conway.
instead of Conway. Yeah, so 2 righties is.
There he goes! This is
God.
ridiculous. Finn Allen, take a bow, son. Honestly, no pressure. It's a World Cup final. I mean, if I'm saying final opener. And Finn Allen,
is it
well
raining?
done.
Is it raining?
Oh, don't
Or
say.
is it just our
This is
TV
like-
being
They like EA Sports
Bad.
vibes.
Oh,
EA
what a
Sports.
shot.
This is
Come
like
on.
Yeah,
ridiculous.
but I think this game they could have pushed Conway to 3 because
by on the evidence of these 3 balls, I think the par score is 200.
yeah.
Yeah, good one, Vasant. I mean, honestly, typical Asian teams can somehow scrap to 150, 160. But New Zealand, I mean, technically, I'm not saying they're an Asian team, but they have the bowling lineup like a Pakistan who can defend a 150, 160.
Oh,
Stark
slow
goes
ball.
fuller, but slower.
And by the way, I mean, I just want to point out here, it's still early days in the game, but Dan was of the opinion that Australia should leave out Stark.
I think
Yeah.
it's
And-
raining, lads.
No, don't take it. Oh my God, I thought he was going to the Bales, Adrian Holstock. Jesus.
Come on.
So are you saying?
Yeah, so I mean, Dan was of the opinion that Australia should leave out Stark and play Kane Richardson or even Nathan Ellis for that matter.
He's probably right.
But
in
then they
saying
won't
that.
have variety in terms of left armor.
It's okay. It's still, I think Stark has been living off reputation for a while.
True, I mean, but when we spoke about that, even that the perfect T20 team and all the perfect subtleties, isn't left arm pacer like a prerequisite?
That
for
was
every-
a no. It was a on the luxury side. It's not a prerequisite. But in the last World Cup, his economy was around 9.2, I guess.
Yeah. Oh,
Shot.
straight down the ground again. He's
Again,
hitting in the
man.
wee, and he's getting full rewards for it. Finn Allen's lighting up the World Cup already. 5 balls in. He's 14. New Zealand are 14 for no loss. Basta Preetha, one of the friends that we're missing right now. Wherever you are recovering, Basta, good on you. Once I'm back in Bangalore, he says, going to steal that India 2007 trophy frame from the studio. That's if you're allowed in the studio, man. Honestly, can't just assume these things, but accept the banter. Look, what a start, dude. Honestly. I was reading one of the articles that we wrote on our website about Finn Allen being New Zealand's MVP, and there's a reason why, and there's merit in that article.
Good job, Akash.
Good job, Akash. Oh, good slow
Okay,
bouncer.
is that a
from
wide?
Stark. First one, I'm guessing.
Yes.
And it's
not a
14
wide.
for
It's not a
none,
wide.
chappers. Allen going berserk.
Oh,
This is what we want
brilliant.
to see. It's really
What a start.
overcast, so we're all holding our breath saying, hopefully, there's no rain kind of spoiling the show. But look, as long as we get our game in. And some of these ads are bewildering. I mean, I've seen the Rishabh Pant one, now the Hardik Pandya one. I mean,
Nice. I should
What
go
a
for
start,
this-
guys.
I
What
should
a
go for
start.
this hairstyle.
this is quite a so I think you should.
But damn it, what a start.
What a start.
What a start, man.
Now,
14.
I actually have the mohawk compliment.
now
Hair here, but not here.
let's say Stark has 2 really bad games to start off this World Cup. Like
Oh.
none for 54, none for 49 or something like that. Do you think Australia will drop him?
I don't think so.
It's 1 over, lads.
No, I'm just saying.
No, he's just
discussing a
hypothetical,
hypothetical scenario.
They've made some big calls.
One big call. Steve Smith.
Stevie Smith.
And their hands were tied. They could not leave out, or they could not justify picking Smith over David. Like, how can you do that? But
That is
the thing
true.
is, you can always justify picking Stark over Richardson.
Right, here's Australia's best bowler, I
Is
feel.
that a boundary?
But he's
Oh!
lead runs as well. So Conway's off the mark and saying, I'm in this party too, boys.
It's clear.
New Zealand have so far used the shorter end of the straight boundary well.
What
That's
tactical masterclass from New Zealand to get bowled out for 94 or whatever in the warm-up match, make everyone think that
New
they're
Zealand is
crap.
a dark horse in this World Cup, like they always are. They always are.
Yeah,
But like he
always
said,
are.
yeah, to get 100 all out from South Africa out of all teams. But one second, I just want to ask you guys about Hazelwood. Where would he sit in the pantheon of modern day T20 fast bowlers right now? Top 5? Oh, hello.
Okay.
Top 4, 5
Which
I don't
format?
know.
T20s.
No, not
I
even
don't
top
know. I
five.
don't think
No?
so. It's very.
Not
I
like
mean,
right now, whoever's playing, not like the Malingas, whatever. Like right now, world cricket in terms of T20
No.
bowlers.
Would you count Bumrah and Archer to be playing right
yeah,
now?
yeah. So Bumrah Archer's up there.
he's not in that same league
Wood.
at all.
Who's better? Mark
Shaheen.
Wood. Okay, Shaheen.
Shaheen, Haris
Shaheen.
Rao, Mark Wood,
Harris
Yeah. Even Bolt, I would say.
Bolt,
Bold.
Ferguson,
Ferguson.
or maybe not Ferguson. Let's
All
Now
good
here
running.
comes the line and length merchant against the guy who loves bashing
and then
length.
Ngidi. Ngidi has been very good in T20s.
Ngidi.
I mean, in terms of numbers, Rabada a good death bowler. I mean,
Not gear.
So you're saying all these
Yeah.
guys are
Before
better
injury,
than,
pre-injury, not
all
gear.
these guys are better than Hazelwood.
I would say so. Hazelwood. I mean, let's see.
Bro,
He
Hazelwood
had a
is
very good
impeccable, I feel.
span, like a purple patch.
Exactly.
Now is the
Thank you
challenge.
for agreeing at least with regards to this format. Maybe actually in ODIs and tests as well is a good shout in terms of
He is the MVP
being all three.
for Australia.
Adam
Zampa.
Zampa.
Yep.
Yeah, he's irreplaceable.
Irreplaceable indeed. Do you think any of those milestones will be breached? Maybe Zampa actually, 250 T20 wickets. I don't know if you guys saw the great cricket. It's not a plug-in for them.
In
but
bed
like,
with Zampa.
in Adam-
Yeah,
in bed with
yeah,
Adam
bed with
Zampa.
Zampa.
It was one of the most casual interviews, but good
Said
on
no.
them.
We played golf. They said asked us to play golf every day till one got injured, so they could bring in Cameron Green.
Oh god.
Oh,
The word intent is flying out of this guy right now, Finn
dude.
Allen.
Phil Allen reminds me of someone, I don't know who. I think maybe it's a video game.
In terms of
yeah.
stance and style.
Cricket
or-
07.
Yeah.
His whole
Basically
setup
being
look,
upright and just
Yeah.
hands.
And the way
Bumrah
he
and Bolt
looks
are neck
also.
to neck and easily ahead of Hazelwood, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, those two obviously are different, cut from a different cloth, honestly. But Hazelwood, like what I've seen of him for
He's
Australia
good. I mean,
and
let's
RCB,
see,
he's been good.
he's had a very good 18 months, I would say, where
Yeah.
he's been probably one of the best bowlers in the world because he specializes in,
Shot straight down the ground and he gets
Oh!
4. Conway.
See, one of the things that I've seen so far in the World Cup and even the warm-up games, maybe it's an Australia factor that power play. I mean, batting in power play
Very
is,
easy, no?
is easy because actually you're even so boundary dimensions don't matter during the
Yeah.
power play because you can play the angles.
Correct.
Because the grounds are bigger, fielders have a lot of area to cover, and most of them are in.
Exactly.
If you just like what happened here, if this ground would have been smaller, the fielder would have been able to cover
Exactly. Yeah,
more angles,
that is true.
and that is why you feel you see a sudden dip in run rate as soon as
Yeah.
the power play ends.
You expect power plays to, of course, have a high scoring sort of 60s, 65s.
Yeah, I mean teams would
And
try
then-
to maximize the power plays,
Yeah.
and if they are not
Oh,
able to, it's gonna hurt.
That's why
It is.
how Pakistan tackled that with Babar and Rizwan batting will be
Yeah, that'll
crucial.
be key. Yeah.
Hopefully, you get a game in tomorrow. You can join us for the India-Pakistan watch-along, which is going to be a good one. Shubh Agarwal going on to say, Finn Allen, the guy RCB bench throughout the season. Don't even get me started.
Not this
Let's
season. He
just not
wasn't
go
with
there.
RCB this season.
Yeah,
I
last
guess.
season.
Last season, right?
The season, sorry, throughout the season.
He was with no one this season.
No, he didn't. He wasn't in the auction only. I think he didn't. I mean, who wouldn't pick Finn
Yeah.
Allen otherwise? They picked, with all due respect, Matthew Wade as the opener. Gujarat, not bad, but
It's paid off.
Yeah,
at
but they
times,
needed a keeper, no?
Right, so can Hazelwood stem the flow of
Shot!
runs? No, he can't.
what is up with the
Because
camera work?
Finn Allen is absolutely tearing it up apart here. 14 of the
That's-
Stark over, 15 of the Hazelwood over. They're flying, guys.
Okay, guys, what do you think?
Woo!
Can Phil Allen do to this World Cup what McCallum did to the IPL?
Why not? I mean,
Bro,
he can.
imagine that crazy, like 43 ball.
Today, I
100
mean,
today.
right now.
43
Right
To
here.
this World Cup. I mean, if he does something like this,
Insane. Maza aa jayega.
and Australia actually lose, I mean, they will be like in a
Yeah.
very difficult position.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
imagine New Zealand make a statement today.
Exactly, because Australia
Scored
lose to New Zealand
220.
and England.
240.
A lot of similarities.
But actually, yes, I want.
a team with black jersey, or kiwi.
Where do you think their depth last to Saudi?
Parallels to 2016.
Who's
New Zealand.
this is Finn Allen is their depth.
Parallels to 2016, where they beat India in the first match at home, Nagpur.
Oh, yeah.
2016 was it?
Yeah.
But that was a rank turner.
Spun us out.
Exactly. And that was one of the craziest starts I've seen to a World Cup because Ashwin was hit by 6 by Guptill on the first ball. Second ball he got out. Then Colin Munro reverse swept Ashwin for a 6 next ball, and then he got out after that. It was just
Yeah, it was
madness.
crazy. The first ball he came down track, no, Gupta?
First ball of the World Cup 6, second ball out. Then I think the same over, Colin Munro reverse swept Ashwin for a 6, and then he also got out in the same over. Then New Zealand eventually got
What
bowled
was the
out
opening game of last year's World Cup?
for Australia, South Africa. You mean Super 12s, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Australia, South Africa. When
So that 3-run
it was very
victory.
boring. No. Wade and Stoinis took them over the line.
Oh,
It was
right.
Oh,
low
yeah.
scoring.
Oh, look at Dan Lehman,
Darren
son.
Lehman, yeah.
That's
Oh,
what
it's like all baldies in the house.
yeah.
Michael Bevan is bald as well. Great, good on you, Michael.
That is Michael. Oh, this is Michael Bevan.
And
Yeah.
Tom Moody, who's on ball, of course. And Golo put down through the hands of Adam
Has Zampa
Zampa.
put down.
And that could be
semi-final
very,
spot.
very crucial, honestly. And by the way, Cummins is coming into the attack right now, and he's also kind of leading straight away. 34 for none, 2.2. Allen's on fire, 9 ball, 23. We were just talking about whether Allen can light up the stage like McCallum did in the IPL. Let us know in the comments below if you agree with Soam's outrageous, ambitious statement, but it could be true.
On the ground with Adam Zampa.
Regulatory should be taken.
No. I mean,
Tough
should
chance.
yes, but
Sorry, a lot more time.
Shot.
Oh, you talk about aerial, you talk about intent. He's getting it. He's going for it. Honestly, Finn Allen, dude, this is
Finn Allen, he's just.
this is this reminds me of Nathan Astle in his prime.
Nathan Astle.
Yeah, true. Actually, that
stand and
upright,
deliver, right?
Upright,
tall,
going for
yeah.
it, coming down the track.
Yeah.
Nathan Astle, wherever you're watching, I loved you in terms
Yeah,
of my
man.
New Zealand cricketer.
I was scared actually.
I think he has the best Test double 100 in terms of viewing.
Of course, that partnership with Chris Gaines.
Oh my god! And that too, it was like an evening Christchurch. Oh, was it Napier? I'm not sure, but one of those. Oh, what? And he kept belting Caddick and people like that out of the park. Anyway, New Zealand 38 for none, 2.3, and it's a dot ball,
A rare dot ball.
a rare dot ball.
Whew,
But what a start. It's honestly like breathless. Buckle in wherever you're watching and join us for this watch along. Subscribe and tell a friend. We're going to be doing more of this. And ask us anything in the comments below. We'll bring you all the stats and updates as we go along. Sydney, of course, playing host to this first game. And Phil Allen's lighting it up. What's your prediction of the power play, guys? Let's quickly.
70.
I'm saying 75, bro.
70. I mean,
75 up or 75
let's
down?
see. Finn Allen bats through.
He's gone for 6 more. He's gone for 6 more. He's targeted the shot boundary. It is Nathan Astle, honestly, in disguise. 44. Hold on to your horses.
You know, Finn Allen's ensuring that he's going to collect the fattest IPL check.
Yeah.
Will they be bold and throw Zampa the ball now? Leg spinner against right-hander. But in the power play,
why not? I mean,
have the cojones.
Give it a try. You know what? I would actually, unpopular choice, but I would go Maxwell. I don't know. I just get a gut feel. He'll either concede 25 or take a wicket. Maybe.
Australia will definitely look for damage control apart from wickets right now because Phil Allen again found the gap. And he will get 3.
Come on, lads.
Run.
Will
they take on Maxwell? They won't. Anyway. Wow. So Cummins conceding 17.
Oh, it's like what? 14? 15? 17.
Now
Who's next?
20 run.
Who's next?
20 run over.
Bring it on.
20 run over, honestly. Oh my God.
So this is something Finch has been doing since the England series, and I don't know if I'm a fan of it. Honestly, giving anyone 2 overs continuously.
Quick friendly bet. Who's gonna bowl this one? I think Hazelwood again.
I think they'll go to Zampa. They have to.
Maxwell.
Okay, good.
Anyway, or Stoinis.
Let us know in the comments below quickly.
Right.
Hazelwood, Zampa, Maxwell.
Coming back to that Finch point.
Yeah.
He's been doing this since the England series, where he's giving 1 over each.
That's what I was thinking, but I thought, okay, fine, just because it's experimentation time. But like, even in the main tournament, clearly we're seeing it right now. Or is it just because all the bowlers have been
guys,
taken to the cleaners?
Try out your luck. You know, this guy has gone mad.
Head to head. Remember the last time they met was last year in the World Cup final, 8 wickets.
If you're 4 beers down, would you be able to differentiate between the Australia and New Zealand flag?
Yes.
Oh yes. I always go for the
maybe
red ones.
6 beers, maybe not. 4 mein
it's Stoinis. We all got it wrong.
I said could be Stoinis also.
Yeah, but you said Maxwell first, though. I mean, let's all admit that we got it wrong in terms
20 run overloading.
You know, funnily enough, Stoinis conceded a 20 run over in that warm up game against India. So. You never know, honestly.
Here is Akash incoming. Will he bring a change of luck to Australia?
Let's get in there. The Akash Subramaniam. Oh, I keep messing it up. Stoinis into Conway and driven handsomely for 4. Surely, no, they have the people there.
Single.
Which they'll come back for 2 and they'll take on David.
Don't do that.
They'll take on David.
Allen out.
Right, so Akash, how are we? What's happening? Finn Allen, boy, talk to me.
This is why they should play Finn Allen.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. I think there's an interesting stat that he's the only New Zealand player in the power play who can score above 130 or 140 plus.
And you know, in the last 2 years, he's had a power play strike rate almost 20 more than any other batsman in the world.
Wow.
Close to 180.
180. Yeah.
And he pretty much plays everywhere. Apart from the season, the IPL shot ball from Stoinis.
Oh,
wide? Australia won't review it. It's not even a wide. It's the first one for the over.
He's not played everywhere, as in not really. He's not. I mean, he's played in England. I know Lancashire. He played.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Did he play in 100? I'm not sure.
100 he didn't play. I think.
But I'm sure he's played in these leagues at some point in time.
No.
He will eventually, but I don't think he's played already.
So all his numbers have come for New Zealand, and of course
in New Zealand,
and for Wellington,
for Lancashire Blast,
Wellington, and good friend of mine, Glenn Pocknell, former Wellington coach. Now he's coaching Central Districts. And he has spoken to me a lot about Finn Allen, and I did an interview with Glenn Pocknell about Finn Allen a couple of years ago.
Nice.
Immediately after he got picked for RCB as the replacement player for Josh Philippi, and
we should have played him. They played him, I think, in 1 or 2 games.
Yeah, but I think they played him out of position also.
And it was in that UAE IPL.
There's nothing but kind words for Allen, and just crazy how. And just New Zealand have, I think, taken care of the slow, gradual transition very well. He's just slid into the team seamlessly. Sometimes you can throw in a young player very soon or delay his entry a lot. But New Zealand have somehow
how old is the lad?
He's 23, I think.
It's very young.
Yeah. Also, I remember when Finn Allen, we were doing some IPL auction stuff. Finn Allen was a name that we saw multiple times, but at that time we were still unsure because all those numbers were in New Zealand. So we're not like, I mean, New Zealand, the numbers you have to take it with a pinch of salt. So we are not sure of how well he'll transition into the international level, but the way he's done it now, it's natural.
In fact, all experts, like he said, Bucknell, even Weston, had everything good to say about Finn Allen, not just in the T20 mode, but as a potential good cricketer for New Zealand going forward. The change of bowler again, Stoinis bowling the fourth, and hopefully Australia can do some damage control because New Zealand are nearly 50 for none in the within the fourth over. How important was a toss? Because you're speaking about, I mean, in pre-match.
Clearly not so important right now.
I don't think in Australia tosses are
look at
as
that.
important.
But has he made the right decision?
Power play. This is very crucial. Look at the straight boundary, 87 meters.
Good
luck clearing that.
If you actually ask me, I think it's a good toss to lose because we are still unsure of what you want to do on surfaces like this. Because first 6 overs are very good to bat, and then it might get slow, and you never know how it will turn out in the second innings. It might get slower, and which will actually favor New Zealand.
We saw it even in the qualifiers, guys. The majority came actually batting first. Only yesterday we saw 2 chases, first by Ireland and then by Zimbabwe. So obviously, I like it the way it is because compared to last year's World Cup was bullshit because you're winning toss and you're literally chasing.
Win the toss, win the
which is
tournament.
crap. But guys, all you guys watching, let us know in the comments below if you guys are thinking New Zealand are one of the favorites with this little glimpse that they've showed. It might be a flash in the pan, but nonetheless, the 2 black caps, at least for the day, me and Akash. And Anirudh's always been an Australian fan, but I'm sure he's also liking what he's seeing now.
I just want Alan to bash the hell out.
Oh, speaker pitch, please don't be caught. And that's a straight boundary you're talking about. It's huge.
What
Good luck clearing that. And he's cleared it with an absolute
Please, someone
ease.
tell me what's wrong with the camera work. They have not caught a single boundary to the fence.
It is quite ridiculous.
I mean, they're also Australians.
Yeah, and it's shocking. But it honestly, it reminds me of that PlayStation game where you're just pressing X and circle. I mean, 41 or 40, I can't do that on the PS.
Yeah, no.
That's 92 meters.
Oh, that would have cleared MCG as well.
No, 92 is like maybe the third row.
Yeah, I'm saying clearing the boundaries.
Oh,
not,
for sure.
In Indian stadiums, indoor and all, it would have cleared the boundary. It would have gone up, like beyond the stadium.
No, just imagine what.
Sharjah, it would have been on the road.
Last ball of the fourth over,
and he defends.
And just imagine like how much what a memorable day this must be for the kids watching in those stands. And this is why you love players like Finn Allen and all, just lighting it up. Just rather than
and the rivalry obviously in Australia is quite heavy.
But I don't think it's very pronounced as others would point it out.
Yeah,
it's very low key rivalry.
It's like England or India, Pakistan.
It's like I don't know. It'll probably be one of those London derbies which nobody does. It's like Crystal Palace versus
Police Palace or something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, 56 for no loss, by the way, in this opening game of the World Cup.
First 4 overs.
Group A, by the way, we were asking Soman Anirudh about which group is more tastier. Which one is? Because India Pakistan won. Come on, guys.
Yeah,
I would.
It's overrated, huh?
No, but I mean,
that group,
there is South Africa also in that group, which makes it very interesting.
So you have a subcontinental clash, 2, 3.
Yeah.
I mean,
and then you'll have an African clash.
Zimbabwe.
This has, I think there is not a single, boring match in this group on paper.
Told him Hazelwood is delivered. And that was the man that I was talking about. And Shub just jinxed him. Fun fact, this is Finn Allen's first T20, but what a knock. Honestly, people will remember for the years to come, not even exaggerating, 16 ball 42. Just to light up the tournament.
It was a full toss. You couldn't have,
He's yoked himself, essentially.
No, it's not a full toss.
Oh, brilliant.
It's a brilliant
ball.
He anticipated
that he's going to come there and then stand deliver. Maybe it could have been a half volley or the low full toss.
This reminds me of those multiple games Australia played against West Indies where they were 75 after power play and then somehow Australia recovered from that.
But look, now New Zealand have the perfect start. Samir Alara going to say Finn Allen striking at 150,
140, 150
in all phases in a T20, I overs, 1/6, 7/15.
What more do you need from an opener?
Yeah, for sure. So now, 1 second, will New Zealand keep going or will Williamson?
But do they have batters to keep going is a question.
Yeah.
Glenn Phillips?
Maybe that's a good
they need
option.
But for the lower order. You know what?
I feel like they could go with Glenn Phillips. He can play spin well and
Jimmy Neesham?
No, not
need
Jimmy
him
Neesham.
for the last 5 overs. You know what? Just send in. Who
Phillips
do they
is
have?
Phillips is a good option because spin,
as a
Australia introduced spin next over.
just send in. Probably this
Santner.
Santner and just ask him.
Yeah,
back.
that's also a good
I
option.
don't know.
And
Yeah.
Dhoni's done that in the
Or
past.
even get
MS
Tim
Dhoni's
Southee.
done that in the past.
Or get Tim Southee and just
So
yeah.
Williamson, of course, it was always expected. Now,
Okay.
his first 10-ball strike rate is the worst for any T20 cricketer to grace the game. No, I'm just joking, but
No, it
somewhere
could be
there and there.
Odds
could be a
of-
reality after 2 years.
Okay, what is the odds of Williamson doing this and letting the ball go through?
And then there's gone
come
Matthew
on.
Wade.
It's like-
No, I think Wade will drop it.
Williamson
Tactical drop.
always has this whenever it's close to the body. He
Yeah,
doesn't shoulder like this. He basically does
Yeah,
this. Where
He's trying to be Smith.
So 1 second. So Williamson, I mean, how will New Zealand approach this? Will they obviously play the way they usually play, or will we see a completely different New
Okay.
Zealand being like, go for it?
how
Because
can,
then Conway's gone.
can
so
you
they
see
should
Williamson
go
go
for
for it?
Yeah, that's the.
Can you
that's the
visualize Williamson going for it?
part. I think.
Okay.
No, because this is one situation where he would love to be. If it was say 13 for 1, it would have been tougher for
True.
him
But
to
like,
take off.
I think Williamson, I mean, sorry to use a cliche, is the glue in this lineup because
is.
everyone else can actually be a power player. Because Conway has the shots more than
Yeah, yeah.
Williamson. Lefty, of course. Then Glenn Phillips walks in. Then Chapman, who plays spin, like you mentioned, plays really well. Nisham's a
Nisham.
left-hander. Santner can throw his
Hey,
bat.
who's
at
the
this.
number 4?
Phillips.
5?
Yeah,
Chapman.
5 is
6,
Chapman. 6 is
Nisham,
Nisha. Santner.
Saudi.
Saudi.
Sodhi.
9.
Bolt.
No,
Ferguson.
Sodhi is number 11, I think.
Ha.
Yeah.
Whichever way you want to look at it. Bolt. I mean, Bolt. We've
Bolt
seen
could
Bolt
get-
with the batting. And we've seen so many reels on
Flamingo.
Instagram.
Flamingo.
Honestly, we've seen those reels of Bolt on
Yeah,
Instagram.
yeah.
No, not now. And oh shit. And all those kind of little idiosyncrasies that he has. But it's taking eternity for the first ball to be bowled to Williamson. I don't know for what joy, but there are plenty of kids in the crowd. The cosmopolitan city that Sydney is. Get on with it, lads. Come on. 56 for 1, New Zealand. And New Zealand
Williamson is unhappy with something. I think probably.
Side screen
Dharmasena
issue,
being
yeah.
the umpire.
or they've got some new bit of technology at the ICC, Hazelwood to Williamson, showing us a field.
it's a
And
pretty-
they've got that. I mean, it's something that Anil just mentioned that right now, right?
What
The
they
fact
have
that
they have a slip.
how he dabs his
and a
way to
deep third.
greatness, but in the sense playing that shot all the time. I think it's a good field for Kohli as well initially in his innings, where he just likes to get
No,
his
I think
way
with
through.
Kohli, they won't have a deep third man, but they'll have some extra fielder at the slip because he usually adjusts one.
That is true. That is true.
Okay, come on. What is the delay? Come on, lads.
The delay is quite terrible to see. But if you guys are joining us, have the opportunity to subscribe right now. Bottom right-hand corner.
Anyone has a gut feeling Hazelwood is going to
Get a hat trick.
take a wicket in this ball at least?
Oh yeah, wicket in
Take
this
it
ball.
as
Yeah,
thinking
maybe a
about the
hat
same
trick's a
thing.
little ambitious because we've seen only five
One.
hat tricks in the entirety of the World Cup history.
Yeah, but we saw one.
3 last year.
But we saw
one-
one from similar situation, right? Sri Lanka were cruising and then suddenly a hat trick from. You didn't see that? UAE?
Hasaranga.
No.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
Mayappan,
Mayappan,
Karthik Mayappan.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Mayappan.
What a ball to Shanaka
Yeah.
to get the hat
So
trick.
it could be that.
Right, Williamson was
Oh.
small and it was honestly calling it on the head, honestly, because Williamson loves that defense to just get going. The pass score here is what, guys?
180, I would say at
Yeah.
least. At least.
This looks like a pretty new wicket. So maybe 170, 180 is like minimum to get here. And after this start, if they don't get to 180, it's a very good. It's advantage Australia.
It is.
They'll go as
No,
favorites in
Australia's
second.
middle order scares me to death, honestly.
Yeah, they could muzzle their way through any opposition.
Like I know India beat
Wrong.
them in the warm up, but
To
that was
the
a long
18th
time.
over. No, they could get till the 18th over and then they could choke. So that's how it
Oh,
has been.
come on, Kane.
Come on,
Just
Gil.
handing the initiative right back to Australia already.
So they could, in all possibility, they could end up the power play with 60 runs.
But I was just going to ask you that. So that last over, who's going to bowl? Will they take a gamble with spin, or will they just stick with pace?
I think it's
No,
good
why-
to
why-
bowl one of Stark,
But
maybe.
yeah,
Because
why?
Maxwell's a good
you
shout
know,
that you went.
Yeah, Maxwell now he can bowl.
Yeah.
No, but
Since Williamson is there.
get one of Stark against Williamson because he's anyway going to defend or try to take a risk and might get a wicket.
Oh
Three
my
dot
god.
balls, 3 dot balls. This is the problem with Williamson. They've been so
Yeah.
many.
You know who you wanted to walk in this situation? Mitchell Marsh. Not for New Zealand, I'm
Yeah.
saying in
Yeah,
general.
yeah.
None for
Yeah, yeah.
156 of 4 overs. You want Mitchell Marsh.
Somebody
number
like
3.
him or Surya Kumar
Sky.
Yadav. Yeah.
Sky, yeah.
Or Sikandar Raza. As we
Yeah,
we are
Sikandar
saying.
Raza as well. Yesterday did a lot of heavy
So do you
lifting
think-
in that chase.
Yep.
not just in the first innings also, when he came on to bowl, he's just like
Narayan.
everybody are clueless against him.
Is it his tournament? You never know.
You know, he has four.
Yeah.
I read a post on Twitter saying that he has
Gautam has
4 variations.
Oh,
that's a
it's a
shot.
it's a
gap. He's threaded it.
boundary.
He's found it.
Wow.
And that's
That's-
60 for 1.
That's good test match
with
batting.
another ball. before
Maxwell
the
has
fifth.
removed Kane twice, Zampa twice. Zampa twice. Oh, okay. Zampa
Yeah.
has removed him twice. Okay, get one of them to let Kane bat. I would prefer letting Kane
Kane
bat.
bat, yeah.
You think so?
Tactically, yeah.
Tactically.
Strategic drop.
Strategic.
Strategic drop.
Almost.
Is that Tim David?
Yeah, I think.
Backward point. That's typical Kane, isn't it? Typical any
Maxwell
format.
used to be
loves it.
Feeling
Just
that way.
loves it there. So one more over before this last ball being bowled in the 5th over before the power play. And fantasy points. Oh my god, I didn't make the fantasy team this time. Oh, in the air for a while.
Oh, close.
But great over from Hazelwood, the best of the
Yeah.
match so far. A wicket and just 4 off at 60 for 1 New Zealand. And guys, let us know who's winning the World Cup, because we've done a lot of polls on our website already about winners and all of that. Is it as obvious as Australia? But there's a reality check right now in front of us. Subscribe as well. Before I ask them how much New Zealand will be happy with, you said 180.
Minimum.
I'm thinking, because it's Australia and that David, Maxwell, Stoinis middle order, I think 200 and nothing above 200.
Again,
But you have to
Nothing
be
below 200,
But you have
sorry.
to be realistic, right? Now with spinners on, it's.
But
I mean, scoring rate is gonna tend to
Dip.
slow down.
Yeah.
So they'll have to be. They
But
can't
100
target 200 and then end up with 160 all out.
True, but 140 from here is still less than 10 and over, right?
Yeah, but 10 and over is still
Quite
in
a bit.
Australia. It's quite a bit. If you don't
not a
get
bad
a
call to
single
give
in,
Cummins is over. I think he'll be bowling
yeah.
those cutters.
So
Yeah,
those spins
into-
still.
You know, I mean, unpopular opinion probably, but I think Cummins has really improved as a
Yes.
white ball bowler in the since the
Yeah.
last World Cup. You know,
Who's the ODI captain they picked, by the way?
bad comments.
Right, so that's double.
But one thing interesting there is he said that I'm not obviously going to play all the games. So there is going to be a group of players that they have chosen, and they're going to take decisions collectively.
but I think Carey is
They
straightforward.
don't, and
So
there is no vice captain. There is no vice captain.
So after the World Cup, Finch will step down,
This T20 World Cup, yes.
right? Because he's admitted that. So who will they appoint there? Because
Conway and
obviously
Kane
Cummins
Mama
being-
will take the run rate
I
down now. I
feel-
agree. It's
I
already
feel-
happening.
Kane Mama for sure. Kane Mama is.
Oh,
Oh,
shot.
that's a
well
really
improvised, but
very
is that a
well-
fielder in the
That's
deep?
oh, that's
shot.
a great shot, bro.
I mean, it's a very good cricket all around.
Yeah.
Good improvisation from Cummins to
Bowl it
bowl
wide,
it wide.
and then good to
Very good from Conway
to recover from that
And
Exactly.
great
position.
effort from Maxi as well. But 1 second, so
Ooh.
Finch is going to step down. So Cummins won't be leading Australia in all 3 formats.
I feel if Warner's ban gets over, or
They would have,
the
if they
conversation
wanted to
is
go
done.
Warner, they would have went Warner already. So it's not happening. Warner
no,
is
I
not
think in
happening.
T20s they will go Warner,
Who else a good shot in T20s?
Maxwell.
Maxwell. But again, that you wouldn't want him to be further burdened. He's already burdened so much that he's not able to score runs.
That is true.
So you wouldn't want
Who else is there? Mitchell Marsh
Mitchell Marsh.
But his fitness
again,
is a
long term,
concern.
yeah, it's,
and Marsh. They wanted Marsh, I think, as an ODI captain also, but he kind of opted out of the race.
yeah. He said I'm
But,
not ready to.
But let's see. If ODI captaincy means Cummins will stop playing T20s for a couple of years, it's a good thing, I think.
Yeah, it is.
No, but he won't. He said he won't play all the ODIs as
I
well,
know,
so,
but
yeah,
even if it means that he steps away from the
Mhm.
T20s temporarily, at least it's a good thing, because why would you want him playing T20s? We have already.
It's
Ellis
going to be
is
an
there.
important time for Australia because they're in the
Mm.
thick of things in terms of the World Test Championship and they play India in that 4-test series. So Cummins as captain will be judged then. And then obviously now that he's ODI captain in the 2023 World Cup as well. So he could actually
Pretty darn good
chance for him to.
tenure already. 4-0 on Ashes,
yeah.
winning
And
away in Pakistan, drawing in Sri Lanka away.
Yeah.
They drew
Pretty
Sri
good.
Lanka. Oh, yeah. They
Yeah,
drew Sri
1-1.
Lanka. Yeah, they take that.
But the
any
important
time of
question
day.
is, I mean, like, not question. There is a possibility that if Finch retires, Smith might return. They can make him an opener and make him the captain as well. Do you think that could be? I mean, it's not. It's a long shot.
That's wishful thinking.
I
And we
think-
have
I
one
think
of the biggest
Inglis-
Steve Smith fans here and he won't agree.
Inglis is opening after once
Yeah.
this guy retires.
Yeah.
Finch. I think.
Or maybe Cameron Green.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
Green.
Green.
But yeah,
adds
again,
more
they will
depth.
be mindful of how much workload they impose on Green, because
3-4
honestly speaking, they don't want him playing T20As. It was just they brought him in for the heck of it, and somehow it clicked, and now
Clicked
he's
it.
in the squad. But I think
they
I'm
don't
sure
have a
it's a
choice
very,
but-
very, very temporary arrangement.
But he reminds me of one of those Australian yesteryear cricketers who could just do everything, like
Harvey.
Mitchell Martin,
Yeah, and Harvey.
No, Mitchell Marsh.
young Shane Watson.
But I think Cameron Green has almost nailed his spot for the 2023 World Cup.
Yeah.
Is
He
he in
plays
the
as
squad
Tony.
now?
Yeah, he's there.
he is.
So they purposely who do they
No,
purposely-
English.
English.
Come on, Kane just wasted
actually-
the world power
Honestly,
play. Shocking.
Shocking. They were 56 for none. Only 9 has come off the last 2 overs in a wicket, and Australia pulled things back. We called it correctly, did we? In terms of
Yeah, in
I said
terms of them
70.
slowing down.
we said 65 as well, so 65 bang on.
And if you watch the great cricketer with Zampa, right?
Yeah.
There was this bit where Zampa said they asked us to play golf every day till one of us get
mentioned
injured,
that,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then
mentioned that,
it
which is
is-
quite mad. to think
it's
about.
something that Australian cricket. I mean, the way the conversation went, right? I would not expect that from an Indian cricketer because
Yeah.
they'd be very conservative in what
But
they
don't
say.
blame the. It's more of
The system.
yeah.
It's gloomy. It's gloomy. There's mime and mimicry happening at the back. Let's get on Somesh Agarwal then. Who's going to take a break? Shall I?
You wanna-
take a break?
yeah.
Let's take a break then. I didn't know I was going to get a break. Quickly go in and work backstage the lads. Any coffees for the lads?
No, good.
All well.
Add your iced frappuccino.
Yeah, if you can
Frappuccino.
keep it.
And the power play is done.
Right.
Why do
and,
they? Why do they need to signal it? I mean, it's like a. Why
you know, your thoughts on
Something's-
what Williamson did in the last 2 overs? Completely sucking the momentum away.
That's what he's been doing for a year now, so it's not
Shocking.
new.
I mean, we just talked
I mean,
about how
I-
important the power play is,
I
right?
just-
I agree. Williamson is already costing New Zealand.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't understand what is the justification of this?
There's no
He's
justification. That's it.
doing forward. I
Yeah.
mean, and his wicket is not even
First,
valuable.
first ball is fine. I mean, you can block
Yeah,
it. That's
First
it.
over, I'll give him. Okay, fine.
Second
You
over.
read
as
for
well,
3-4
interesting.
balls.
Yeah.
Okay, still. But come on. And here's the
Short,
MVP.
Short of the.
Beautiful,
And this is
beautiful.
where Conway is so
beautiful.
important for the New Zealand. He's
Mm.
And this is why
the main
Conway is
spin hitter.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
much better as an anchor, than
Yeah.
your traditional anchors.
Hmm.
We are looking at the monitor, lads. It's cool. Please, can you display that tweet? We just
We have a
I think
comment from
Tim
Pinaki
Actually, Tim Wigmer.
Satpathy. If I'm
tweeted that.
I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing it
that-
wrong. The comment goes on to say
last year World Cup.
Williamson will be costly for New Zealand.
Yeah,
We agree.
I think Tim Wigmer tweeted the New Zealand was 57 for 1 of 10 overs in last year's World Cup final.
Only need 5 overs to pass. Yeah,
It's okay. We're seeing the monitor. You
that
don't have to
against
flash that
Australia this
arrow,
time.
please.
emphatically
I think
indicated
it's
for
we
bringing.
can read it out.
Yeah,
That's true.
it's
Yeah.
cool.
Finn Allen is definitely an 100 times upgrade. An upgrade that
Yeah,
No team
if
has
you
from the
look at
last
it,
World Cup.
yeah. The way they had
intent. See, we
Right,
have to say intent because he's getting 1 run. So
Maxwell next over.
yeah, maybe. Or maybe even get Stoinis
Who
on to
are
bowl.
lefties to follow?
Chapman
Neesham,
is the only.
Chapman,
and
No. Chapman, Neesham, Santner,
Santner.
everybody are
Yeah,
left-handers.
Santner. I doubt if he'll even bat.
No, I'm saying if he bats,
Uh-huh.
it's a long list of left-handers that they have.
But actually, this is probably the time Chapman should be. But I think he played a very good cameo in the Tri-Series
I think it not be a bad option
final
if they had-
before Harris Ruff bowled an outstanding
that
couple of
over, yeah.
overs. Oh my god.
No, I
What
don't think it would have been a bad choice that got Santner instead of Williamson. Just ask him to exploit the leg spin option and then
Yeah,
Get
maybe.
out,
Yeah,
yeah.
actually, it would elongate their
So-
batting lineup
yeah.
as well.
So I would like to keep an eye out on one thing in this World Cup throughout, which is what will be easier to score off in the middle overs, spin or pace.
mm,
If turns out to be pace,
Mm.
then I will be curious to see if Australia do bring in Ashton Agar into the side at some point, because
mm.
they're they
Instead
are
of
batting
Stark-
heavy right now, but
instead
if
of
you're
Stark,
bleeding 200 runs every match because you're not be able to control the middle overs, and that's too much pressure on Zampa. He's delivered emphatically in the last over.
but
last
who do you
World Cup.
get him for? Stark.
Stark. I would say Stark.
So there's no that point of difference in your pace. Then that's the only
What
argument
difference
of
is he
having.
making?
No, I
He's-
know that's the only argument of having Stark in the.
Last year, Australia didn't know. Australia won the World Cup despite having Stark in 11.
That
Last
and-
World Cup.
And do you think
despite having Stark and Smith.
Do you think
both.
Will
Yeah.
Mitchell Marsh bowl?
He's not fit right now.
No,
Yeah,
he is. He said no. George Bailey said that he is getting to full fitness
Getting
and
to
he
full
can
fitness,
get
but
a
they won't
bowl
risk
1-2
him.
over.
I mean, this
They
is a
won't risk
statement made for someone who
It'll
definitely
be
won't bowl.
stupid to
Yeah.
risk him.
So
I would
this
say.
essentially means Australia have 6 bowling options.
7, no? If you include Stoinis as well.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay,
Wait,
okay.
no,
no,
he's
David.
Yeah.
What?
6 bowling
The
options.
Tim David that conceded 4 runs against India?
Yeah, that was because Kohli was on strike.
Even Shami considered 4 runs doesn't make him world class, or does it?
So, I mean,
Or does it?
Shami is world class. I mean, there's no doubt about that. It depends on which format we're talking about. But as a whole, he's world class.
So it is Stoinis.
Stoinis,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's not a bad
I
option.
mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, more than I mean, it's a good point that you make about who would be easier to score off in the middle overs. There's also a lot said about wrist spinners being far more
Effective,
valuable in
yeah.
Australia than finger spinners. I feel it'll be difficult to just count all finger spinners as a bunch.
Yeah.
There'll be some who actually will be difficult to hit.
Like a Marquardt.
Like Thiksana, for example. Thiksana is
Ashwin
Yeah.
on
even
his good days.
Akshar, I feel
Yeah,
against
yeah.
righties it'll be difficult to score.
Mm.
Santner, for sure.
Harshal Patel.
Oh, well, this is where this.
Sikandar Raza is also.
Yeah.
Did you see his variations? He has 4 variations.
And he bowls the carom ball a weird.
He has a carom ball. He has a back of a hand slower ball. He has a knuckle delivery, and then he has a seam up, and then he has a proper off
Okay, do you
spin.
think Sikandar Raza can do a Shakib Al Hasan of 2019? Go on to win
Yeah,
the
I
man
was
of the
thinking
tournament?
that. Yeah.
Yeah, it could be possible, but again, it might be a struggle in top games for him. I think.
Let's see.
Excellent from Stoinis
We
so
have
far. I
So
mean,
another
Vasant
comment
Narayan
from-
asking us if Saudi and Bolt don't get breakthroughs, how will they have to structure their bowling?
Santner will come in pretty early.
Yeah.
But again, it all depends on how. If they can get Warner early, it's a huge bonus because that allows them
true.
to bowl Santner and Sodhi to the righties because there is no lefty till Matthew Wade, right? After
No, either
Warner.
way, I think Sodhi will play a huge role because Australia struggle against spin. Australia always have struggled against Sodhi, even if it's in New Zealand, if it's in Australia, he just comes in that series. I remember the start of 2021.
Yeah.
He picked like 10-11 wickets in the series against
I think
Australia.
it's very important for New Zealand to, or any side for that matter, to get Warner early.
Yeah,
And specifically for New Zealand, if you look at both their spinners who will turn the ball one
away
way,
from
all the righties, I mean, Australia might be in a pickle where they'll have to
shot.
maybe promote Wade.
Single, innit?
Yeah,
Promote Wade, I doubt they would.
Yeah,
I think they just.
yeah.
if not, then
It's
just
like a
like
DK.
Stoinis has been showing a lot more intent. I
That's
mean,
true, yeah.
then again, they have Maxwell, so depends on what Maxwell
Maxwell
turns
is
up.
a left-hander essentially.
What Maxwell turns up. But, just having, if Warner is there, I'm sure he'll take on Sodhi and.
so where was New
Santner.
Zealand after the 6th over?
6 over 65.
4 overs, 56 for no loss.
So after 6 overs.
6 overs, they're 65.
60.
Five,
No,
65 or 66.
68 or something.
No, 65 or 66. That's why he said no. They slow down from drastically.
So that is what I want to keep an eye on. How much they score during the middle overs.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, let's check that.
But look at this, no? They already have 5 of 4 balls without taking any risk. This is one of the advantages of, playing in Australia. You can
65 of 6 overs.
if you get
Yeah, but I mean,
3 twos.
isn't this the over to capitalize on?
If you get 3 twos and 2 singles every over, you have 8. You're going to 8 per over in the middle overs, which is healthy, right?
Yeah, more than healthy, I think. But I mean,
it is difficult to keep up at 8 per over with just doubles because you will get an odd dot ball like this.
But have you seen this? Observed this pattern throughout the tournament thus far that teams who are taking risk in the middle overs are losing the plot, and teams who are just they're not taking risk, but going at 6-7 runs per over.
So actually, this comes into equation when we define what risk is, because if you look at how West Indies play, I mean, think about Nicholas Pooran.
Mm-hmm.
I find him a very one-dimensional player.
Mm.
Like he has the boundary option for him is to hit 6 towards the cow corner, or if it's short enough, maybe towards deep square. That's it. He doesn't have a 4 option. None of the West Indies players have those ram shots
It's a wide.
It's a wide.
Do any West Indies player play a ram shot or scoop or all that? No.
No,
I don't think so.
Yeah, they only play
So
in front of the
it's-
wicket.
So that is where that risk comes into picture, that they have a six or
Harsh.
nothing approach,
No, but
which will not always
no,
work.
we have seen it with other teams as well, right? See, in Sri Lanka, in the game against UAE, they tried to attack and then they lost the plot. So they had.
But I think this is just coming to West Indies. I don't think it's just about the. I think this is a very bang average
West
batting
Indies,
unit as a
yeah.
whole, because the only good batter I see is Brandon King. Apart from them, Myers has his strengths. Obviously, Myers is a good player,
Short.
but is it a
One run.
single?
So we have
Who's-
another question from Vasant Narayan. He goes on to say, unless saying hitting six is valuable than getting singles, but we see that with these pitches becoming slower, isn't getting those singles more valuable than those big shots? So what's your take? So what is your take?
I think batters should have a 4 option as well. I mean,
Yeah.
attacking shouldn't just mean that you have the 6 option. This is where,
Virat Kohli.
I mean, not Virat Kohli. I'm just saying better batsmen come into picture, right?
No, but Virat Kohli is a very good example because he doesn't
Yeah, I mean,
rely
not
on just
not
sixers.
just Kohli. The better T20 batters had more to their game than just 6 options.
Yeah. And
I mean, before Kohli, I would say players like David Warner or even AB de Villiers, like they know how to manipulate the field.
Yeah. Take those twos.
Brad Hodge was a very good example. Australia.
So what is the score? 81 of 8. Downgrade.
Yeah, so there was
Considerable slowdown.
65 or 1.
Yeah.
No, look at just after Finn Allen. No,
Yeah.
after Finn Allen, 4 overs, they've scored 20.
I think this would have been
26, no.
56 on all loss.
Yeah, I think, but this would have been a balanced debate one if he would have been in. Now he's out. I mean, you never know if it's just because of the middle overs or it's because of the batters. Of course, I mean,
obviously it is because of
9 of 13 balls is never justified.
Yeah.
But let's see. They've still scored 17 runs in the 2 overs after power play. So far so good.
And
Let's
I
see.
think the only boundary they got is of Conway. No, they did get one from Williamson. Imagine that after scoring a boundary in the last over of the power play.
Zampa.
Yeah, during the power play.
Of Zampa,
No. During the power play, the test match shot. Even after that, he's just 9 runs. So, yeah.
2.
Yeah, easy.
No.
They're not running. Wow.
तुम लोग तो ऐसा बात करो, फील्ड दिख रही है तुमको कि कहां पर कौन.
No, but usually longer boundaries there, no? So they could have taken on.
No. Maxwell, no way.
Yeah, that's the only thing.
But
see, it's pretty long.
Googly.
He's been trapped a lot of times. Googly. Let's see if he bowls that. Oh, just a single.
So who are the players that
momentum
New Zealand can actually promote to break this?
Chapman,
Phillips.
Santner.
So Chapman is a proper batter there.
Santner.
I mean,
Phillips.
number 5, number 3
Tim
doesn't matter.
Southey, anybody. Get Tim Southey and ask him to just score sixes. He'll do that.
Phillips can
do sixes in
I think Phillips should be batting about at least the 10th over. They need Williamson to just.
And this is where the point that Shub mentioned comes into picture, right? Which is the ideal spot for Williamson.
But that's the thing. There's no ideal spot. Even if he opens, he's going to waste 3 deliveries.
He's going to waste the power play.
Yeah,
didn't we all see what happened in the IPL this year? Everyone was saying that if Williamson bats, he can make use of the power play. But he was striking at what, 75-80 or something this year? IPL?
75-80.
And how long is he really going to use the elbow excuse?
Short.
But is it?
No, it's clear.
Six, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that must be close to 90 meters, I'm sure.
Probably 80, 85, 84.
Glenn Phillips as a finisher.
Which over is this? 9 to 1. No, this is a shorter straight boundary. So.
As a finisher, yeah.
But
more
if you
like
have Neesham and all, why
yeah,
is he playing?
he's more of a Sky, right? New Zealand Sky.
Yeah.
Bang 90.
New Zealand Sky. So use him right now, right here, right now. Use him.
But I think
these overs.
Right now,
I mean, as in
too
close to
high for
13,
him.
14th over.
Yeah, 13, 14. Yeah.
How is Phillips against spin?
Very good.
Yeah, so then doesn't make a case for him to be a finisher.
It's not just his T20 numbers, his T20. Oh, close, gone.
Yeah, it looks
pad first.
Looks out.
Was it pad first? That's
turning, turning.
No, I think it's hitting.
Doing
only.
too much, I feel.
Yeah.
No, I think it's hitting. If it's pad first, it's hitting.
The first review of the 2022.
You've taken over Avnish.
T20 World Cup.
Hyping a review. If it's bat first, I think it's hitting. It's not turning that much. Yeah, going back to Glenn Phillips, I think when we were writing this IPL replacement feature when he was part of this thing, he had a strike rate of 150 or something against spinners.
Yeah, but
No,
that is
is
in New Zealand.
no. He's played everywhere.
CPL,
But
no?
he's played.
CPL.
He's done well in CPL.
Yeah,
CPL
yeah.
also.
So-
Yeah.
Is it bat first? Is a question. Is it bat
Oh, is it
first?
googly?
It's gone.
It's gone.
It's gone. It's gone.
It's gone. Yeah.
Is it pitching outside leg?
No,
It's
no,
not.
no,
It's pitching
gone.
right in front,
It's gone.
no?
It's gone.
And it's bat first. So
Is it pitching outside leg? That's my only
Zampa gets the big fish.
qualm.
It's a huge wicket.
but look at where his the other leg is, and then look at this leg. He's gone. It's almost what, 6th wicket? He's taking his gone. But even if it's umpire's call, it'll be not out. So that's
So
Pitching outside leg, pitching outside leg.
no.
Oh, gone.
What? That's proper.
Is it high?
Oh!
That's what I'm gonna tell you, ladders. Snakes and ladders.
Because of his
Lucky
long
Conway.
stance.
The
Oh,
big fish
long
is still
reach.
swimming.
Australian wickets. This would have been plum in Wankhede.
That's
Anywhere in
getting a
India.
big fish and then it's slipping out.
Ironically,
Oh.
Zampa was in his interview before in the presser 2 days ago. He's talking how this bounce is what makes it easier for the spinners.
Hmm.
But now it's this bounce that has denied him a wicket. So
Yeah.
but who Maxwell now for 1 over, 2, 3 overs?
Maybe Maxwell.
Anyone.
I mean, they don't have other, or maybe even Stark for an over. Just try to get the
So, who are like out and out pace hitters in New Zealand?
out and out
Or
pace.
limited against spin but good pace hitters.
Nisham.
Nisham is
Nisham
one
definitely.
for sure.
Nisham is very good against pace.
Okay, then there you have a natural finisher.
Yeah.
Nisham is a natural finisher, and
Yeah.
he's been very good. I think
Sharp boy.
he's gone under the
So
radar.
we are right
Yeah,
with the Stark point.
bang on with Mitchell Stark for 1 over.
I think he'll try to bowl the.
Yorker.
No, I think he'll bowl bouncers. Because look at the field setup. It's made for. But he can bluff. Yeah. Which he does.
Double bluff.
Why do you call it? I mean, why do we call it double bluff?
Yeah, it's a bluff.
It's
Double
a bluff,
is
right?
nothing.
Double bluff.
Double bluff is
not
actually
bluffing.
sticking to the plan, I
Sticking to
guess.
the
No?
plan, yeah.
And we have that the big clash, the
आजकल
Tom
बहुत
clash.
आजकल बहुत chess देख रहे हैं ना ये तो सब पता है.
Afghanistan, England.
Yeah, that's what Tom. It's the Tom clash.
Result there. Get the result there.
Oh, how funny would it be, no? If
Oh,
Gurbaz
God,
just
oh,
goes
God.
berserk.
Rashid goes mad.
Or if Zazai.
Where's
mean,
that being played? Perth.
Yeah, Optus.
Faruqi.
Oh, 2. David.
What do you make of Australia's jersey?
Good.
It's a good
Good, yeah.
concept.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay. I liked last year's more.
It's pretty similar, no? I mean,
No, last year was more greenish.
yeah.
I mean, green border.
Yeah, but their jersey is better when they use more.
Here's
green
the
and
stat.
golden.
Australia have only won one match since wearing this jersey. So.
Wow.
No,
The
two
stat that-
games
the
against
sta-
West Indies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the stat that you didn't know you wanted. Oh, another slower ball. Yes.
Do they get to 100 before the
So guys, we'll have.
I will make
we'll
a
have couple of
substitution
people
here as well.
joining
Tactical
us.
substitute. Tactical change.
Warming up here is coming off.
Oh. He refuses to. Imagine if Avnish refuses to come on. It'll be
Right,
proper.
and we have, of course, the first guest of our World Cup watch-alongs. Wait for it. It is Crazy Nikhil Popa joining us right now. Thank you so much for your time. Namaskar, wherever you are. What have you made of this New Zealand start, Nix?
I think Finn knew that Kane will come, so he's started well, and ensuring Kane can take his time like always. But yeah, that's just
Absolutely.
how you want to start World Cup. I think put Australia a bit on the spot there with the start, but yeah, and you needed that with Martin Guptill wasn't quite getting to those starts that you always felt he'll give you someday or the other. So happy that Finn started. So
Nikhil, just hold on because we lost you there. We will just try to get
Okay.
Logical glitch over here. Meanwhile, brilliant Yorker from Mitchell Stark to get that going. And it's always a StreamYard which acts up. Next, just hold on for a quick second.
This actually reminds me of that review they took against Puran,
Oh, yeah,
where Stark was not very sure, but in the end he was very happy.
that is true.
But they're not taking it because they've lost one already, so they don't want another one.
That is true. That is true. But Mitchell Stark just coming in and bowling one over in the middle here.
Oh, that's bad.
Australia needed it because New Zealand honestly are getting away with things. Sorry, we're just also in the middle of solving just a small glitch right now, but I'm sure we'll figure it out soon. Meanwhile, Evan Conway's moved on nicely to
That's
44. Is he? No, 42. He'll come after 2, and that should be the end of the over. By the way, 10th over onwards, we're always going to get guests on, so watch this space for all the interaction. Get involved as well. Hopefully, Nikhil can hear us out. Nick, can you hear us?
Yes, pretty clear. I could hear everything.
I think he can hear us, but we can't hear him. But we're
Yeah.
trying to, honestly, technology 2022. Apologies to all you guys watching right now. But think about it. At the end of the day, it's been a sumptuous game so far. 97 for 1. New Zealand are on par to get 200, and they need something like 200 to make the most of this game. We also have Gurkirat right now with us, trying to solve all the tech problems. Gurkirat will come to you in just a bit. Honestly, it's egg on our face right now, but nevertheless, all the 15 people watching, subscribe, give us a like and a share, and not to forget subscribe, bottom right hand corner, because at the end of the day, we need to hit our targets by the end of the World Cup, which are doing fantastically well. We got some tremendous success doing it during the Asia Cup, but the World Cup, obviously, more the merrier as the fans. And we've already taken plenty of questions. Let's get another question in before we just solve this particular hullabaloo going on. Vipul Anand going on to say, many people say that they don't follow cricket that much, but is it because we've won any big trophy for a long time now, or is the cricket fever going down now? Akash?
Too much cricket, I guess. I think everybody would agree with that.
Yeah.
Except I think Nikhil, everybody would agree with that. He loves too much cricket. He is one person who will be like, I have 8 screens. I'm happy to watch too much cricket. But yeah, I mean, too much cricket does take a toll sometimes. So I guess that's probably the reason. We have a World Cup every year.
I can't
Last year,
fathom
this year,
it. Honestly, and next year there will be
and the ODI World Cup.
ODI World Cup, and then those
then the
two new
Champions
leagues.
Yeah.
In Jan itself. Jan, I think, has so many games of cricket. It's quite ridiculous. Meanwhile,
Avnish,
we've got them.
Finally.
Honestly, we have to take a bow and actually slow golf clap for Som right now.
Yeah.
In terms of all the technological glitches, which is there.
Avnish,
evident.
Avnish,
Yes,
I have a
Guki,
question for you.
Yes, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, like was Finn Allen scoring all those runs a dagger in your heart, given how he was in RCB and never got a chance to bat?
We've already moved past that topic, Gurkirat, but I'm glad this banter, of course, welcoming you on the show. In fact, we'll make a quick substitution right now, and it feels a bit of blue in the studio with Shub joining us right now. Not to forget, Crick Crazy Nick and Gurkirat. Give them all a follow on Twitter. Crick Crazy Nick, apologies if we couldn't hear you earlier. The first thoughts about what's gone on, because it's been, like I said, a sumptuous start for New Zealand.
Yes, pretty much. I hope I'm audible now. You guys
Yes.
can hear me. Okay, great. I think, as I said, Finn was great. Just gave Kane that much time, because we know Kane will only bat as his tempo. So he's probably set it up really well for New Zealand. They have enough batting depth now, but it's time for one end to really start going now.
Yeah, I agree with you. In fact, there's a lot of fans of Crick Crazy next year, like Gangadhar SLS has commented. So more the merrier. Well, that's where we're getting all these big fishes on, like Nikhil, and not to forget Shub. Shub, what have you made of it? Because you threw some great stats in the comments below. That's always part of your DNA. Phil Allen, what a knock that is.
So we all knew that he has the capability to do what he did today.
He did sixes.
And the strike rate is above 100 for the first time in his
Intent from Williamson. That's where.
Intent.
I think Williamson now needs to raise his bat. You know, like how Dravid did once at Sydney
Strike
after
rate
playing
100 से
those
ऊपर हो
48
गया मेरा.
dot balls.
अब कोई गाली नहीं देगा.
Yeah, like how Dravid did once is what Cricket says. I fully agree with him. Nix is a master of predicting a wicket. Nix, come on. Are you going to put the mockers on beloved New Zealand right now? Because we're enjoying this.
I don't know which side wants a wicket now. Maybe Australia would not want to get Kane out just as of now. So let's see.
Will we see a strategic drop? So
Strategic drop, or maybe someone will do a Josh Butler where it'll be a proper wicket and they won't appeal.
they're going to be in Australia for a long time. So.
appeal nahi karni mujhe.
Yeah, it is too early for this.
It is. Kukirat, just about Guptill being left out, fully vindicated right now after 104 for 1.
It would have been vindicated anyway, even if Finn Allen was out for a first ball duck, because if you look at Guptill's performances over the last 1 year or so, and at the same time, if you look at Finn Allen's performances, it was a straight. It was never a doubt, at least in my mind, that Finn Allen had to start. And we've discussed this. We've discussed this on with Dan Weston as well, that he's probably their only impact batter who can actually make sure that he can compensate for the slow batting or the slow tempo of the remaining of the innings. So for me, it was never a, like, in the language that Nikhil sometimes uses while giving out his fantasy tips and predictions, like some people might say that he might turn out to be the differential here, but anyone who's been following enough cricket and following New Zealand cricket, not picking Finn Allen would have been a differential. And in fact, not picking him, because he was one of the first names on paper, at least in my mind.
Yeah, and he's an opener as well, so naturally first name on the paper. So actually, as they say in strategic affairs, vindication comes after a war and not a battle.
Oh yeah, and hindsight's a beautiful thing in the sport. 1 second.
हार जाएंगे fit नहीं होता ये.
1 second, Shobh, I want to get your thoughts, and Nikhil as well. You jump in here. What is with New Zealand and being the tournament team? We spoke about it in the pre-match with Anirudh and Som. They got rolled over the other day in the warm-up against South Africa for 100. Now we see them 106-1 against the potential champions. Talk to me.
There are just some teams who actually up their game in these mega events. Actually, I remember before the last year's T20 World Cup when Australia were just losing games in Bangladesh and West Indies, I was having a chat with Sumesh, and I said I don't see Australia as a contender for the World Cup here, and he said that Australia is a team who know how to perform in the World Cup. So that is something that I see with the Kiwis as well. They are always up their game. I actually see that they have a bigger challenge because the World Cup is completely in Australia. They are not fond of Australian conditions, but with Kiwis, you never know. And first of all, the way cricket has been going on since India won the Border Gavaskar Trophy, I mean, you just cannot pick. You just cannot predict cricketing results at all in nowadays, and
It's tough.
that is where I feel that
and especially in
New Zealand have a great
T20,
chance.
quoting Gurkirat's
T20
fickle
is like
format.
T20 is a fickle format, is the new motto of CDC.
Nick, let me come to you right now because he's made some valid points about New Zealand. Now, we always kind of really love their bowling attack in whatever format. But what do you make about their batting middle order strength in this World Cup and the looks of things, on paper at least? They have a fantastic start. Can the onus now be on Glenn Phillips, Mark Chapman, Santner, Neesham to take them to 200 and 210?
Yeah, pretty sure they can do that. I think how long Kane bats and at what pace he bats will also be important, because I don't think Conway is going to stop now. We could potentially see a chance coming in this over of start. So let's see if that comes true. And I think they have to get the entry points. Yeah, so let's see whether that happens. So yeah, as we were talking about the middle order options, they have quite a few options as well. You have Santner, you have Neesham, you have Glenn Phillips, and you can use them in any order you want. You just have to take care that, okay, now Neesham is not going to enjoy facing Zampa. Glenn has a strike rate of around 190 against him. So it's about using these entry points right, so that you get the best out of the players, and you go into the last 3-4 really on with the momentum.
So having said that, take Gangadhar's question then, Nick. What should be the target for New Zealand to win the game? Give us a random shot. 193, 185, 210,
260. भाई जीतना लिखा है ना उसमें कि जीतना जरूरी है. 190 में Australia is still in the game.
Yeah, I'll take 208. if you want to just go down that route.
208.
But yeah,
let's see,
kudos.
honestly,
Prediction
Yeah.
2.
Crick crazy
Also-
next to be Crick crazy Nostradamus here.
Let's see, but of course, yes, you have to take your hats off to the pitch reports because they said it's going to be a two-paced wicket, and yes, it is two-paced. It's just going either this way or that way. It's not
Yeah,
going
yeah.
any other way.
Your thoughts of including Chapman in the 11? He's kind of a tuk-tuk batsman like King. Gangadhar, actually, no. Anirudh was on here a while ago, and he said that he has fantastic numbers against spin. Zampa still has a couple of overs. And Stark, funnily enough, we thought that he's just going to slip in, bowl a odd over in the middle, but now he's bowled 2 back-to-back. Is he an all-pace pacer?
Stark is now their middle over enforcer.
He's
I think
Australia's
Stark-
Wagner.
I think Stark should just go Yorker, and that's it. Whatever other length that he is bowling, it's not helping his case. So I think just go for Yorker. That's
I
it.
think
And
the
he-
AI version of Mitchell Stark in Cricket 22 is just Yorker in the middle over. So if he can do that in the virtual reality scheme,
Oh,
of things,
quick.
why is the cameraman having a fit? But 111 for one, 11.3, all the ones out right now. And Conway, 50 beckons for the man. But he plays it away safely. Wants to know. Oh, sorry, my bad. Optical illusion. Gurkirat has slipped up, but we'll get him back in. Keep the comments coming. Subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. And let us know your predictions. Do you agree
Oh.
with Crick Crazy Nicks in terms of 208?
क्या वो light चली गई थी क्या?
So many said
Exactly,
260.
that's what happened.
Yeah.
Oh, and
Janta
Gurkirat
hu
is
main.
back. Gurkirat. By the way, Gurkirat is off, down, under. So there's going to be plenty of fan following. Do some vlogs, Gurkirat. People are going to be subscribing left, right, and center, not just to you, but cricket.com as well. If you can.
See, I'm not a very the kind of person who has the habit of recording and clicking everything. So let's see. It's also been long that I've had an overseas vacation. I was in England around the 2019 World Cup time. Watched 2 games, the dreaded semi-final. This time also I'm watching the semi-final. I'm hoping that if
इंडिया
India
वाला मत
reaches,
देखना दूसरा
Sorry?
वाला देखना इंडिया वाला मत देखना दूसरा वाला देखना
अभी तो पता ही नहीं है ना कि कौन सा who will play which one. that's the issue. So let's see. But yeah, we're looking forward to it, and hoping to meet a lot of Indian fans, because when I was traveling from London to Manchester when that semi-final was on, and I took a train, and there were only blue t-shirts in that train. I couldn't spot anyone who was not an Indian on that train, and it was just filled with blue jerseys. And when you got out of that railway station at Manchester, every cab driver knew that all the roads will lead to Old Trafford. They were not even asking where you want to go or anything. And then there were so we might think that there are no black off tickets or anything outside of India, but outside the stadium there were these English people who were selling their tickets, and they came up to me, Paji, do you want ticket? I have a ticket. That accent
Nice.
with which
Try to make a quick buck there. I'm surprised the train that day wasn't called a Shatabdi. But speaking of rollicking starts, his Conway got 6. He has, and that's 50. And the first 50 of the proper tournament of the T20 World Cup going to Devon Conway, 55 at 36. But a much needed one, really. And just looking at the last over, just slipped under the radar. Just 5 runs conceded by Stark. But that's why the intent is clear from the first ball. Thoughts, guys? Next.
Yeah, I think Stark is probably bowled one out of place. Again, if you want to call him that, as Sumesh rightly said, it's probably the Neil Wagner route. Who knows? But I expected Josh to be back, which is why I felt that a wicket might come around. But it could come in here as well, because he has to keep going now. Very keen to see if Kane really wants to make it a 15-20 over, or just happy with a 8-9 over with a few runs. So I think
already some pelters in the comments.
Yeah,
on
Kane can actually take a leaf out of Ashwin's book and हो गया
retire
मेरा
out.
बहुत betters है नीचे.
It is actually the right time for him to retire out, because Glenn Phillips is someone who can also up the ante, followed by Mark Chapman, Neesham. So I think it is the perfect time for Kane to retire out, unless he's just able to hit a couple of sixes.
Also,
Right.
I just want to say that this is, everyone might just think that this has been maybe a slow innings by Conway, or probably he slowed down the momentum. But Conway had a very important role to play here because he's one of their better batters against spin. So if Conway would have been dismissed early, say in the second over of Adam Zampa,
or that
then
review was not in his favor.
then things would have been quite interesting because Zampa would have had to bowl 2 overs at batters who are not very adept at playing spin. So I
Do you
think
think they missed a trick there, Gurkirat, the no spin at all in the power play?
No, I don't think so really, because the margin of error for a wrist spinner is even lesser for that and as compared to a finger spinner, and with the way Finn Allen was going, not really sure.
I agree, but Finn Allen, if you look at it, got out start of the fourth over there and thereabouts. He still had 10 balls. Honestly, I thought he could have
start of the
probably
fifth
bowled
over.
better.
Start of the fifth over, but once Allen was dismissed, then they didn't even need to take that risk because they knew that they looked to close the power play without any more damage. Maybe if Allen had batted one more over, they could have tried, but they were also aware of the fact that if Zampa comes into the attack, then maybe Conway could take advantage of the field restrictions, and Conway without the field restrictions has been able to hit Zampa for 2 sixes. So Conway has played a very important hand here. He's not only scored runs at a decent pace, but he's shielded all other batters from playing what might be a negative matchup for them.
I think he's intentionally done that. Williamson's gone and Nix has got one spot on in terms of wicket.
Mat bhai review waste mat kar ja.
Don't waste the review, Kane. Sorry, but just go back Archit's comment before we'll talk about this dismissal in greater depth. A new subscriber is always welcome.
He's taking
Join the cricket.com community and subscribe. And Vipulana will come back to India thoughts in just a bit. Can we go back to Archit's comment? Archit Aryaman going on to say
that was also India.
Oh, was it? Oh,
Phil Allen को देख के भाई को लगा KL Rahul को भी ऐसे ही खेलना चाहिए.
Is that? I think you could make a count how many times Gurkirat is on the screen and there is something about KL Rahul coming up. It is just written in the stars.
But I'm actually surprised Maxwell has not bowled yet. They could have tried him. Would have made sense against both of them.
I would want to know Conway's record against off spinners here. So if Anirudh, if you are listening.
Oh, he got banned.
Out. I mean, kahan laga?
No, I don't think he's gotten back to that.
Oh, it just looks like it might have got.
इस angle से तो वैसे भी घंटा नहीं समझ में आना है.
Yeah, I think he's right. I think it's just
there's no deflection from that angle. And यहाँ भी लगता है that there is just too much of a gap between.
There's daylight. There's daylight.
No, anyway, if he had bat on it, he wouldn't have consulted Conway. He would have gone for a review straight away. So there's.
And this was a stock leg break, right? It wasn't the wrong one. So.
Yeah.
But on that,
so the matchup works.
But review लिया इससे ये तो समझ में आ गया कि ये retire out तो नहीं होने वाला था.
Intent openers at the moment: Phil Allen, Rahimullah Gurbaz,
Sterling Hales.
Any other players?
Butler,
yeah. But I'm trying to think of Quinton de Kock. But
I would say Rohit off late as well.
Bavuma?
Even though he's not been getting the scores, Rohit off late as well.
Bavuma?
Bavuma is a good
Bavuma
shot.
is showing intent. Whichever it is.
Sense for Bavuma.
Yeah.
Good one.
The audacity to take that review, yes. We're all laughing asses off, spires. Completely agree. But look, New Zealand have lost Williamson.
So
Maybe it's a blessing in disguise for them.
Rate of 100, right?
Yeah, 23.
Not bad.
Which is quite ridiculous. Many people are saying that Williamson match losing knock in the comments.
Good practice for the next year's World Cup already.
He had practice in that South Africa game in the warm-up as well. 3 of 12 there. 23 of 22.
वो WTC final की practice थी वो. आज ODI World Cup
Oh my God.
See,
and it is
I just coming on the subject of batters retiring out, and again, shameless plug, but we were discussing this when we were discussing about New Zealand only, and the conversation was, I think Somesh had asked Dan Weston that if New Zealand play India in one of the knockouts, do they play both Santner and Sodhi without even blinking about their team selections? So Weston had said, yeah, without a doubt, yes. And then he had said that, a lot of times the conversation when you pick players for certain matchups or for certain oppositions becomes the fact, you have to play your best 11. So what he had said was that there is nothing such as the best 11. It's your best squad, and then you select your 11 depending upon what are the conditions and what the opposition is. So you need to destigmatize dropping players because you are looking out for the team. And I think in a similar manner, batters also start to need to destigmatize retiring out themselves when they're not able to, hit it off the block. And I think it will eventually happen, but it will take a little time. And what I also feel is that what Williamson thinks in his mind is that once he's gotten set, he can take on pace bowling, and he has the shots to take on pace bowling. So that might be the thought process why I don't think that the thought of even retiring out even crossed his mind.
Williamson has done this before as well. I mean, taking on pacers. I remember
And last
It
year
happens
final.
in final as
last year
well.
final and against Bumrah as well. Like, in one of the T20Is in New Zealand, I remember he scored some 90 odd and he was
95.
just
He scored
95
95.
and he was batting so brilliantly against a guy of Bumrah's caliber. So yeah, he has the game. It's just that he's not in the greatest of form since ever since he has returned after that elbow injury. So yeah, it is just about form, and that is why I feel he should open, because if he has those gaps to pierce, he can actually get off to a good start. But again, it all boils down to what kind of a form he is in.
And I mean, Gurkesh, you spoke about best 11. India के साथ problem ये है कि India has a best 20. इसलिए 11 बन ही नहीं पाता.
All good bowling
वो
comments.
तो है ही.
Bowling, yeah.
Guys, just coming quickly towards the India-Pakistan game. Just a reminder for all of you guys watching, we're doing a watch-along tomorrow. So that is going to be a 1:30 start, is it? So 1:15, you can join us in the CDC platform, and we'll have lots of fun during that one. Hopefully the weather stays away.
So just one thing to add. So I asked Anirudh about Conway's stats against off-spin. Conway has a strike rate of 163.8 against off-spinners in 11 innings in T20 internationals. So yeah,
That's
I
why
think
Maxwell
I
is
think yeah, that is why Maxwell.
Oh, मतलब
Not on.
Australia data driven है. Why?
That's a great shot for Phillips to get off the mark. Who's Glenn Phillips' equivalent in the Indian squad? Deepak Huda, someone like that?
So Glenn Phillips has only one equivalent, that is Liam Livingstone. Proper all-rounders, can bat, ball, like he can bowl off-spin, leg spin, he can keep wickets as well. So he's like a proper all-rounder.
How many players?
And
are
he's an
there who-
outstanding fielder.
Yeah.
He's an
Yeah, he's
outstanding
outstanding.
fielder. I think
He's-
Tilak Ratne Dilshan ka equivalent hai, because
Yeah.
Dilshan could also keep wickets, bowl off spin, bat well, and he was a tremendous fielder, as we all know. So
Yeah, but we keep talking about
Oh, they came back
someone
to
like
two
Jadeja,
and good
someone like Virat being a very good fielder. Glenn Phillips is absolutely mad.
Yeah.
Like some of the
Yeah.
catches that he's taken. Yeah, I mean, he can be if he's not making the 11, and if a team is smart enough about using that substitute rule, just get one of your pacers off or one of your weaker fielders off and bring in.
SRH, he's with SRH, right, in IPL.
Yeah.
So maybe we can. see
So
that happen.
Nikhil, who do you feel is New Zealand's MVP in this tournament? The one player that they need him to click.
I think if Conway can be consistent right through, he will be one. Because he's somebody who, when he gets on a roll, he doesn't stop scoring. So I think from that angle, it's one is Conway, and I think Glenn Phillips can do that role for them. I think this World Cup, we have a lot of exciting middle order options. Be it Suryakumar Yadav, be it Harry Brooks, be it Tim David, Glenn Phillips. I feel we have a very good bunch of people that you want to see the middle overs for, because they are going to not just tuck around and play the big shots. And just to add Gurkeesh's point, Glenn Phillips is a great fielder, but when he knows he's in my team, he's dropped 5 catches in the recent past.
I know.
All
There was one of these matches where he was actually misfielding, dropping catches.
Yeah.
I was like, "ये कौन है भाई? Glenn Phillips की t-shirt पहन के आया है जो."
Yeah.
Because
So he just has to be told.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just
Actually,
has to be told.
on air he said that we were trying to ball cockeye lengths
Cockeye length.
to Pakistan batters, and I think he just realized what he did. And Kiwi players are usually they don't say these things out loud, and he perhaps was embarrassed and then lost his focus.
So Zampa to bowl his last over, Japs.
And Zampa bowling to Conway, I think Conway would like to just score as many as he can. In this over.
So right now, as it stands, for them to get over 200, they need to go around 11s. New Zealand don't have like one of the best all-rounders in the world, but they have 3-4 who can make up for their power.
Everyone in New Zealand is an all-rounder. If not, I mean, they'll play golf. कुछ ना कुछ तो कर ही रहे होंगे और life में.
In Southie at number 8, he can be a handy.
So who can't bat for them? Bully Sodhi and
We all know that we all love watching Trent Bolt bat.
And Bolt ने तो बोला था कि he's exceptional against off spin.
Yeah.
So भाई, you never know.
I don't know if you've seen those reels, Nicks, about Trent Bolt and whenever he's like batted and the things which kind of invariably is picked up on stump mic.
Yes.
It's hilarious, honestly. He's one of the most funniest batters New Zealand have had. But hopefully they don't have to see Bolt tonight because we're hoping for a grandstand finish. Zampa's
Yeah.
not had the best of days. 1 for 31, 136 for 2. Nick said 208. We were all being optimistic earlier after the finale and stuff.
I said 157. वो
He
तो
said 216,
पर वो टॉस के बाद बोला था अब तो कुछ वजूद ही नहीं बचा उस प्रोजेक्शन का
वो आपने पिच रिपोर्ट करने के बाद बोला था.
बहुत हालात जज्बात सब बदल गए हैं.
That's wide.
But should these be wide because Conway was standing? He actually moved away from the ball, and if he had not moved away, then
It's a batsman's game, isn't it?
Leg
A
stump के बाहर
batter's
सब wide.
game.
Leg stump के बाहर सब wide है भाई.
You don't take
What
a
a
wicket.
I'm really intrigued to see how New Zealand
Step out
finish.
करेगा नहीं किया.
Oh, it was a googly and
Not out.
not out.
Wade's reaction says it all.
Usually when Wade is confident, he's actually not out.
Hmm.
That is quite crazy. So England, Afghanistan as well after this, which is going to be. We were joking off camera, Nix, about if Afghanistan win there, it'll be quite
Wow.
something, obviously.
And they can do it too. I think they have Fazal Farooqi, who I think can really wreak damage up top. So
Yeah.
I'm very excited if he can play at the Optus and do some damage. We have Navin Ulaq as well. So their bowling, their pace bowling is fine. I
What
just
about
hope they find a
Gulbaz?
way to bat. I just
But
hope
they
they
have-
find a way to bat. Yeah.
They are a few batters short.
Yeah, they are literally, they only have a few batters actually. But if they can combine, I think Ibrahim Zatan is somebody to look out for. I think.
True, but don't you think he's a little bit, to use a Gangadhar phrase, took batter?
Yeah, I think, but that's the need of the hour for them. I think.
Yeah.
I also said in a couple of spaces a while back that I think this World Cup is probably the last where we see a lot of these kind of batters, where in terms of lower strike rate, 110, 120 kind of batters. I could be wrong, but maybe next World Cup we might see a bit more of the range being higher in the terms of skills, and maybe more teams are going to go. Let's just take wickets. Let's just keep scoring runs and not anchor too much. But again,
So no
We can
Shamar
try.
Brooks for West Indies.
no, he'll still open.
But he was like for Hitmar, no?
Oh,
Yeah, but people like to miss flights. I don't know if Brooks likes to miss flights.
Right, Conway's beat Kohli here. Ask us why, because the CDC stat attack has gone on to say the fastest 1,000 runs in T20 internationals by innings. David Milan, top of the pops, 24. And then we have Sabawoon, the VZ for France, 24. Babar Azam, Conway, and then Kohli. So, I mean, 26
Just going back to the Hitmire thing,
Yeah.
the best way to get him out
is to make him miss the flight.
yeah, it's right the ball.
Flight the ball.
I just have one question. What do you guys make of Jason Holder not being used in the power?
Yesterday was quite shocking because they should have.
I think
Poor
Goodwin
captaincy
actually
problem.
has very strong opinion about it. Especially Jason Holder not used, but Odin Smith being used ahead of Jason
Yeah.
Holder.
Odins.
I mean,
Gurpreet Paji.
Take off.
I mean, the way Nicholas
Something.
Pooran's captaining, probably he's still reeling from playing for Punjab Kings for 2 seasons. I mean, though that only explains the kind of
Learn-
captaincy and
Learn
decision
from the
making
best.
that he's done in that last 2 seasons. Because 2020 and 2021, I thought Punjab were horrible in terms of their tactics. Like they really didn't know what was happening. 2020 IPL, they had tried 16 players in their 11 before they actually got Gale into the 11.
The bean tactics
Yeah.
should come, yeah.
16 players out of a squad of 23 have already played in the 11 in the first 6 games, and Gale's not played yet. So I guess if you spend 2 seasons in that kind of an environment, it's there are going to be some after effects, and probably those after effects were being shown in Nicholas Pooran's captaincy in those 3 matches. I mean, for me, it was like it was absolutely straightforward. See, one mistake is allowed to everyone, and you can understand that maybe there was some logic, though I didn't see any logic in opening the bowling with Myers and Akil Hussain when you're especially defending a short target of 150 odd. But once you've seen that plan to not work, why would you not open with Joseph and McCoy in the next game when you are defending an even smaller target in a day game where the assistance is also lesser? and then Ubaid McCoy, after bowling 2 overs in the first 5 and only given 14 runs, wasn't given a ball till the end, till the beginning of the 15th over. So, the- it, like I said, it was club level captaincy, or maybe you'll find better captains at club level, given the
एक्चुअली वही
decisions that were.
2 सीजन वहां स्पेंड करने के बाद आप जीवन को लाइटली लेने लग जाते हो कि ठीक है यार, कोई बात नहीं,
लाइफ में और भी बहुत कुछ है शायद।
8 टीमों में छठा ही तो आना है। क्या
What's happening here?
ओके, क्या हो रहा है भाई?
ग्लव्स चाहिए।
Retired out.
There's no point for him to retire out though. Williamson होता तो समझ आता है, would be giving him a standing ovation already.
ओ ऑस्ट्रेलिया रिव्यू,
Oh,
ये हुआ
got
है।
behind.
वो पंजाब की बेइज्जती करते करते भी just
No
forgot there is a
chance.
game.
It's daylight between bat and ball there.
That's air
ठीक है, वो
and
बैट-
wicket.
Wait, didn't even appeal. किसने अपील किया फिर?
अपील नहीं किया तो आउट देता ही नहीं ना,
Sort
तो
out.
रूल तो यही है।
Sort out, lads.
I think Australia forgot the rules, just like England do. But yeah, maybe happens.
कि बैट लगना चाहिए, कैच कैच
Ah,
करने के
bad lagna chahiye. But I thought he hit it,
धर्म सेना
and Kumar got it right. So again, fair call to review as well.
So they've scored 80 runs in the last 79 runs in the last 9 overs. Not
9
bad,
overs, not
but I
bad.
mean, it all depends on how
How they
the
finish.
next 5, of course.
I think Conway might.
And despite a runner ball from Williamson, so that
Conway
just
has-
goes to show that what an innings from Conway.
Yeah, and he has a good chance to score 100 as well.
Oh, straight down the ground.
Shubes said about the 100, so
Oh.
he's getting out.
Mid-off is up. So 150 comes up for New Zealand. Guys, just at the top of my head, just thinking which has been the best T20 World Cup opening game in all the years which have followed us.
2007.
2007.
2007.
West Indies, South Africa.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Nothing
But was that game good? It was just Gale going
2009.
mad.
That made the
South
game
Africa
good.
chased it down.
2009.
100, and then South Africa chased it down.
That
2009, Netherlands beating England
Ah,
at
Netherlands,
Lords.
England. That's a good call. That's a
That's a
great
fair
call. At the home of cricket.
Why are run out?
Indian New Zealand नागपुर वो फर्स्ट गेम ही था क्या?
वो फर्स्ट गेम था. गप्टिल फर्स्ट बॉल से सेकंड बॉल आउट.
Typical captain.
2014 what was this?
14 में क्या हुआ था?
Bangladesh.
तब तक तो मैंने वर्ल्ड कप T20 वर्ल्ड कप देखना ही बंद कर दिया।
14 also had this qualifier. It had one great game between Netherlands and Ireland.
Netherlands.
Ireland
14
scored
overs.
190 odd.
Where
14
Netherlands
overs
did a Mumbai.
Stephen Myburgh.
Netherlands did what Mumbai did
Stephen
to
Myburgh was
Ghana.
on fire.
Ian Smith looks like he's been drinking a lot since that 2019 loss.
By the barest of
Stuff
margins.
margins. Yeah.
He did a face palm in the commentary box like this, and I'm like, bro, I relate to you, bro.
बट न्यूजीलैंड का मानना पड़ेगा 20 साल लगे उन्हें ये सीखने में कि आईसीसी ट्रॉफीज के सेमीफाइनल में कैसे पहुंचते हैं और अगले 20 साल की फाइनल में कैसे पहुंचते हैं, उसके बाद जाके उनको क्रैक द कोड की फाइनल जीतना कैसे है.
Yeah. Nice guys. Nice guys.
Always nice guys.
Always nice.
Nice guys always take their time.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting because I think one of the in-house writers said a while ago that this game is going to be dictated by the way Trent Bolt bowls. Obviously now he has some runs to play with. Is he break or make?
Who do you
agree
think
with
should
Anirudh
come?
there?
I think break or make is Warner's wicket. If Warner doesn't get out, then it neutralizes both Saudi and
But they still have
Santner.
Marsh, Maxwell, Stoinis.
No, it's about neutralizing the two spinners, right? They'll be able to deploy them without even thinking. Williamson won't even have to captain.
Mm.
Yeah,
Prashant
I mean,
Sampath, you
it's
say
good for
Oz to
me.
lose today, upset to begin the Super 12. Do you agree with that, Gurkirat? If it does, I mean, if New Zealand can make a statement win, England will be thinking
And also,
hard.
Australia have had tough time chasing. I mean, England, they lost to England chasing bowling and would have lost the third as well if not for rain.
That's a wide, is it?
That is the white. That was
Coming to the spinners, I think it's mainly about neutralizing Santner, not so much about neutralizing Ish Sodhi.
That's a big wicket.
That's a big wicket.
And Maxwell will be crucial as well
Okay.
because he is their only.
Who
good
do you think
player.
should come in now? Who do you think should come in now?
Chapman,
Nisham?
two lefties.
क्या फर्क पड़ता है? Chapman भी lefty
वैसे भी
है भाई.
Oh, Chapman.
वैसे भी मैक्सवेल को bowling करानी नहीं है, नीशम को ही भेज दो.
I think Nisham should come in.
Lefties now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jimmy, Nisha.
The only problem with Nisham is he tries to hit too much into the leg side. That is a problem that I've seen with Rishabh Pant, Mohammad Rizwan, of course, but both
Pooran?
different kind of batters. Pooran as well, but Pooran has that extra cover game as well a bit. अगर ball
मैंने तो
थोड़ी
देखा ही
wide
नहीं
है
है वो
तो
एक्स्ट्रा कवर
कल
गेम
भाई
टाइम से
एक्स्ट्रा कवर पर ही कैच
नहीं,
हुआ था वो
कल आउट ही कवर पे हुआ था ना.
कल आउट ही कवर
अरे
पे
तो
हुआ
वहां
था
पर
वो
आउट होता है वो, पर रन नहीं बनाता ना उस एरिया में.
So
but yeah,
surprisingly,
Nisham, I think one can tie down Nisham by bowling a bit wide outside the off stump. Let's see. But अभी आया कौन है? Was that Nisham or Chapman?
Nisham.
निशम सुन ली हमारी.
So
Are they watching the
surprisingly, surprisingly, if you know, coming back to West Indies, if you look at their dismissals in the 3 games, a lot of their dismissals have also been down to just poor percentage cricket, trying to hit towards the longer boundary and getting caught.
Yeah,
I mean,
but don't you also think that they are pretty much one-dimensional cricketers? Their boundary options essentially is a 6. They don't manipulate fielders to maybe target a 4 instead.
And in Australia,
They
need grounds.
they don't even have those experimental options like ramping, scooping. I don't see any West Indian batter do that.
It's
All
muscle.
of them just like try to muscle the ball over cow corner or something like that. So it's like pretty much one-dimensional cricket, all or nothing.
And in the subcontinent, you can get away with it because it's
Dominic
1, 4s, and 6s.
bowling
But
now.
sometimes these grounds requires 2s and 3s and playing the angles, like you said earlier. So,
And
oh,
not
he's
just
got
2s and
4.
3s, you can get 4s as well.
Got
God,
4s.
yaar.
He's placed that
And
perfectly.
this is exactly what West Indies doesn't do. This is
Yeah, I mean,
excellent
they're
gap finding
limited in their
actually.
way. They don't do
He
it.
knew कि पीछे fielder नहीं है. He just has to beat the mid off, and that's what he did.
Yeah, I mean, New Zealand 156 for 3. Guys, I want to just ask you a quick thing because I think one of the guys in the comments brought up matchups. I mean, he spoke about Santner in Australia. If you had to throw the ball to anyone to get one out, is it the obvious Bolt or would you fancy anyone else against one out? If, say, Plan A doesn't go to work, who else is there?
So Ferguson.
And Bolt.
But Ferguson is more than middle overs and 4s.
Yeah, but I think he's done well against Warner, if I remember correctly. Did he bowl that super over to him in 2020 IPL?
Yeah, I think
There was
so.
that super over between
KKR,
KKR and
SRH.
SRH game.
Yeah, he did. So yeah,
He should have also bowled the super over in the 2019 World Cup final, but he kept running up the pitch.
Gurkira, do you think Australia will target someone like Tim Southee, who's a line and length merchant, according to Anirudh Suresh?
I think they'll probably wait for they just see out the first 2 overs and see if there's any swing available. Because if there's some swing available, they'll try to play out Saudi. If there is no swing available, then they could really get into someone like Saudi and try and hit him around. Even
So do you
Bolt
think Saudi is the weak link there? Do you think he's a chink in the armor or no?
See, I would have personally played Adam Milne today, but I understand why they went with Tim Southee because 1, he gives them something with the bat, and 2, in conditions where there is dampness and there is some moisture in the air and greater chances of ball moving around, then Southee becomes a proper option in terms of breaking the game inside the power play itself. So and if they had won the toss and they had chosen to bowl first, then it would have been a very good decision. So yeah, it's probably. But I think the bigger weak link is someone like Ish Sodhi, even weaker than Tim Southee, because Tim Southee sometimes on his day can bowl those Yorkers and nail them. I know he has a terrible record at the death, but it's not always that you need to bowl Yorkers at the death itself. If the batter is going after you even in the middle overs, then Yorker can become a good option. So for me, the weakest link in the bowling is Ish Sodhi, and I know given how Ish Sodhi has performed versus India, he has a very different perception amongst Indian fans. But outside of playing against India, he rarely struggles against good teams.
You're basically hinting upon Akash because Akash and Gurkira had a little bit of banter.
I'm hoping Akash is listening. Because I know
he is, because he's commented as well about something completely different. But yeah, we take your points on board.
because I know Shubh and Somesh agree with me on this.
So being the weak link.
I think Sodhi's numbers against associate nations versus proper top 10 nations are very stark. And actually, see, numbers for every New Zealand player, you have to take it with a pinch of salt because most of their cricket is played in New Zealand, which is unique in itself. I mean, small grounds and predominantly batting friendly. Recently, wickets in New Zealand have been batting friendly. So
does that make Sodhi's case even?
But then most of their batters are not good spin players. So it's like a very
Catch 22
weird
situation,
hodgepodge where you cannot just take the numbers as is and compare them with other players.
सोधी someone अगर उसको मतलब starting में एक दो boundaries मार दो, he gets under pressure very quickly. I don't see him trying anything new. So if he has conceded a 6 or a 4 in the first 2 balls, he will end up conceding a 20-25 run over, which can be the match breaker in such games. So yeah.
All right.
Sodhi bowled quite poorly in the final. Quite poorly.
Last year,
The-
T20 World Cup final.
Yeah. In fact, after that India game, when New Zealand were playing Scotland, even Scotland hit Sodhi for runs.
Yep. Abbas Kunde saying,
कौन है भाई तू? Last 8 matches of Australia. Last 7 matches versus Australia. Sodhi has 15 wickets. ठीक है भाई,
ठीक है भाई, अब बुरा मत माने यार, कोई बात नहीं यार.
भाई
1, 2 and
डेप्थ में जाके देखेंगे तो पता चलेगा.
This might be Akash's alt account.
alternate
अबे
ego.
कौन है तू? कौन? Sorry, just channelizing my inner Haryanvi there. Oh, talk about James Neesham having a party. Started off well. In fact, it's the perfect time to bring the tweet box right now. Put the tweet on, guys, because I know you were trying to get our attention. We will feature all the fascinating tweets which are going out there. We'll take one from Heisenberg at the Internet Empire handle that he has. Watching bowlers like Stark, Hazelwood, and Cummins getting trashed in the power play will make even eighth brave for bowling setup. Obviously, he goes on to say that. And then we have a man from the Pakistan lens, which is Bazar Rashad, going on to say Finn Allen striker in T20 cricket is 173, the highest ever in the history of this format for any batter with at least 1,000 runs. So it's a no-brainer why we at least hinted him to be New Zealand's
also is the
MVP.
highest
But you
strike rate
realize,
in
right?
power
Only
plays.
we can see that and no one else.
I know, I mean, just for the benefit of viewers reading that out, sorry, apologies there. But Neesham coming out with some intent, 8 of 3, and Cummins is last over. And Nick suggested 208 is a magical number. And we're getting there quite rapidly. They're still 40 away
runs
from
and 16
16
balls left.
I mean, it's going to be a finish, definitely. If
Cover के
Neesham
ऊपर से
is
मारा
going
तो
to
सही
throw the
इसने.
Ishan Kishan Singh.
So I have a question for you all.
Yeah.
Why do you think that Pat Cummins hasn't improved as a death bowler in T20 eyes? And see, unlike Stark, he also plays T20 leagues. He does play in the IPL, but year after year, and especially in the last 2.5, 3 years, I've not seen him improve as a T20 bowler at all. Like he will come and bowl at Rohit Sharma, and he'll bowl short balls at Rohit Sharma, like which is the least.
I'll give you two.
You go first.
I'll give you two options. A, उसे घंटा फर्क नहीं पड़ता.
बहुत पैसा है भाई के पास.
B,
Tension ही नहीं है.
उसको लगता है ऐसा वर्थ नहीं है.
And C, honestly, look at how he's had the time of his life in the last 1 and 2 years, being propelled as Australian captain, winning the Ashes 4-0, winning in Pakistan, drawing in Sri Lanka, fastest IPL 50. One thing has to go wrong in his life.
And D, उसे लगता है कि he can compensate with his bat.
Bat can
Pat Cummins. Pat Cummins. And now, obviously, ODI captaincy as well. So, Pat Cummins having the time of his life,
But-
obviously, Gurkira's
But yeah,
a
I mean,
red flag.
But
in
I
it.
have a explanation for Gurkira's question. I think he's more of a test bowler, and he doesn't actually he doesn't vary the pace a lot. He does not bowl a lot of Yorkers as well. His natural length is hitting the deck hard, and that is what he does. And if you just keep doing that, the batters will come at you eventually. It is a lot more easier to just stay on the back.
But
foot
has he
and
ever
back
has he
the
ever
ball.
been a good T20 bowler?
so actually to quote the first ever T20 kind of a bowler, do you guys remember Jade Dunbach?
Oh,
Jade
the good
Dunbach.
old James.
Rusty
Tattoo
Theron
Dunbach.
Yeah, so actually Jade Dunbach famously said that in tests you have to be consistently consistent, whereas in T20s you have to be consistently inconsistent.
Yeah.
And Pat Cummins is naturally not open to being consistently inconsistent, and that's why he's not a very
Break
good
it down in layman terms.
T20 bowler.
Basically, like an Arshdeep,
Yeah,
right?
बहुत सारे adverbs हैं, तो sorry writing teachers, you won't like it, but
Nick
So-
coming here. Sorry, and then Gurkira, you can go on. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I think Shub pointed that well. I think some bowlers, even right now in this current setup, you see a lot of people bowling attacks. They don't go for the Yorker. They don't believe in much in terms of their execution. So they stick to what is their primary length. But I think it's one of the ways to differentiate between a Pat Cummins and a Josh Hazelwood. like Josh also likes to hit the deck hard, but he's found a way to get that Yorker and he's backing it to come good. And for Cummins, I don't think that is the case. He's just too happy to be on that good length, back of length kind of area and doesn't want to.
But he's got a wicket here.
well,
You know, sorry, my bad.
This was wicket in India. So I think Cummins' case is comparable to that of Hardik Pandya, because even Hardik Pandya is far more comfortable just keeping it back of the length, and I've not seen him trying Yorkers at all.
No, but Cummings sort of reminds me of someone like Dale Steyn, because both of them are so good in test matches, because they know that they have to hit that corridor of uncertainty.
T20 bowler than Cummins
Because of
ever
power
was.
play, actually. Power play, Steyn could really rip off the top order of the opposition. Obviously by Steyn favorite.
But Gurkit, has Cummins in your eyes ever been a good T20 bowler? Has he had even one good season which you can remember, be like, wow, I want him in my team?
No, so like Shubh is saying, I can have Steyn as a power play enforcer, or as someone who can give me wickets in the power play and try and win me the game there and then. But I can't have that with Cummins, because Cummins also tries to mold himself into a T20 bowler, because he will try and bowl that slower one, but his execution of the slower one also isn't great. You wouldn't really see Cummins get a lot of wickets with his slower ones. So that way Steyn knew only one way, and in that one way itself, and this reminds me of one of the times where Steyn said that someone asked him that, why didn't you learn to bowl the in-swinger? And he said that my outswinger is so good that I don't need to. And that's true. Like he had one major weapon, but that one major weapon was so lethal that eventually in entire Asia, his strike rate and average is both better than Anil Kumble in entire
But that's
Asia.
pretty much the batting equivalent of Virat Kohli. One major weapon being the cover drive.
हाँ भाई, हम तो यही सोचते रहते हैं विराट कोहली के इतने रन हो गए, सिर्फ कवर ड्राइव ही तो खेलता है वो.
And he's dominated the world.
जो रूट के पास 25 शॉट्स है.
Dabbing his way to get.
There are some players like that.
So Stark bowling his last over, the penultimate of the innings, of course. He's got a little bit of bat on that. The last 10 balls, boys, for Nix's prediction to come through, another 30 required. Might be a fast stretch, but
195.
Yeah,
Will
195.
Conway get to his 100?
Will Conway end
Yes.
up 99 not out again against
Would be
Australia?
fun if he does.
Hazelwood was on the last over, right?
Yeah, Hazelwood has one. So he'll finish out.
Also, Australia have used just 5 bowlers. Proper use of resources. Good captain. 1 over behind. Great. So we'll have field coming in.
So he needs to be bowling the.
No, Hazelwood will be bowling with an extra fielder inside the ring.
Regardless. So 4 balls left. Stark, of course, Conway who's on 82.
Nahi.
Swung away,
Oh,
swung
that
away.
might
Is there
be
a
out,
man
might be
there?
out.
There is.
Oh!
Great effort from Stoinis. Bit
Big
Stoin
Stoin.
putting in the big hands out. Just 2. But New Zealand will be happy, dude. 180 for 3.
I think New Zealand will be thinking they had a great chance to notch up 200. And they
Kill the game.
there's 9 balls left, 20 runs. Because Australia have the batting to chase down anything around 200. So
Yeah, because Pat Cummins is coming at number 9 and Stark at 8. So they do have the batting definitely.
In fact, this is a good way to kind of plug in the cricket.com app, because if you guys haven't downloaded it, what are you guys doing? Download the goddamn app right now, because it has Critlytics, which tell us a win prediction every now and then. And I'm fascinated to know how much New Zealand are ahead of the 8 ball and how much catch-up cricket, so to speak, will Australia have to play. So right now, win percentage suggests 16% Australia, 83 towards New Zealand, and then 1% for the tie. How many of you boys agree with that?
No, I think that's
20%.
too extreme.
That's too extreme?
Yeah.
I think 20% too much.
Okay, so
Around 63% New
would you
Zealand.
still say 60-30?
70-30. 70%
That's right,
in
70-30.
New Zealand's favor. Because I think the par score at Sydney in the last 2 years or so has been around 170. So if you are ending up with more than 20 runs as the par score, that plays a part. But yeah, for me it's 70-30 in New Zealand's favor.
But top
Yeah.
over from Stark.
In fact,
so far,
Stark
So far.
has bowled great last 3 overs. He went for 14 in his first one, so essentially 18 in the next 2.5. So if he can close it out here, well done, Mitchell Stark. And look, the world's best predicting algorithm that Critlytics is, they're right with 83%, but you guys have your own opinions.
Yeah.
Let us know how much New Zealand are going to get in the
Critlytics
last
also
over.
predicted-
And he's got a boundary, and that will do
Oh,
nicely.
okay.
You mentioned Stark finishing off well, but he'll take that nonetheless. 36, not getting a wicket, but still keeping the
So
runs
Stark
down.
would be disappointed by the standards he has
This
set for
is not
himself.
Stark standard.
And here we have in the tweet box the tweet that I was mentioning earlier. Heisenberg, he has a Dale Steyn image, funnily enough, but obviously going on to be an Aussie fan by the looks of his tweet. Will make it for our bowling setup.
Yeah, it is. I
So
mean,
he-
if this is a high scoring
Australian.
World Cup,
He's a proper cricket fan.
Yeah,
Dale
that's
Steyn
it.
की image है, ऑस्ट्रेलिया की तारीफ कर रहा है, इंडिया के लिए concerned है.
See, Australian fans will always have a Dale Steyn picture or poster in the house because he's just ruled them.
वाह यार.
He's ruled
तो
them. boy.
हम क्या ईस्ट सोडी और मिचेल सैंडर की फोटो लगाए फिर?
not for one off, but we probably have like a Glenn McGrath poster for all these people.
सईद
I,
अनवर की
I'm,
फोटो
I'm
लगानी
just
पड़ेगी.
I'm just looking at the scorecard now.
सलमान खान.
And
Yeah,
Finn Allen basically scored a boundary every 2 balls. 8 boundaries in 16 balls. It's insane.
8 boundaries in 15 balls. 16th he got out, so you
अच्छा.
can say 8 boundaries in
तुम
15
तुम
balls.
दोनों को ऐसा नहीं लगता कि Finn
Oh,
Allen
good start
plays
is
like
over.
Nathan Astle?
Yeah.
Aggressive version
Yeah.
of Nathan Astle. His
The
shots.
way he comes down the track and
Comes
hits
down,
the ball
yeah.
through the offside,
Yeah.
through the
Yeah.
offside, not over mid off, but वो cover में जो मारता है, the finish is exactly similar to that of Nathan Astle.
Nathan Astle.
that shot comes to mind, but even the one that he played for 6, the pull, where Astle used to just roll it back and kind of get it
Yeah.
going, like that was reminiscent of Nathan Astle. But yeah, fine.
I,
player.
I didn't see Astle a lot, so wouldn't know.
Even I did not, but
Surprising.
highlights में जितना भी check करा है मैंने, especially from his the fastest double 100.
So
it's
tell us you are
Oh, he's
tell
good
us you are
score.
young without telling us you are young.
Oh, they come back for 2. They'll come
Yes.
back for 2. Obviously, Conway not playing for landmarks, which shouldn't ever be the case, to be fair. 188 for 3. Right. Obviously, Knicks's predictions been blown out of the water with
भाई
good
20
overs.
4 बॉल पे कुछ भरोसा नहीं है भाई इस फॉर्मेट में.
It's a fickle
अभी
format.
आएंगे 3 बॉल पे 3 छक्के, लास्ट बॉल पे डबल और बस 208.
नीशम को सिंगल लेना चाहिए भाई. कॉन्वे के
I just
100
want
कराओ.
12 runs to be eked out somewhere. So psychologically, New Zealand go into the halfway mark, just having that 200 under their belt. But
Do you think if Nisham just hits boundaries from here and doesn't give Conway the strike,
It's fine. Out.
the
one
Conway
pitch.
fans in India will abuse Nisham?
Conway fans.
Basically, CSK fans.
CSK fans.
I mean, I wouldn't really call them fans because at the end of the day,
Yes.
at the end of the day, you have to do whatever that helps the team. If I'm sure even Conway would say that if Nisham can hit 4 sixes from here and take New Zealand to a better score, that is much better than Conway getting to 100 and New Zealand ending up with somewhere around 200. So
Of course.
Yeah.
अरे joke था
no
यार.
person- Maybe because
Okay,
I am
come
at
on,
the
guys.
receiving end of
Conway-
I am at the
Yeah,
receiving end of fans
I
who
know.
will
Where
die.
would go? This is
Okay, I think he's outsmarted
in the
himself.
air and it goes over
It
Trisha.
might go. Oh, no, it
No,
doesn't.
Sri Sante.
2. Will they come back for 3? Oh, no, they
Yeah, yeah.
come back for 3. They'll actually come back for 3.
Two,
Good run.
देख भाई मैंने तुझे दिए 2 बॉल पे 2 छक्के मार के तू कर सकता है.
So 192 for 3. Conway
Team
at
ले लिया,
92.
हाँ, 3 बार लिए.
Unfortunately,
100 is
no
not
100.
happening. And
No 100 unless
208
there's
is
a-
also not happening.
Unless there's a free hit, and then shambles after that.
So under 200, who do you think will be happier, Australia or the Kiwis?
After the start, the Kiwis
Yeah,
enjoyed it.
given the start that the Kiwis had.
Next,
I'd say Australia would be happier.
Yeah.
Interesting. I'd say New Zealand would always take 190 plus against Australia if they were asked to bat first. Even with the start that Phil Allen had. Because
and who knows, a couple of wickets from bowled in the power play, and then scoreboard pressure and a big
But
game.
a couple of wickets
Oh,
after
shocking throw! And nearly brilliant from Matthew Wade to instigate a run out there, but unfortunately, no wicket. And there's still 200. There's a glimmer of hope because it's 194
I
for
just
three in the last ball.
I just want to come in here and say something that Shubh had when the third wicket fell of Phillips. Shubh had mentioned that if Nisham comes in, there's a good possibility that he just premeditates too much towards the leg side and he misses out on scoring opportunities on the offside. You look at the last 2 balls. The last ball was a full toss on probably 5th or 6th stump. Nisham could have easily driven it.
Oh,
and-
that's the leg side coming into the play. That's 200 for New Zealand. It doesn't
8 runs
matter.
only.
New Zealand
But-
have
but-
got up to that psychological 200 mark. And honestly, take a bow, lads. We've seen some great batting, in particular from Conway, and then first Phil Allen. But Nisham's 26 to 13. How big?
But
is
I think
the match?
he was making a very valid point.
Yes.
All
last 3
he
balls
was hit-
are just a testimony to what Shubh had said earlier.
Yeah, he could have easily hit all. I mean, to the
Outside
offside, but
cover gap देख के.
in hindsight, it seems harsh because this went for 6.
Six.
But yeah. But again, see, forget about the power play. Entire New Zealand would have taken this score 100 out of 100 times.
They would have bit
against
your hand
Australia.
off. Yeah, they would have bit
And
your
since
hand
we have
off.
an Australian fan,
Given their record against Australia, which is absolutely shambles.
Okay, super. So we'll make a quick substitution in-house, but we'll keep you boys for the mid analysis as well.
Just I wanted to make one point. I think
Yes.
a lot of
Double, very easy. Yeah.
he should be in, but I think Cummins is getting a lot of unfair flack
So-
because I'll tell you what, he was integral. He was very, very important to Australia winning the World Cup last year. In the final and semi-final, his figures were one for 27 and none for 30. And in the semi-final against Pakistan, he bowled the 19th over, penultimate over. He conceded 3 runs. The 2 overs before that went for 36 runs.
Wow. So that is perspective. And
So,
that
and if you look at his overall record, he has an economy of 7.2 in T20Is. 50% of his matches have come against Pakistan, South Africa, India, and England. In overall T20s, he has an economy of 7.9.
An angry Cummins fan. And
I
now,
just feel
no,
that
but
he
it's
deserves a bit
absolute
more
valid
respect.
points. And look,
I did not know.
Sanjay
I didn't know.
Venkatesh,
Sorry, I didn't know
Sorry,
you had.
sorry, next one.
I just didn't know you had a Cricket Australia representative right there with you.
Yeah.
No, I mean, but he's spoken absolute sense there. And Sanjay Venkateshwaran also in the comments going on to say Kane Richardson should play ahead of Cummins based on performance. Then Australia would
agree.
truly have no gaps at park. Sanjay, listen to this man and this boy. Honestly,
And,
spitting facts.
it's like those just a minute thing. It's just like it just went for a minute. Like I'm going to complete
But
this.
has Cummins ever been a good T20 bowler? We asked the panel this.
I mean, I wouldn't say
Too
he's
early to
the.
say.
If you wouldn't pick him as your ideal bowler,
Correct.
but since Australia have kind of decided that they want to go with Cummins anyway because of
Balance.
maybe of his leadership. a
So
bit
who
of
had an off
six-
day with the ball for Australia today?
It's just they lost it in power play, I guess. Nobody had an off day.
So it
Maybe
makes you
Zampa because he bowled in the middle overs and he still considered over 40, I guess.
No, 13,
38.
39.
But it does make you think, Nix, about
Finn
why
Allen.
they didn't bowl Maxwell or why didn't they
Hmm.
have a 6 bowling option, right? Because in T20, we normally talk about batting depth, but bowling depth as well. Australia have it, but maybe they miss a trick there.
Yeah, I think Finn's not made that impact. I generally felt had Finn Allen not gotten off to that start that he did, and if Kane and Conway were playing, they would have definitely tried Maxwell for
But
an over.
But did they not
This-
bring on Maxwell purely because Conway thrives against off spin? Was that the reasoning?
Yeah, I think it also about the two ends, right? Because I think they feared that if they get on Maxwell, Finnell is likely to hit him, and with the kind of start Finnell already got, it could have made it even worse. So I think maybe
Yeah.
that was one of the logic that because Kane is not going to hit him at all, and that could also bring a mistake from Conway if at all there is not enough runs up already on the board. So I think that start kind of nullified any chances that Maxwell had on board.
So is it fair to say that New Zealand outplayed Australia instead of Australia just underplaying? Because that's how it looks.
That is true. I mean, essentially,
No, so
Australia didn't do
I-
anything wrong, right? Gurkira?
You know, I something that I've said in the said earlier as well. This is a very good innings by Conway. It might look like that he didn't bat at the strike rate that he would have liked, because it's a strike rate of 158.62 and he's batted nearly half of the overs. But why I say that it's a very good innings is because he's saved all other New Zealand batters from facing someone like Zampa, and he actually took good toll of Zampa. I think we'll probably have to ask Anirudh that how many runs he scored against Zampa in this innings. But I thought Conway played a very, very good innings, which ensured that this acceleration could come at the end as well. That had a part to play also, I feel, eventually.
It just reminds me about certain teams having anchors and aggressors. We see how Butlers play that role perfectly. Is Devon Conway, because Nick, you were saying that when we asked you about New Zealand's MVP player, you're saying Devon Conway, if he actually has a good game, he's one of those players to just carry on the momentum forward, right?
Yeah, I think he's one of those consistent openers. When they get on a roll, it's very hard to stop them. So I think it's you either get them early or they'll get you those 40, 45s very regularly, and it's not slow. He's going to pace, and the best bit is I think he's one of the very great. I'll be biased here. I think nobody flicks the ball better than Conway does as of now. With that, one. So I have
The
that
flamingo
bias.
shot.
The flamingo shot, and I feel it's the options versus spin that Conway has. He can
Yeah.
rotate, he can hit spin, he's tried to reverse and bit as well, but I still think he's very good in the V straight. And that with versus spin on any kind of ground helps you, because then you can maneuver the field, but also keep the rate up without taking much risk. And I think
Yeah.
that is why I think Conway will play a very big part for New Zealand in this.
Yeah, calculated risks is something that
Yeah.
sits well with Conway, and he just has the ability to manufacture shots and improvisation, like we saw on one of the balls there where he gunned it down. Oh, we were talking about a very interesting topic before Akash joined us, and there's been a feud between Akash and Gurkirat about Ish Sodhi. There was another comment saying, "Hey, bhai, kaun hai tu, kaun hai," and all that. So talk to me now, Gurkirat and Akash.
No,
Ish Sodhi being the chink in the armor.
No, I wish
Start.
I wish that was my account, but unfortunately, that's not my account. But again, see, my point here, as I mentioned before, also Australia usually tend to struggle against spinners, and I think Maxwell is the only one who, I mean, apart from Warner, is the only one who can play spin very well. Even Stoinis struggles. Everybody has a struggle, and that's where I think Ish Sodhi can come in, because if they have a quiet power play, they'll have to go after Ish Sodhi. That's where he picks up those wickets. It's not. I'm not saying he's a very good spinner. I'm saying he is at the right place at the right time and gets wickets. That's what you need from a spinner.
He's like Shardul.
So
Shardul
is he,
Yeah,
is he
I was just going to say he's a
so
Shardul
Gurkirat,
Thakur.
according to you, where does Ish Sodhi sit in terms of T20 spinners? I mean, we talk about, okay, Ashwin being a defensive spinner, and then there's attacking spinners like Hasaranga. What is Ish Sodhi for New Zealand?
Anything except a liaison officer.
I think he's pretty underrated.
Yeah.
To be honest, I mean, if you look at his performances in ICC events, especially,
Performance against Australia and T20 15 wickets.
Yeah, I mean,
Kaun hai, bhai?
16 World Cup, he was excellent, and like probably one of the reasons why
But
they
again,
made this
subcontinental
semis.
assistance.
But
Doesn't
that's
matter,
always
though,
going to
like,
be a
it's-
spinners, right?
it's-
It's not. You can't say
Yeah.
that. Oh, just because it's spin.
Play in the BBL as well for some.
Okay,
No,
so
I don't
we've
think
heard
they might
why we
No,
should
I don't
push
think
Ish
it-
Sodhi's case. Gurkirat, tell us why we shouldn't push Ish Sodhi's
No, he's already told that. I don't think I want to hear it again.
No, I see. I just think that he's not very consistent, and he's a very high variance bowler, and for me, I think he has more bad days than good days, right? He on his good days, he like we saw last World T20, a 2 for a 17 spell against India, and that really put the stranglehold on India, but then the following performances weren't great either. So we will have to see how he goes in this World Cup, because in the recent series as well against Pakistan and Bangladesh, there was one game where he really went for a lot of runs. I think more than 40, and not even completed his quota of overs, where Shadab took him on. So we'll have to see how he goes here. Maybe let's hope that my perception of him changes after this World T20. But on the evidence that I have had, I feel he's a very high variance bowler.
Okay, next, coming to you next, before we let you boys go and then get you back for the second innings, I just want to know about the power play right now and how critical it'll be in Australia's chase, because Aaron Finch has got some runs, but he still has that nemesis of Bolt getting him in the past, like how Boovy's got him in toast before. How critical will that be, or is it all down to David Warner and his antics out there?
I think Tim Southee could be the difference today. I just don't know whether it will come true or not, but I think Tim Southee's new ball spell is going to be the game, because if at all there is anything that is there as a help, no better than Tim to extract that. And with Finch's record, it's not that bad versus Bolt. He's only got him out twice. So yeah, hopefully the big pads stay away and he gets a good score, because alone David will not be able to chase down 200. You are going to need a very solid start for your all-rounders to come in. And if Bolt or Southee strike early, they could do what Chris Wokes did. So I think Tim Southee could do a Chris Wokes. If it does, then we have a clip for the ages.
We do. Okay, guys, we'll see you in a bit. Thank you so much for making your presence felt. We'll catch you in the 10th over mark of the second innings. Before you go, predictions. Who's winning this halfway mark so we can hold you by hostage, hopefully?
Hopefully New Zealand.
Okay, Gurkirat?
Yeah, you'd have to say New Zealand are the favorites. Probably from 70-30, I'd say now it's 75-25 in New Zealand's favor, because 200 is a lot of runs, and like Nikhil said, एक बंदे का काम है नहीं. You need support, and if you can't leave too much for the likes of Tim David and Matthew Wade to do it all alone, because if you get to an equation where it's 60 or 5 overs, then it's not as achievable as what we are used to seeing it in the IPL, because boundaries are shorter. I think Australia probably need to get it to 50 of last 5 overs with around 5 wickets in hand, and then probably go for it. And yeah, if they probably need to be around 60 at the end of the power play. So they'll have to see somewhere along. Maybe Marsh needs to play a good cameo, or Maxwell needs to turn up. One of Marsh or Maxwell have to support Warner, and then if you've gotten to the stage where it's 50 of 5 overs, then Australia would be really confident because of the batting that they have till Cummings at 9 and Stark at 8. Yeah, but 60 overs in 60 in 5 would actually be quite difficult, because from there on you are also at the risk of losing by a 20-25 run margin, and you don't want that either with net run rate coming into play. And I just feel that this group might be a lot closer one than the other group, because of the venues that Sri Lanka will be playing at. They'll be playing England and New Zealand at Sydney, and Afghanistan at Perth. So that will also play a part. So yeah,
I asked Gurkiat for his prediction, but he's obviously given us much more. But we love it, Gurkiat. We love you. Honestly, we'll see you in a bit. The second innings is resumed. So
Yeah.
with Nick as well. We'll see you boys soon. Thanks for making your presence
Thank
felt.
you.
Let's ask you boys about New Zealand, right? Because obviously they've enjoyed a good start to the tournament, needless to say. They're not a team which tinkers much. So will we see this 11 play a longer rope despite the result?
No, I think Mitchell will return next game. Pretty much
In place
after
of
that,
who?
there is.
Chapman.
Yeah, I think Chapman.
But that you're letting go of the only
No, they-
left-hander.
Oh, Gurkiat is still on. Oh, sorry. Oh, he's off. Okay, yeah, cheers.
Or maybe no, Braithwaite is also
Milne,
left-hander. No,
Yeah, so
Bra-
they will make a couple of tactical tweaks again.
Mitchell,
I think Mitchell, Milne, and
Bracewell.
Mitchell, Milne, and Bracewell. These
Yeah.
three guys might. Mitchell, I'm exactly not sure. I think I can't
Eminence.
see a place for Mitchell in this 11 anywhere. Just I can't
no,
realistically
but
see
he
him.
gives that balance. No, that's the
But
thing.
he
Maybe
doesn't
instead of
bowl a lot. I mean, who will you drop
yeah,
for
that's
Mitchell?
no,
That's the
but
problem.
these are conditions where he can bowl a lot.
No, but who will you drop? That's the question.
That's
Chapman has
Saudi?
been playing a regular, proper extended role.
no, but you can
Saudi?
drop. I
Why?
think you can drop
Why would you
Chapman
sacrifice?
because he's again a spin option, right?
So we have.
Let's of course go to Anirudh Statsman, who of course is our data guy to suggest all the things in terms of numbers right now. Anirudh, if you can hear us, how are we
Yep,
this
I
morning,
can
my
hear.
friend? And what is going on? 200 is what they scored. Tell us some fascinating stats, please.
Yeah, so this is the first time.
What a ball that is! That is squared up, Warner. Sorry, go on, Ani.
Okay, so this is the first time New Zealand have scored 200 in a World Cup, T20 World Cup match. And so that is one of them.
In the history of the World Cup, T20 World Cup.
Yes, history of the World Cup. This is the first time they're scoring 200 runs.
They made
That's a
two,
shocking
and they made
stat.
2 semis and 1 final. So it just tells you how strong
Their bowling is.
Their bowling is.
consistently they've been with the ball.
The SRH of the international arena.
That is one of the thing. And starting off, Stark conceded 14 runs, which is the most for any Australian bowler in a T20 World Cup. That is the most runs conceded in the first over of the innings for any bowler in the first over.
Nitty gritties, but we like it.
By any bowler, as in any Australian bowler.
Any
Australian
Australian
bowler.
bowler, any Australian bowler. So
Okay.
any Australian bowler, and the 65 runs they scored in the power play, the New Zealand, that is their highest power play score in T20 World Cup, like in a completed T20 match. So they scored against Ireland in 2009. They scored 19 6 overs. That was a cut short match, so which we won't be considering.
Barry McCullum would have had something to say in that game.
No, Jesse Ryder.
Oh,
Aaron Redmond was
Jesse
playing,
Ryder.
wasn't he?
Jesse Ryder.
Was it Scotland? Aaron
Yes,
Redmond.
Aaron Redmond was playing against Scotland.
I remember.
So
But
and
yeah,
that is one. And so Finn Allen scored 42 runs in the power play, right? 42 runs.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that is the most runs scored by a New Zealand batter in the first 6 overs in a T20 World Cup.
And who's overall?
Overall, you'll have Colin Munro, who scored 66 runs.
Oh,
Colin Munro comes up a lot of times in that. So
in a
he has
single
around
power play, he himself scored 66.
yeah.
But he's from New
Oh
Zealand.
my god.
That's pretty
So,
crazy.
and apart from that, Conway became the third joint fastest, or second joint fastest, can say. Yeah, second joint fastest 2,000 runs.
He beat
And,
some Frenchman record, no?
So Devon Conway's score of 92 not out is the third highest for a New Zealand batter in T20 World Cups.
Okay.
That's
That's a good one.
that's few things. These
Yeah,
are the
so
few things.
basically New Zealand dominated stats, and understandably so, but that
Yeah,
first one
and
blew my mind. They've
and
only
going
scored
to
200 once.
going to what Gurkeerat asked about Devon Conway playing against Zampa. So Devon Conway faced 70.8% of the balls bowled by Adam Zampa in this innings, which is 17 out of 24, which
Oh.
says that
And how many runs did he get out of those 70
52
balls?
runs at a strike rate of 188.2.
Oh wow.
So basically shielding
Same.
the other
Proper
New Zealand
matchup.
batsmen.
Yeah.
But yeah, Tim Southee is here. Ani, we appreciate your time. Cracking stats as ever, and we'll catch
Oh,
you
no,
soon, my friend.
I think he has another.
Oh, does he have
interesting
another one?
with Southee versus I think Warner.
Yes, Saudi versus Warner. Saudi and Bolt versus Warner. Like both have different kind of records. And gone.
He's gone. He's
That's the
played
first
on.
time
He's
he's
had
been
luck
dismissed to
with human
Saudi.
need. Talk about Saudi being the weakling. Never, because he's delivered in his very first ball with an element of luck. And on that note, we'll catch Anirudh in a bit, but we appreciate all the
Okay,
numbers.
and one second.
Oh,
I just
yeah,
have one
another
thing.
one. Oh, yeah,
Okay.
go on.
So this is the first time
Oh, that
David
is
Warner
luck
has
and
been
luck.
dismissed to Tim Saudi in T20s. All T20s.
All
So,
T20s.
First
Yeah,
time.
11
time
11
Saudi
innings,
got Warner.
112 runs, one dismissal at a strike rate of 193.1.
But really, has Southee dismissed him or his bat?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Old
a
bat almost. But yeah, I mean, what a start for
New Zealand.
New Zealand. I mean, they ended up really well with that Nisham 6 to give them momentum, but now Warner's wicket as well was quite brilliant. The stats man Ani there, brilliant with his numbers, and we appreciate it. Time. We'll probably get him on some part of the innings if it does get even more interesting, but we appreciate it. Time. Guys, what have we just seen? Is that Australia already losing the game?
No, I think
It's a big blow because now they can bring in Santner and Sodhi. But the only thing is that Finch is still good against ball that turns
So as an
away.
Aussie fan, you still have belief that they can chase this down, right?
Yeah, but it's again, I'll tell you, the thing is, recent matches have not been good for Australia, as in they've got themselves into winning positions but not have been able to finish the job off.
True.
Whether it be the warm-up match against India or the
England
first two
series.
T20s against England, or even that second, was it the first T20 against West Indies where they barely got over the line?
Exactly.
I mean, they made an absolute mess of this thing. West Indies made an absolute mess, dropping a couple of catches in the last over, and Australia scraped over the line for what, 143 or 144, some score like that. So this is very much advantage to New Zealand, but this is probably the most unfortunate chop on I've ever seen. It's just
this is what life throws
luck,
at you.
But it's just like, luck evens out, right?
Right, so I'll take a small little breather and come back, and there's lots more content, of course. So subscribe to the channel. We're putting on India Pakistan preview as well. See that at 6 p.m.
Warner.
But the big talking point.
Yes,
I want to get Soam's reaction.
What just happened? and Saudi getting Warner. I mean, calling him the weak link and all that. And
Warner being the luckiest
So Australia
batter.
lost it already, no, right?
No, obviously not.
Warner being the so-called luckiest batter in the world.
Yeah.
Suffers this kind of a dismissal. Faith in humanity restored, or?
So Warner basically has moved from luckiest and the most indisciplined batter in the world to slightly disciplined.
What indisciplined batter in the world?
I mean, indisciplined player.
Okay.
Yeah, not batter, but
Finch century today?
No, definitely not. He'll max score 30-40, I think.
I think I have a good feeling about Finch today.
Let's see.
I don't know.
But okay, given that Marsh struggles against spinners, now it makes it even more obvious to bring somebody like...
just keep an eye out on Marsh. Whenever they bring in spin, he'll go back as far as possible.
Yeah.
Even if it's a full toss, he'll play it off his back foot.
I mean, it tells me something. If you go back to the first thing, the ball hardly moved, but these two are moving the ball. Is it because the game moved under lights, or
maybe
maybe they are just better swingers of the ball?
Yeah, that's.
But I don't know.
Cameraman, please
saw
point.
That Hazelwood got good in swing against Finn Allen dismissal, right?
I'm saying cameraman should point out the sandpaper. I think they've got swing when Australia didn't. there's
No, I'm just
something
thinking.
fishy.
Then is it a good tactic to actually field? You would want to ball
Perhaps.
second and use this
Yeah.
especially a team like
I
India.
just think that the Australia kind of got shell shocked by Finn Allen's onslaught in the
Yeah.
first.
And they never
3
recovered,
overs.
sort of.
They did recover, but you got to 200 already. New Zealand did not have an explosive finish or whatever.
No, they did it. But in the
Not
middle
in
overs, they
yeah,
struggled.
they did very well in the middle overs, despite Kane's best efforts to derail the innings. And then the death overs didn't go too well, because I think Stark bowled excellently after
That over was,
after the first over.
14
I think was
runs.
14.
14 runs.
I think he conceded 20 of his next 3 or something
Yeah.
like that. And it
Yep.
was a finally, I think New Zealand ended up with a score that is slightly maybe above par even. 200 for Australia, Sydney. So
And Rajiv Human is saying Wade and Tim David will finish the game. Let's see.
Yeah.
Let's
see, they have not
Australia
done
won
it
that.
in the last 3 or 4 matches. So
But I don't think.
yes, is it
Finch.
Yeah, it is live only.
Yeah.
It is 6.
huge?
Huge 6.
He's
I have a
countered
good feeling
the
about
swing.
You're feeling so
Breaking
far
news: Finch unretires from ODIs.
so and retires.
Unretires from ODIs.
Finch doesn't Afridi.
Won't be shocked. Given
But
that.
I mean, this is like a proper peak Finch shot. Is it?
Yeah.
Like this, I have missed this so much. Just him.
Oh, 102! It didn't look like 102.
That innings where he just murdered England. He was just playing the shot for fun, and obviously he was not stepping down the track a
You're
lot.
just on the
I
back foot.
remember
And
a 6 he hit of Stephen Finn.
Yeah.
That was just massive.
That's why I think these kind of conditions will suit Finch more
Yeah.
than anything.
You know what?
I mean,
Human.
Why?
No, because it'll be bounce. He plays bounce very well. There'll not be a lot of
But isn't
swing.
he there is decent swing.
Let's
There is
see.
decent swing, but after 3 overs, there'll not be a lot of
Yeah.
swing. So
So he has to survive the 3 overs. That's the thing.
yeah, I mean, get off. That's why David Warner took strike.
Mhm.
He's like, I am not doing anything. I just see that's it. After that, he'll just take on.
3.
That's 4, I
4.
think.
I'll go for 4.
Ankur Jain says, great setup for Maxi to go crazy to right.
Yeah.
True. So that is, see, how many
I
match
agree.
winners do Australia have? These two are match winners in themselves. Then they have Maxi to come, Stoinis to come, and people are talking
Tim
about
David,
Wade.
Matthew
Tim
Wade,
David,
Cummins.
Matthew Wade, Cummins.
Yeah. So I mean, this game is far from over, guys.
Yeah.
I mean, and if Australia can chase 200 with Warner pretty much scoring a duck, not a duck, but 0 contribution,
Yeah.
then I think it will be a huge
Statement.
for the rest of the teams and a huge morale booster for them.
Actually, either way, we are looking at a statement because if New Zealand win this, then it's a big upset and actually just changes the calculation. And if
yeah.
Australia win from here,
And
that,
if Finch finds form,
yeah,
which I think he did play very well in that warm-up match against India.
Even in that first T20, he played really well.
England?
Mohali won. No, against India.
Yeah. And the England one,
First ball,
he
6.
hit Rashid for 6 and then was run out the next ball, which was so bad. I think Finch is looking the best he has in a long time, if you consider what he's done in the last month or so. And he did win the man of the match in one of the West Indies matches. Didn't he?
Yeah.
It was the first T20 maybe.
No.
Sure. Oh,
Second
come on.
one, who?
Should have.
Second one was Warner. Second match, I think, was
First
Warner.
one, Finch.
First one was Finch or?
Yeah.
No, I think Stark.
No, the one they scraped over the line.
Oh,
First
yeah,
Finch.
yeah.
Finch
Oh,
scored
yeah,
a
he was
50
the-
after
yeah,
they were
yeah.
like
He was,
60 for 5 or something like that. Right.
True.
So,
That's when he
good
came in
signs.
middle order, I think.
so it's a very important match for everyone involved, I guess, for
Look
all
at
the
the-
reasons.
Look at the field. 2 fielders.
He's
in
gonna bowl
square.
short, isn't he?
I don't think he's going to bowl.
Oh.
4.
finds the gap.
Now that's a bluff. You have 2 fielders deep
That's
mid
4.
wickets, deep square.
Oh, wow,
and then you
that's
go
very
full.
good fielding. Is it Lockie?
Oh, come on, could have run a third.
I think it's Lockie.
Third with
fielder.
Finch.
Finch is a good runner, actually. It's just that
Mm.
he doesn't look like he's one, but he is.
He doesn't look like an athlete, but he is.
What if you make Finch and
He does look
Rohit?
better than Rohit, though.
That's what I was getting at. What if you made them run a race? It'll be interesting.
I think Finch has kind of worked on his fitness in the last, because he used to suffer a ton of hamstring injuries and stuff early on when he
and
was.
cramps also, I think he used to.
Same with Khwaja, right? Initially, he was so injury prone. Rotten luck.
Short, but no run.
Damn.
3 overs, 19. Not the best start, but
So
yeah.
it looks like all
New Zealand were what, 40 after 3 overs?
Pratik asks who could be the game changer for Australia and New Zealand respectively. Somesh, you first.
Australia. Australia, I think Stoinis.
Hmm.
And
Interesting.
from a New Zealand perspective, maybe Santner, because Australia have so many right-handed
And
batters.
Warner is gone already.
Yeah.
So
Maxwell Sodhi.
Maxwell and Sodhi. I will go.
He's gone for Sodhi, not Saudi.
Sodhi. Yeah,
Sodhi.
Sodhi. I will
Of
go
course, you'll
for
have to defend
Finch, Australia. And from a New Zealand perspective, I'll agree with Santner, I feel.
And he's there, I guess.
Should be.
Yes.
And it's a good move. And what are
Against
the odds
Marsh.
of just Marsh just going back and playing
getting
it as
trapped.
far on
And
the
getting
back foot as
trapped.
possible?
And he'll get trapped, LBW. But also, if it doesn't turn a lot, he can just take him as a pacer. I mean,
Can you
essentially as a medium.
Grab that.
Yep. New balls, guys.
New balls. Do you want the white?
We've grown some balls.
Wow. After doing so many watch-alongs, we thought it's the best thing to do.
So no long on, which is fair.
Oh!
Oh, he played that out of the front foot, not the back. So
Yeah.
something is changing, guys.
So he does have another
Mitchell
foot.
Marsh is finally learning.
I don't think he's learning.
Come
But
on.
maybe if the Delhi experience, the Delhi capital
Man of the
experience
match,
helped him.
in it, World Cup
then-
final last year.
Oh,
Swept away for
shot.
4.
So much anticipation in this over. All of us are just silent. Let's see what happens.
I think even in one of those T20s against England, he played spin well. Again, I think Rashid was it Adil Rashid when he played spin well. But again,
First T20. I don't know.
yeah, it's tough to.
But they have stopped Marsh and Warner from getting together, so that's already a win for New Zealand because otherwise you have just Marsh
Pace
taking singles
destructor.
Yeah.
whenever the spinner
Yeah.
comes on.
And a
That
spin
is the
back.
classic,
There is the back
classic
foot.
Marsh.
Yeah.
One of the biggest reasons for his downfall in tests in subcontinent, especially. Like,
So-
come on, you do that to Jadeja in India, you're gone already.
So Santner's test career had took off like something like Akshar Patel, New Zealand would have been very happy. That's something that never worked out for them. They desperately wanted him to succeed, but never happened. Can he get a wicket? Shot!
Oh,
he's gone out of
massive
here.
shot.
That's
That
a
is-
shot and
that
a
is like
half.
85 plus easy. Right?
Easy. I think it's 92, 93. See, even
Those long levers coming into play.
that's just power, brute power.
Very,
Is it like a very Pollard? No, Pollard doesn't
just a
hit on
Mitchell
offside.
Marsh. Oh shit! They've
97.
hit 2 sixes. It's 102 and 97. Oh my god! And is this the talking about brute power? This is the most brute power partnerships you can get on a cricket field.
Yeah, where
Marsh
there's
and-
no foot
Come on,
movement.
guys! There is too much muzzle in the Australian batting line.
That's what feet
Yeah.
doesn't move at
You
all.
have Stoinis, you have
Yeah.
Tim David, you have these
Oh,
two.
And
It's
Wade
like-
also.
It's the
was
most muzzly.
Australian batting line is pretty much a Mustang.
basically a set of bodybuilders.
Has there been a more muzzly batting lineup in the history of
West Indies?
Yeah,
2016.
West Indies.
Oh,
That
yes.
Pollard, Russell,
Gale,
Gale.
Brathwaite. Oh, and it took the most unmuzzly guy.
Lennon Smith.
No, Marlon Samuels.
Marlon Samuels.
But he's muscle as well.
There's two fielders this side, one there.
Let's see.
Is he going to hit straight? Oh, that's a good shot.
Oh,
Gone.
Oh, gone.
Gone. So that's the hope
big
gone.
blow. Big blow. Australia needed.
And Williamson took the catch, the only contribution for him.
So my prediction came right. Finch and Santner game.
Finch and
changer.
Santner game changers. The game is changed now. Santner has gone.
So you said
Finch.
Santner to Finch will change the game, right? Dead straight.
Who
Come
comes
on.
next? Maxwell?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's hit it powerfully straight.
Now, no brainer to bring in Loki Ferguson straight away and target Maxwell.
Yeah, I
with
think
short balls.
I think Williamson nudged Ferguson. You're next.
But then
I
they
think-
could get, if that is the case, they could get Stoinis in. But again, that would be too weak
Then they'll
against
bowl
spin.
Sodhi.
Yeah, that's what, too weak
no,
against
but
spin.
Stoinis has actually done well against spin in the last
Yeah, in the last,
18
but
months or so. But
even he struggles against leg spinners. So
yeah, I mean, but I don't think this wicket is turning much, is it? It's been
Yeah,
Zampa literally got nothing.
0. No, he did get that turn, no? Turn
A
and
bit,
bounce.
Yeah,
Turn and
Turn and
it
bounce.
was more bounce. Than
Yeah.
turn.
but I feel like Sodhi is the kind of
And Maxwell,
spinner
it
who
is.
you could play off the back foot. Honestly, he doesn't. His length is his general length is back of the
Hmm.
good length, right? It's back of length / good length.
Let's see how Lockie goes.
Shit.
Big game for
Lockie.
Maxwell.
Yeah, I mean he did literally nothing in the World Cup last year.
He's literally done
literally
nothing in the
done
last 10
nothing since then.
innings.
Since then,
except for RCB, he's not done anything for. Oh, Southie. Well played. See, there's no movement now, so it's just he timed it too
so,
well.
Yeah, he found a. Did it stop on the wicket, or he just didn't catch it well?
I don't think he hit it.
The idea was right though, but
This is going to be a
Execution
good
was
chase to watch. I mean, that's why
either
the
Australia
focus to
will-
watch this because they can't slow down and they've lost at least 1 too
6.
many wickets.
Oh no, 4.
that's like your trademark Mitchell Marsh.
Yeah, I think it's slower ball. Yeah, 119.
Otherwise, it would have gone for 6.
Yeah, otherwise it was 6.
He just
Easy
had
pickup
to
for him.
adjust the swing
Yeah.
a bit.
Off cutter. Just picked it and then.
So Somesh, have you been surprised by just how effective Marsh has become in the last year? Did you ever think that Marsh would become this important to
Never,
Australia's
never. I mean, last World
white
Cup
ball?
was a revelation. When actually Langer, is it? He was trying to bring him to the
Yeah, it was a
T20
chance basically
thing,
when that
and
West Indies series
Yeah.
happened.
it
all
almost
the-
seemed like a forced fit, but then he just rediscovered himself. I think he had a very good BBL season.
That he's been having for a while.
For
Yeah,
But
but
I think
ever
I think when he
since
promoted himself, initially he was not batting in the
Mhm.
top order, but he started doing that, and his game against pace really helped them out in the last World Cup.
It's good, right? Of late, all these with all the help of data and everything, everyone has figured like
Oh,
In fact, outside.
very close.
In fact, outside.
players can be useful in these little pockets.
Yeah.
DK in the last 4 overs, Marsh
Mm.
in the first 8 or 9, or
I
against
remember
pace.
Marsh's debut series, was it against South Africa in around 2015,
He
2016?
smashed Stein like
Yeah,
it
it
was
was-
2011 or 12.
No. It
Yeah,
was later
11
than
was
that.
when he debuted.
Yeah,
But the season I'm talking about was later. I think it was in 2014-15.
The try series against Zimbabwe and South Africa probably.
Yeah, I mean
Smacked.
he was hitting sixes like
And he's supposed to be like the kind of the promised prince.
yeah.
He was
I think
always destined for
the
greatness.
issue is they always looked at him as a finisher. They never thought he was a proper batter, and then they realized no, he's actually a better batter than a finisher.
High and impact
Yeah.
outside both.
But again, off cutter from Tim Southey. I think it is some sort of a plan, probably to do with the longer boundaries on that side.
Okay, is it
that
gone?
I think it's gone.
Is it gone?
It's gone. There's no field. There's a fielder there. Gone.
It's game over, lads.
yeah.
It's another slower one, right? Or
Yeah, it is.
I think it's game over. I can't see Australia winning from here.
First game and there's a upset. But is it an upset really? As in,
It is an upset, a proper upset.
Nisham,
Niche with a good catch.
very good catch. That's it, guys. Thank you for watching. Watchalong. 34 for
And
3.
the best part is they're losing after winning the toss.
Yeah.
This is what I wanted to see.
Yeah, this is how
Otherwise,
T20 should
T20
be.
just
yeah.
I
Win
mean,
the toss,
win the toss
game.
and win the game, win the trophy.
Except
So,
Sri Lanka, everybody.
Stoinis, Maxwell, for other Tim David and Wade.
Probably they should do something out of the box, promote like some Pat Cummins,
What?
and then get like 30-40 runs, quick runs. That would be like out. I mean, they should do something like Finn Allen to Australia, like to New Zealand. That came out of the blue for them.
But have New Zealand already shown the Aussies how to ball on this pitch, trying the slower balls in the wicket?
Australia did try, but the
Quality is not
just
there.
like I said, they just got taken aback by what Finn Allen did. Just
I don't think they tried in the first 3 overs, but after that there's only catch-up cricket from them.
what I mean. This was one fielder was stationed there, and Marsh somehow managed to
Found.
find that fielder exactly.
That too, using all of that force to find the only
Anirudh,
fielder.
if you're listening to it, can you kind of can you pull out the stat for Stoinis' strike rate in his first 10 balls year by year in T20s? Because I think it has significantly improved in the last
2
year.
years. Yeah.
2 years for sure. But, I think in the last year especially, it's gone up a lot.
Right. We have a stat coming in. In the qualifier stage, teams had chosen to field in 4 games out of 12 and had lost all 4. Today is the 5th, but I mean, it's not a qualifier stage, but I guess today's might be
But
a 5th.
it's still the World Cup. So
Yeah, it's still a qualifier only. They have to get to the next stage.
it's high time you should start calling the qualifier the proper World Cup, because they were a proper World Cup.
Yeah.
Exactly. And this time it was good that the warm-up matches got washed out. Otherwise, what happens is that there is too much focus on these warm-ups.
And the qualifiers, I mean,
it's very disrespectful to have a qualifier, which is a proper World Cup, because that's what these guys are trying to do.
Yeah.
And you have India playing Australia. That's just ridiculous. Obviously people will tune into India playing Australia.
When is the last time you saw Rohit do this? Not this.
ICC doing everything they can to have as just they don't grow the sport at all.
Yeah.
And like keeping in Geelong, like come on.
Just like the world, even ICC are like closing.
Make the warm-ups happen at Geelong.
Even BBL games don't happen in Geelong.
Warm-up in Brisbane.
The entire world these days is inward looking. So I mean, just ICC is following the norm. Shubh says Australia just cannot chase nowadays.
Yep.
They can only chase players like Tim David. No, chase players like Tim David, not chase.
Looking at the screen, lads.
But who all are there in this group? There's Sri Lanka.
There is Sri Lanka, there is England, there is Afghanistan, there is Ireland. It's a very tight group. It's a very good
I
group.
mean, I think Sri Lanka can cause a few upsets. Let's see. New Zealand, Sri Lanka would be.
This is very unpredictable.
I think we have a stat by Anirudh. Anirudh, can you hop on?
Yes.
Yeah, boy.
So the thing about what Anirudh asked on Stoinis' first 10 ball strike rate. So yes, significantly there has been a big change in 2022. So in the first 10 balls, he scores at a strike rate of 161.3 in 2022, which is like for the first time he has a strike rate of above 135. So previous was in 2020 he had 133.4.
So basically, Stoinis has kind of become a Surya Kumar Yadav for Australia.
Exactly.
Striking from ball 1. Awesome.
Yes.
Thanks for that stat, Anirudh.
Done.
Except he doesn't play spin well. That's the only difference, I guess.
Have you seen this BSNL sports quiz?
Yeah.
It's like that,
Yeah.
For 30 seconds, one guy appears, says something, and
Yeah, but I mean, this point about some player doesn't play spin well. I used to keep hearing this about David Miller as well, and now how he has improved. I mean, these guys are
professional cricketers for a reason.
Yeah.
No, but we have the same thing, no? Shreyas Iyer, weak against pace.
But that, I mean, we can't say that that's going to continue. That's going
to
be there forever, right?
But that's existing now.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. 147. Australia are already
Come
sort
on,
of rattled.
The top 10 cliches like this in T20s, March can't play spin or whatever like that.
Ones into twos.
No, about cricketers alone, individuals. Just stereotypes about batters, bowlers, and all.
Stereotype.
Maxwell can't play high pace. That is one.
Kohli can't play spin.
We are not discussing whether the stereotypes are good or wrong, right or wrong. Just naming them.
Kohli can't play spin. Rohit can't play. That's kind of obvious. Or Rohit is.
So Prashant Sampath has a comment.
Take the question and
he has told you guys it'll be an upset to begin the Super 12s. Australia won't make it out of this group. Hosts always underperform. That's true. Too early to say Australia won't make it out of this group because there are a few other teams as well. New Zealand nightmare semis for Rohit Sharma coming. Prashant.
That is also too soon.
It'll be it's highly optimistic for us to say right now that India would actually come out from the other group. But yeah.
But do you see this? I mean, do you see both the groups going to net run rate? Is it possible?
It is possible. Why not?
So
And
why
that-
not? Yeah.
And actually, if it goes to net run rate,
India will be.
India will be in a better position.
Of course, they
because
have KL Rahul in the side, who will just rip apart Netherlands,
Rip apart,
Zimbabwe, and
yeah.
Bangladesh.
and Pakistan are Pakistan. Pakistan do not have the game to catch up with net run rates.
But they can play Zimbabwe well.
But they can obviously bowl teams out cheaply though.
Yeah.
That they can do.
Like they did Hong Kong.
And they can
Exactly,
they can win
yeah.
against India also. So that's 2
So
points.
coming back to the stereotypes,
But we are talking
Max-
about stereotypes about players, not
players.
Yeah.
not like ones and
And
twos. Right?
necessarily it doesn't have to be right or wrong. Just the
Yeah.
stereotypes you've come across online by commentators and everything. Maxwell can't play high pace is one for sure.
Yeah, I mean, overall it's Australian batters can't play spin.
Australian batters
Yeah.
can't play spin. Australia are good players of pace.
Mm.
And again, that's another stereotype.
Mm.
What else? We have
Ball swings in New Zealand.
New Zealand spinners are not exceptional.
New Zealand cricketers are nice guys.
Nice guy.
Moeen Ali is
And have you heard of Scott Kugelheim?
Moeen Ali is being
Oh.
underutilized by England. That is one we always come across. Oh no!
why
Raw pace
why
always helps the bowling side.
Why is your best batter coming in at number 7?
Oh, double slip.
Double slip. Slower ball seems to be working in Australia. Do you think Harshal Patel will be
Yeah, we've been
effective?
saying this. We really
About
hope.
time we were
Okay.
waiting for a
Hmm.
question on
Yeah.
India.
This we can take this, but the question is, do you want Harshal Patel in the playing 11? That is the first question. Then you can decide if he'll be effective or not.
I want Harshal Patel in the playing 11. If at all, I think
Oh my
from
god!
Rohit Sharma's recent
That was the game right there.
Mm.
recent statements, I think Shami would be in the 11. But if they're playing Shami, I hope they play him for Bhuvi.
Mm.
But I don't see Bhuvi has been playing every single match since the last World Cup.
That is
He's
why I
been
mean,
rested for the.
Yeah, this is why
the-
I feel they won't pick Harshal Patel, but I feel if they want to pick Shami, it should be for in place of Bhuvi.
Could you just
But let's
imagine
Arshdeep
Finn
not
Allen
playing.
against Bhuvi
Okay.
in the
Yeah.
mood he was today?
And if the ball doesn't move,
I thought just imagine Arshdeep not playing and then
Oh,
they
man.
picking Shami over Arshdeep.
oh my god, that would be
That would be an
Colossal.
Indian move.
Not a-
There'll be a proper
that'll be a
Indian move.
proper, but
I'm not a big fan of the scoreboard so far. They're not showing the required run rate. How
yeah,
many?
we'll have to calculate it and ask.
No, they already know that it's out of reach. So they're like, what is the point?
Yep, they need like
Gautam says Warner can't play the away move in delivery, which has
Yeah.
been true for a while,
For a
but
long- yeah.
that gets what you say. This problem kind of gets hidden in like T20s where the ball
Doesn't move a
doesn't
lot.
move a lot.
Yeah. But there is one point when even 120 wide outside off stump, Warner used to
MS
get out.
Dhoni is a great finisher.
Yeah, I mean he's not done a lot in T20Is, has he?
T20 is
Outside Chennai, he's not done.
And
No,
I think
T20s, he has
ODIs
only 250s.
ODIs in the past few years of his career.
Thank God we don't have that cliche that convert the 50s.
There was an absolute fact that Joe Root can't convert 50s into 100s,
Exactly.
but now he's just thrown it out of the window. He's converting even 10s into 100s now.
Stoin is really struggling in this innings till now. Can he get a
And
that's a very good stop
Kane,
from
Kane
Williamson.
is just cool and calm. Finish 160 of 13 overs. Is it done already or what?
160 of 13 overs.
13 overs.
We'll need crazy hitting.
Stoinis will have to
And
turn himself into a Tewatia.
yeah,
Thank God nobody knows Tamil.
Tewatia is actually the
comments.
second
Swear word.
highest run scorer in Asmat so far. Either the run scorer or the wicket taker. One of the two, but he's the second.
Our
highest.
boy Arjun Tendulkar has been doing really
Our
well, I
boy.
guess.
Our
Yeah.
boy,
our boy.
Our boy
When did
Arjun
that become?
Tendulkar.
Yeah,
the son of the god.
son of
he's-
India.
And he's, it's not just Minnow bashing. He's actually, I mean, you can't
He's-
possibly
he-
Minnow bash be playing for Goa, right?
Yeah.
Goa themselves are minnows. So, but yeah,
So he can minnow bash in the nets.
And
a-
here he is.
here's Akash's man.
Yes,
Here is the player.
he's going to take Maxwell's
Okay.
wicket.
I'll tell you
And
what. I'm going to give a wild prediction. He's going to bowl a rank long
Short
hop,
ball and then get a
Stoinis
wicket.
is going to pull him into the stands for 6 mid-wicket.
Look at his strike rate, 16. Would you not take it? Don't forget the economy rate. Would you not take that?
Yeah, for sure. No wicketless spells ever. Oh, I was wrong.
Oh,
Very good. Work.
Hmm.
Look at that turn.
Or the lack of it.
There is turn.
Googly.
Yeah.
Bishnoi.
The English can't play Aksar, but that's a fact, Ankur.
They can't. I don't think anybody can play Akshar.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, we were talking about a cliche, so.
Oh no. 4.
Hey,
Oh,
don't
there
you
it
think
is.
Sodhi has the same action as Hartoglu, Peter Hartoglu?
I want to know if Somesh knows.
I know who Peter Hatzoglu is.
Peter.
He is only Peter.
Peter.
That's all Australia knows.
Peter.
Is Peter.
Peter.
He played for Renegades in the first
Yes,
season,
yes,
and now I
yes.
think he's
Scorchers.
Scorchers.
And he played in the 100 also.
That's how it is. Like crazy.
No, I know his story. He's a Dutch, right?
Yeah. No, Greek. He's a Greek. Yeah.
Hartoglu.
No, the amount
I mean, Stoinis is also half Greek, isn't he? I'm not sure.
Wow, it will be interesting to know that.
Nick Kyrgios is half Greek.
Conway's
Thanasi Kokinakis is half Greek.
100%
South African.
Proteus.
So far, so good from Sodhi.
Come on, Maxi.
He'll get out.
You've
See,
done nothing for the last
he'll
12 months.
hit
Do
towards
something.
a long boundary and get. Oh,
It's just not happening for Australia. It's done. This match is done and dusted.
is this reverse jinxing?
156 of 12 overs.
No, but is this reverse jinxing?
In Sydney with 87 meters straight boundaries. Like,
And the thing with New Zealand is they don't usually
Look at that, 25
screw
dot
up
balls.
from situations like this. This is
Yeah.
when New Zealand are very good.
yeah.
They don't do
With the
they
ball,
don't
yes.
make a lot of errors.
Unless there's a first time for everything.
Yeah, true.
God, guys. Looking again for the back foot punch.
The scoreboard says 7.5. He's just bowled the 5th ball.
ICC or Star, whoever, host broadcaster, can you please put up the required rate? What's the number of runs required? How many overs are left? Because it's just
I
ridiculous.
know Indians are good at math. That is also a cliche.
I am not. Swept.
For 4,
That's a good shot.
good.
151 of
Needed
12.
of 12.
30 of the next 2 overs.
So 12.5 is the asking rate.
But there is one interesting thing that is.
I want to see how Tim David plays this situation.
Yeah.
It'll be fun to watch.
New Zealand don't have very good death bowlers, which is
Yeah,
true.
Lockie's-
Lockie is not a very good death bowler.
Lockie
gets
can be like
smashed.
either this or that.
But Lockie has good days.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
very
He can be this
rarely.
or that.
He gets smashed like for 10 runs. And I mean, against
not
Jadeja, he's
really,
just
I mean-
smacked 3 games. But again, Jadeja is.
I know you were talking about the IPL
Yeah.
2021 final, but that was
No, not just the final. Even in that Dubai game where CSK are out of the run chase, 36 of 2, and he bowled a no ball, Jadeja hit for a 6, and then CSK won that game. Yeah, this is what happens when you watch a lot of cricket. And he's dropped it.
You must be a Kiwi fan here, no? Santner bowling, Conway
No.
keeping, proper CSK vibes.
Oh, he's bowled it slow.
But what was this shot? Like
No,
trying
he's
to
just
sweep a
premeditated.
slot ball.
He's
with so
he's
much-
easily been the slowest bowler, today.
Yeah,
He's varied his pace.
this is
So well.
proper drift. It just didn't turn. Imagine if one turns, that's it. Stoinis is. Oh,
Gone.
shot. But
Is it?
inside
is-
out.
Oh, he's taken
Oh!
Glenn Phillips.
Oh,
You can't see him, but he's there.
see this zero error approach from New Zealand is what keeps
a
them in the
take.
hunt all the time, irrespective of what their squad is.
Is this probably the best catch of the tournament? I mean,
so far.
of
Obviously.
course.
Was there even a catch in the first innings?
No, there was no. Then
No,
again,
I'm saying-
you're forgetting about
Yeah,
qualifiers being the
qualifiers.
actual tournament.
Yeah.
There was a good catch taken at mid-off
Wow.
by a UAE player.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It was.
Look at this. Look at
Junaid?
this.
Glenn Phillips,
Oh,
you
what
cannot
a
do that.
catch. What a catch! Glenn Phillips.
You know,
we were actually discussing in the first inning that Glenn Phillips is a proper all-rounder.
Yeah.
Anirudh says with the game almost done, I think for Australia it's about net run rate now.
Yeah.
That's true,
That's a
but
fair point, but I think
I don't think
they'll help their net run rate by actually going for it.
you know what? They've already won a World Cup. They don't care, honestly. They might as well go for it.
They like Pat Cummins in T20s.
They already won a World Cup.
मेरे को झाट फर्क नहीं पड़ता, घंटा फर्क नहीं
cares?
पड़ता, sorry.
Wow.
You know,
Yeah.
Changing my words.
Did we hear something?
who cares? You know, already World Cup is there last year, and even if Australia lose, they still have won a World Cup in the last 1 year. So
Yeah.
This is what Punjab fans will be after winning a IPL. Like, if we won an IPL, we don't care.
RCB fans will be like, "Isala har baar six tha, to
We just have to. You just want to touch the trophy. That's all.
Ek baar,
Right.
sir, ek
Yeah.
baar."
so we all agree that the game is done and dusted, or
Yeah.
come on, 150 of what, 68 balls?
See, this is the Australia syndrome, no? If it would have been any other team, I would have said game over. But
Anirudh, can you
you
tell
never know
us?
with Australia.
Anirudh, can you tell us what is the most runs
Chase
that
of
have
the-
been scored in the last 10 overs in Australia? in a
Don't ask
chase?
that question. There'll be in Australia.
In
okay.
Australia in a chase.
Yeah, yeah. Otherwise, there'll be some France,
Belgium,
Switzerland, Belgium.
right? Mitch Santner.
Oh, he's bowled really slow.
Cricket says 97% New Zealand.
Yeah.
Not wrong if you think about it.
This is like darted.
I mean, what a catch! That is ridiculous. He's literally from, you know, that one of those fake ads. Rohit dives
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, this is a proper. This is not fake.
Yeah.
So Phillips should actually.
This
Yeah.
is what he's dived 20-30 meters.
So it should have been Phillips in that.
Yes.
Oh, shot 4.
Yes, Timmy. That's the way to go.
No.
But not
Not
even a
even a
boundary. Come
There
on.
he is yet again. Glenn Phillips.
Didn't he pluck one for Rajasthan like that during that in Sharjah? Or he tried to?
I think, yeah, he tried. Oh,
That is, it's very.
wow.
It might even be the catch of the year actually.
Catch of the year. That's, yeah.
Can you think of? I mean,
As catch
it
of the
feels like-
tournament, Somesh is like, it's too early to call
Catch
it.
of the year.
Catch of the year will be like,
you know, it feels like the
If
whatever.
you'll ask us on Twitter, we will say, "Oh, Kohli's catch in the warm-up game."
that's
Somehow we remember catches from years ago, but not
not
catches from
recent.
the last
yeah, from here.
year or.
No, I guess that's because years
think-
ago there's only 30
I
games,
think
not
remembering
60 games.
any things from T20 format is very difficult just
Ac-
because of the
yeah.
sheer volume.
Yeah.
I
every
still
other day.
remember David Hussey's catch, IPL 2010,
14.
I think it was for
Yeah, 14.
KKR.
Okay,
Achha,
yeah.
14 was
I think
popular.
he was the first guy to take that kind of catch.
Oh,
but
the
boundary.
boundary, yeah.
But the first ever person I saw do that was Adam Voges.
Yeah. In
When
the,
McCullum, Hilfenos was bowling
yes,
to McCullum. It was a match in New Zealand's favor. They needed 14 of 12 balls.
And then they collapsed. I mean, they collapsed.
Yeah, we welcome Anirudh once again. He's going to
Yep,
give us
with some such stats. Come
Some
on board.
stat-
tell us
attack.
exactly how difficult the job is for Australia from here.
Is it possible for them? Reverse sweep.
Well.
Land in.
Yeah, so the highest runs chased in the last 10 overs.
Anuj,
I mean,
you're on mute.
successful. Sorry? Yeah, my voice is audible?
Yeah. Go on,
no,
go
go
on,
on.
go on.
Okay, so the highest
Yes,
successful
yes.
runs chased in the last 10 overs is 115 by Ireland against Scotland, like, and the one which happened this year. Apart from that,
Okay.
only 4 times 100 runs have been chased in the last 10 overs in Australia in T20 Ice.
150 Ireland scored against Scotland.
15.
15.
115, 115.
That the
Oh.
game where Camphor was there.
Yeah, and if you remember, even in 2020, when Conway took a similar catch at mid-off against Pakistan, I guess, like he ran at least around 20-30 meters from mid-off towards
Oh,
almost
yeah.
cover, and then he dived. That
Yes,
is
yes.
one, and even Markram at mid-on last year itself.
Yes,
Took
that
one
is Australia
similar
game, I
catch.
think. Australia
Ah,
game to
Steve
dismiss Smith. Yeah.
Yeah, it was
I don't
similar
remember
to
any
this
of the
catch
catch.
actually.
No, but this I remember. I was on analysis for that game.
Yeah,
Right. Australia
Okay,
need probably
Great. Thanks for these
30 of the next 5 balls.
another helpful nuggets from our statsman Anirudh.
Right,
It's
okay.
another dot.
I say Australia at least need 2 sixes of the next
They'll,
balls.
they'll have to score a
I
6
mean,
at least every
after that,
over.
Marsh is 6. They've not hit a single 6, right?
They have to score a
Have they
6
even
every
scored a
over.
boundary?
Yeah, Maxwell.
Oh, that
Reverse. They have to score a 6 every over. Oh, he's beaten him. This would have been a wicket if there was first slip. And then
Okay.
Gurkirat will be like, no, that is a pressure situation. That's why he got the wicket. Yeah. But look at this turn he's getting. I don't think
So
Zampa
New
got this much
Zealand
turn.
bowlers are getting swing, they're getting turns. So
Or is this
Prashant
bad
has
batting?
I think
to say.
Finch messed up the toss. Okay, Prashant Sampath says no anchors in middle order guide the innings, just hitters. Warner, their anchor got dismissed in an unlucky fashion today. Anchor role in T20 is underestimated analysts.
That's
Can't
true.
put in stats.
But it
Sort of
depends on
agree,
what kind
yeah.
of anchor you have. If you have an
Yeah.
anchor like Smith or Williamson, not helping.
Not helping.
But if you have somebody like Conway, I mean, Conway is the right
Warner,
example.
Or
Yeah.
Warner, yeah.
Conway, I mean, today's game, Conway is the best example. The way they could have gone either way. They could have been to 130 for 5-6 also if they'd gone with the all-out approach. But Conway is that one glue that kept them on for this 200.
Yeah. Abbas Kunde was very angry with us for talking ill about East Sodi. Says this is where they want Smith. Sort of, I don't really
Hard to,
agree. Smith is not the
I mean,
right comparison because they already have Finch and Warner to do that kind of a job. It's just that Warner just got out early in rarest of fashion.
So it tells you how much they rely on
David
Warner. Yeah. That's
But
the
that-
2 points I had mentioned in the
yeah,
preview
that-
where
that-
they can lose the World Cup
That is,
potentially.
that is something
if-
that which is known prior to the tournament as
If-
well because of the way they are structured. Warner
Yeah,
is very
if Warner
important.
has a bad tournament and if Zampa has a bad tournament, then you're looking at trouble.
big trouble. And he's
Finally a
Oh.
finally a 4.
Okay, 139 required of the last 10.
Time for a change.
Time for a substitution, lads. In fact, there's 3 on right now. 1 in the studio. And who's going to go out? None of you can.
I'll-
And then both of them are going to go out.
Let us all go out.
Is Shub
No,
coming?
no.
Is Shub coming?
Hello. Oh no, Shub's not coming yet. So Shub's finishing dinner. Guys,
Finishing dinner.
sorry,
Which part of the country?
lunch.
I know you're
Crazy
watching
Nicks is
Australia.
also back on. I'm back on with
Nikhil, who would have thought?
who would have thought?
I said Saudi will take. Saudi will do a box. So yeah, this is pretty much on the cards.
Yeah, we predicted
No,
that,
but I
to
mean,
be fair.
okay, I mean, let's keep the individual performance aside for a while. Who would have thought that this would be such a massive upset in the first game itself? Or are you still giving Australia a chance from here?
To be honest, no. They could potentially still have. I thought they could have a Saudi stay out, like it did in that one another non-consequential game against New Zealand sometime
Yeah.
on a tiny ground.
They lost
But-
by 1 run, I think, in the end. Australia,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah. So I think I thought something of that. It can still come with one of Maxi, even Pat Cummins maybe can do a better job, but it's just too many. Probably 50, 60 too many to take in the last 10. With regards to chasing, I think there is a good stat that Australia never chased around 160 against England also. I don't know. I just very randomly read it somewhere, but it just tells you if they're not even chasing 160 against England, who don't always have the best of their bowling attacks. There is a lot to be written home into the conditions that they played the last World Cup in, how it is Warner and Marsh. And I think those top 3 are very crucial for them to lay the platform. Without them,
Yeah.
this is as good as Pakistan minus Babar and Rizwan.
But everything's gone New Zealand's way. A bit of luck, which they needed for Warner. Saudi
Yeah,
doing
but
well. Saudi doing well.
But toss.
Yeah,
If Finch can't get the toss right, difficult times.
See, the only reason Finch still has a job is because he wins the crucial toss.
So you're saying Rohit was
Yeah.
also similar.
Not really. Not
No, but
really.
Finch won the toss today.
Yeah, but
Finch won the
No, that's
toss.
what he's saying.
But Gurkeet, in hindsight, don't you think it was not a good decision? Obviously, in hindsight, you wouldn't have known that then. And they were coming off from 3 games where they actually lost chasing against England. Because if you look at the second innings, the ball actually moved when the temperature would have cooled down.
And the lights even more
And
effect.
the ball is turning as well. So the pitch slowed down.
I think captains would want to just
It's-
lose the toss. Don't take that pressure at all. Just lose the toss. Let the others take the decision.
And some have even admitted during the toss saying, yes.
I think the call was fine because at that point of time there was also rain around. So when there's rain around, you want to prefer
Yeah,
chasing
that's
Because
actually
you-
a fair point. DRS,
because you
yeah,
never know
DLS.
how DLS calculations will come in and who will have to bowl when and everything else. Plus, there was a little bit of movement on offer initially. It's just that I don't think Australia expected Finn Allen to come and hit hard at them, and they were shocked. They were pretty much shocked from that point of view.
Oh, that's an absolute whoops.
That's a bullet.
Crunched.
No, but I was just going to ask you all if Santner's been the best bowler in the match so far because he's been pretty crafty.
It's a 6. I thought one
That's a
more
flat
And we just
six.
had a stat before you guys joined that no team has chasen more than 115 in the last 10 overs in Australia in a T20I ever. So
Yeah.
this is what Australia are targeting here is monumental.
And the record holders are Ireland, just by the way. Against
He
Scotland.
goes again.
That's
He goes
another
again.
six.
And
Oh,
he's
gone.
gone. There was a deep mid wicket in place. And
That's
Tim
it.
David perishes. Jimmy Neesham completes the catch. Third for Santner, lads. Crick Crazy is smiling away. Talk to me, Nix.
Very happy to see this. It's always pleasure to see the big guys taking down. Again, it's the year. It's the year that New Zealand can go 98 all out and post 200 against Australia. It's just the theme of the year that you cannot. Everybody's playing like Pakistan. No, there is no predictability. Anyone can turn up, do anything. But again, I think New Zealand have really outplayed Australia with the bat up top in their power play. They were always going to outbowl in under lights because, as we discussed just before going off, the Team Saudi is excellent at getting any help out of surface, and if it's just with a new ball, and I think that was great to see. And again, that importance of getting Warner out early because he's someone who's going to shield you from Santner, from Sodi, and not allow them to get in the game. I think Warner gone early brought Santner right back to the game, and of course he's taken the lead.
No, I also think that
has been almost a Goliath, isn't he? David.
I also think that somewhere Australia, especially after losing the wicket of Stoinis, they probably needed to recalibrate their target, and there was probably a case for someone like for someone like Wade to come ahead of Tim David purely because.
I wanted to ask that was there a tactical error? I mean, both of them are finishers.
It was because one, it would have allowed for a left hand right hand combination, and also I think when it comes to taking the game a little deep, Wade would have probably been the better bet as opposed to Tim David, because you might say that I'm being a little harsh, but you also need to keep an eye on that net run rate, right? When you're so far behind in the game, you need to break down your target into 2 or 3 overs that this is where I want to be, and then from there on I want to go all out.
But having said the net run rate scene, because it's definitely going to be coming into the equation at the end of the tournament, do you think
this was
Australia should do a Dhoni right now in terms of take it as deep as possible and avoid
but they don't have
stinging 80-run defeat?
They don't have a Kedar Jadhav.
Because if they play like this,
I don't really. I mean, I agree with a little calculated cricket, but not really from a net run rate perspective. I mean,
also,
like
one thing that I want to say is that was very smart piece of bowling from Santner. He pulled his length back and bowled it slower, which actually made Tim David hit it more square rather than in front of square. The first six that he hit,
similar to Stoinis' wicket as well, right? Where he lured him in. And in the previous ball to that wicket was again like a slow dangling carried outside, and he tried to sweep and missed. So he went over outside off, and then Glenn Phillips doing the rest. Big call on you, Gurkirat, but Glenn Phillips being a fantastic fielder, and we saw it come to the fore. What a catch that is!
Yeah, that's pretty routine for someone like Glenn Phillips. It might be, the catch that Glenn Phillips took might just be the best catch that any fielder will ever took, right? But if you are again Glenn Phillips, that's routine. For anyone else, that's probably
it's not the best catch we've seen in the last 2 weeks for sure. It's second best.
I can see that. I can see the Kohli fan taking offense.
Well, that's a match-winning catch. I mean, this arguably
is the match.
Oh, but yeah, jokes apart though, fantastic hands.
Actually, Glenn Phillips should have made it difficult for him by catching it with one hand. Routine.
I think Glenn Phillips is the dream of all Indian parents. He can do everything. He can bat, bowl, wicket keep.
Him and Liam Livingstone.
No, but if he did take it one hand, then it would be fair to say that he won the match single-handed. Like how I do it with LSG.
Is he an IT engineer? Is Glenn
sorry, Nick, I'll just come back to you. I just want to encourage all the people watching to subscribe and comment as well. And ask Nick and Gurkirat, and of course, three of us here, any questions you want to about predictions, whatnot. Uncle Jane going in the comments below saying such IPL vibes. Wicked right after the break. Yeah, I mean, it's T20 vibes. Go on, Nick. Sorry.
No, I was just asking if Glenn is an engineer as well, because that's what everybody wants first. And then if he can do everything.
Yeah, probably.
Maybe. So now Sodhi, of course, Sodhi's fan and then Sodhi's enemy in our screen.
Sodhi's enemy.
and he's going to be taking on Maxwell. And Maxwell, I did some research. The switch hit that he employs.
He's failed to connect even one switch hit today.
So, how many runs do you think percentage of his T20 runs has come off the switch hit?
Probably 30%, 27, 30%.
That's a fair big number, but slightly there and thereabouts.
I would say 23%.
19%, which is still 1/5 of his runs batting left-handed. I mean, talk about Warner and his switch hits. Maxwell's a joke, honestly. And he does it again, and he gets 6.
Wow.
This is ridiculous, bro. Yeah. I mean, I know, I'm sorry to bring back the whole RCB vibes here, but when he played this knock in Chennai with AB, I think at the other end, he was taking people apart.
He if I'm not wrong, he hit Krunal Pandya for a couple of boundaries this way.
Yeah, Krunal Pandya, the left arm medium pacer.
But yeah, so here's my issue with Ish Sodhi. Like, in a game which has been essentially closed.
Sean, if you're watching, clip this and make a thumbnail saying Sodhi.
No, but the thing is, if somebody is batting like this, what possibly can you do?
What is the issue?
No, but see, even in this game, if you see his economy rate is probably the highest amongst all the bowlers, and this is a game where it's pretty much done and dusted. If it's not completely done and dusted, right? So in such kind of a situation, you expect the bowlers who are coming in to do better and not bowl without discipline. So that's something which I've seen quite too often with someone like Ish Sodhi, which is why he makes which is why I'm always not very confident of Sodhi doing well. And when he does well, again, I'll go back to that India game last World T20. Then he breaks open the game and pretty much.
This I 100% agree. But today is the wrong example because all the 3 boundaries are Maxwell's left hand. How can you bowl to a right hander who's just batting left hander?
So basically, Ish Sodhi is not a stat padder.
Yeah.
See, but again, people have a lot of issues with a lot of players doing stat padding sometimes in the name of them performing against weaker teams.
Such as people who average 50 and strike.
I want the names. You gotta name names.
Okay, so I'll give a name. There's this criticism there's this lot of criticism of KL Rahul, especially of him scoring runs against weaker teams and everything. But at the end of the day, it's not that everyone can score runs against those weak teams as well. It still requires some amount of skill. So, yeah, I just think, just looking at those records in isolation and saying, oh, these performances are not worth it, or this is something like people keep saying that, okay, say Sachin didn't perform in the finals. Like he's not performed in the finals of the World Cups, be it 2003 or be it the 2011 World Cup final. There's this, people say, but what they forget is that you needed performances to reach to that final, right? You wouldn't have reached the final before without Sachin.
I think there is a stat that says in all finals, Sachin is actually the leading run getter, and he has the most centuries among any other player in finals as well.
Might be. I'm just saying that this is a criticism which is held when players don't do well in the finals, and everyone says, "Oh, runs before that are useless." I'm saying it's not true because you need performances in those preliminary stages, in those Super 8s or Super 12s or Super 6s, and in the semi-finals for you to reach the finals. So to say that someone has not performed in the finals, has not done well in the World Cup or in that tournament, I think that kind of criticism is very unfair because you need performances at all stages and at all levels to reach the higher stage. Without that, it is not possible. So this isolation in which people look at some numbers of knockouts, I don't think it's fair all the time.
Yeah, man. I mean, I agree with you because haters will always hate in any sport, so they'll pick out stats.
But एक बात बता, KL राहुल ने कौन सा नॉकआउट मैच खेला है? मैं ये सोचने की कोशिश कर रहा हूँ कि ये बात
No, the match.
Edgston gone. Lockie Ferguson, the enforcer that he is, gets one. I was just going to ask you guys about Lockie Ferguson, about Maxwell, but obviously he's got Wade now, so it's a bonus. Maxwell against high pace. I was listening to you guys earlier. What was the whole chat about that?
No, it tends to struggle.
Struggles.
Yeah, we were discussing analytics cliches.
Oh, like that.
Like Australia cannot play spin. Maxwell struggles against high pace. New Zealand are good guys.
But it's insane. So basically, it just makes me think of that video we did about the perfect subtleties, and we put out a chart as well of which team has what. Australia almost had a tick in every bucket, but yet
Yeah.
T20 is a fickle format,
Fickle,
my friend.
fickle.
Where, by the way, did you get the T-shirt done, Gurkirat? That's what we want to know.
Bro, we
I'm-
need a
I'm-
pin it here.
Yeah.
It's literally
I,
been
I,
there. Like,
I'm waiting for Sumesh to give it to me with the CDC logo so
Next time
that
we'll
I'll
meet,
do the shoes with that. Plus, it should be there above that empty space on the back wall, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, above I think above this,
Sean, let's get it done.
above this.
We need
Pramod
that
Anand
chart.
going on to say, good to see my old colleague Nikhil here. Want to know when I can receive some jalebi fafda from him.
Yeah, all of us, please, Nikhil.
Yes, please. Let's come over at Sunday and have a big good watch along with some good jalebi fafa. Always happy to share that.
Done, of course.
Amazing.
Abbas Kunde saying Paji doesn't like Cody's Paji ने left India. Ish, क्या कह दिया आपने?
आवाज भाई तो फॉर्म में है एकदम.
Abbas, you like it?
But
Subscribe, Abbas.
But he's a Sodi fan for sure.
Who?
Going by his
Yeah, for sure. By the way, Knicks can Pat Cummins treat New Zealand bowlers like Mumbai Indian bowlers right now.
Yeah, and
stitch up
let's
a
not
partnership.
forget, even that game was over.
Yeah, that game is also over. And it didn't come in a scenario. So Ferguson to Cummins. Oh,
Slower ball.
Slower
Yes.
bouncer.
smell the leather, smell it. But yeah, guys, coming back to now what this done into the group, because if we see another upset at 4:30, maza aa jayega, bhai. Afghanistan, New Zealand on top.
सब हार हो जाओ.
And I want to get a clip cut of Som from the T20 preview saying my job, my next on the chopping block is New Zealand done well, and we'll play it in loop.
मैं
We'll play it in
मैं
different
इतना
ways.
carried away क्यों हुआ preview में भाई?
No, I don't blame you, man. I don't blame you. But wow, what a performance, dude, New Zealand. Insane.
From here on, I won't call T20 games at all. I would say कि हाँ देखते हैं भाई. क्या
Oh,
होगा.
swung away. This is a glimpse of what he did in Abu
I
Dhabi.
use Gurkirat line as a defense. देखो मैं ऐसा सोच रहा हूँ होगा, but it's a fickle format. देख लो.
Abbas going on to say, I'm a Saudi fan versus Oz and Park. If you know, you know. I agree with you, my friend.
Okay.
But look, he's already doing what he's done before in Abu Dhabi. Cummins, 4-2, a hero in the leg side.
Now Australia should really aim to bat 20 overs because they need to get closer to the target, or else after this loss they could really bid their chances of topping the group goodbye. If they
But
lose
when do
by
they take that call? When do they take that
Now.
call of batting 20 overs? Because right now, Cummins and Maxwell still are going to go for it, bro. They're not going to play
they
passively.
Even if they have to win from here, these two have to play bat for 20 overs.
They have to play blinders.
But I don't think Australia have ever played for 900. Last year against England, after that loss, they never played. I mean, the last game Bangladesh gave them a chance. Please play for the net run rate. Apart from that, they never played for the net run rate.
Yeah, but guys,
So-
I mean, if you look at last World Cup, I mean, it's a good point that you
South
brought in.
Africa went out.
No, if you think Australia lost badly to England and you were like, "Yeah, Australia, kuch nahi," and they came back, and even the qualifiers, look at it, Namibia and Scotland were the teams who actually got those upsets in the first and second day, and those are the two teams that
Are not
who had
part
to
of
pack their bags. So, yep.
So we are saying that. So we are saying Australia is going to do a Sri Lanka.
Yeah, Australia
Yeah.
can very well win from here, and New Zealand might not be in the semis, hopefully.
Except that as Asia Cup, this is Oceania Cup.
No, but it makes it more compelling, guys. I don't know. Lots of people around the world would have been like, yeah, this is a straightforward tournament. Even Kiwi fans, I think, on their
No,
things are
fastest
saying-
bowlers. Oh, he has no
Billy
competition this time. No Umran Malik. The only competition he has is maybe Mark.
Was
No,
Billy
Hendrick
Stanley that
Hendrick
fast?
not
Yeah,
here. Hendrick not.
Billy Stanley was that fast.
fast.
And he used to bowl only from this.
Yeah.
He
I'm
was
surprised
like,
Bumrah's
No,
not there. now.
this isn't this World Cup. This was in T20.
this is all World Cup.
I know, but
Bumrah
like,
has never played, no?
oh,
That's why.
Bumrah's not played
2016,
a ball.
2016 he played.
But I mean,
Last 5 years.
not enough, I guess.
Last 5 years.
Not enough to be in this list.
Okay, right. I love it because Saudis come back into the attack with final over. This is make or break, chaps.
Let's see how many wickets
Come
can we
on,
get.
Saudi.
There's a good chance that
Yeah.
Maxwell will get dismissed in this over. Very good
Oh, it
chance.
starts off with a Google.
Google.
Strike दे भाई Maxwell को Cummins. तू नहीं मारेगा.
Chalo,
Face को मारना
chalo.
बात.
Left-hander chahiye crease pe.
Wow.
I really want to see Afghanistan
They have a
beating England
left-hander, by the
comfortably
way.
now. Not comfortably, but hopefully Gurbaz and Zazai come out and they literally tear it apart in the Optus Stadium. We'd love to do a
Gurbaz
watch
even,
if we get
is
good
Gurbaz
numbers.
even playing the game today after his injury against Pakistan?
That's a good
I
shout.
think he might play. That's Yeah.
Maybe. Oceania Cup seems to be a good idea, but there's only one winner there. Papua New Guinea.
Our own Peter Della Penna. Pramod, you should also
PNG.
start doing those tweets with arrows and all like Peter Della Penna.
100%. And imagine PNG winning that. That Charles Amini will be Pramod's best friend forever and ever and ever. But Sodhi into Cummins, can he give strike to Maxwell? He can this time around.
Well played.
Australia 90 for 6. You don't normally associate a scorecard like that with them, but they're chasing 201, which is ridiculous.
What do you mean?
No, but they do.
Australia were 90 for 6 on most days.
And Bevan and Big
whenever the ball moves off the straight, you can always associate that with Australia.
Yeah, for sure.
If the ball swings or it spins, that's it. Australia 90 for 6.
Look,
Yeah,
even
but
if
you can
Australia
expect
don't
that-
get across the
you can
line,
expect
look,
that with
how
most
important
teams.
is it for Maxwell to get some runs? Because we've been saying, oh, Maxwell hasn't been in the best form heading into the World Cup. It's still essential for him to strike.
Yes!
Sorry.
No, but he called it. He said that
I
he'll get out
called this
this over.
before the over
Yeah,
that
yeah.
Maxwell is going to get out in this over.
That's the
Because-
big disclaimer which saves
See,
Gurkirat's bacon for
No,
the day.
this is not a big wicket. This is a minnow wicket because they've already lost the game. So
And I really like how RCB guys think, right? The team is losing the game, but ये बंदा form में आ जाएगा इस मैच में, थोड़े रन बना लेगा, कुछ तो अच्छा.
Hey, I'm just saying from an
Diamonds
Australian
in the dust.
perspective.
no, the only thing. Do you have your calculator on?
But you have to, of course, appreciate
But
Maxwell
you know,
is going
I-
for it.
Very honestly, if I was in the Australian management right now, I'd be really fuming at Maxwell throwing his wicket away, because there's still 6 overs to bat. At the very least, you can expect to add 50 runs, and those 50 runs could really mean a lot, because South Africa got eliminated on the basis of net run rate last time, and they were found they were a little lazy while chasing that score against West Indies and Bangladesh, and that came back to haunt them. So yeah, but this was on the cards, because seeing Sodhi, Maxwell would have definitely attempted a boundary, and yeah, this was really poor awareness from Maxwell. I'd say.
Okay,
Now they should just bat for the 20
Australia
overs.
playing the
let's just
matchup.
have a small poll here. Do you think Cam Green will make? Will find a place in Australia's 11 by the end of this World Cup?
Not by the end of this World Cup, right after the World Cup kickoff.
No, I think it's a good shout. Somebody will get injured. That's what he meant to say.
Oh,
Somebody will get injured.
No, even without an injury.
Somebody got to get hurt.
But in place of who?
That's the question.
Maybe Marsh, maybe Maxwell. I think those are the only.
Marsh
two
is
options.
like for like.
Maxwell's not going anywhere.
Yeah, I think Stoinis, but again, they won't replace
No,
Stoinis.
Stoinis.
So that's it. There is
I think
nobody
only
else.
Mitchell Marsh, maybe.
Maybe.
But
If
why
they-
would you want to do that?
If
Because-
somebody pushes Marsh and he gets hurt, and then they replace him again.
Yeah.
Isn't
We-
Cam
we
Green a
should
better
do-
bowler
we
than
should-
Stoinis?
We should ask our editors to clip out that prediction that I made just before the over.
पक्का भाई.
Easy.
Bowl और क्या clip
Yeah.
करवाना है? Bowl बस.
Goal. Okay, so
Must
now
have-
what? Australia need to, like Gurkirat keeps mentioning, net run rate. Do they just play ODI cricket from here and just be
Australia, I don't think they care about net run rate. Only we care about net run
But
rate.
bro, that'll be like bluff 2 or bluff
Doesn't matter
3.
for them.
That's
They're
not-
like we'll win all the other matches. If that's the way we are going in, we are going in. Otherwise, we are not. They're not like RCB fans who calculate, oh, the other teams are winning by this runs. How many we have to win? It's not like
It's all got to that stage yet,
भाई
but it
RCB
will.
साथ भी यही होता है.
Sodhi
पहले 12 मैचों में वो नेट रन रेट का बिल्कुल ध्यान नहीं रखते. 40 पे ऑल आउट हो जाता है. आखिरी 2 गेम में लाते हैं कि हाँ भाई 100 रन से जीतना है ये वाला, और फिर वो लोग 50 रन से हार जाए.
Oh, the RCB in the last 4-5 years has been shocking, honestly. But Sodhi 1 for 29, and obviously the spinners have come to the fore for New Zealand. 4 for them between both of them, I think.
Okay,
Saturday,
I want to know who's your man of the match today?
or Conway.
Conway or Allen.
I would say Finn Allen. He
But they won't
basically-
give him.
But they won't
think-
give those man of the
I
match
think
games.
he derailed Australia's mindset from the get-go. Australia never recovered after that. I mean, this is what felt like.
No, but who are we considering from broadcaster perspective, or that's what I want to know?
No, from our perspective, like who's
From the
the-
Conway stage,
From a
Yeah,
CSK
exactly.
perspective, it's either Conway or Santner.
Santner.
I think
I-
Finn Allen.
He is still on, so
but
Santner is a good
why
shout.
Santner? I mean,
for me it's between Finn Allen and Conway.
yeah, I mean, I don't think Santner has a shout here.
No, but he
It's a
had a,
batter's game, so.
No,
yeah.
it's not even about the batter's game, because
No,
if you look at it as a
Yeah,
singular,
actually, more than
He's already
Santner,
ahead in
Southee
the game.
200 is a very big first innings total.
It
Yeah.
is. It is.
And then Warner was already out.
Gone.
Oh, nearly.
One bounce.
So when Santner came in, he was essentially the game was
In the
it was
bag.
his game.
But I think
Finn Allen-
I think Conway will win it because
And this was Finn Allen's first ever game in Australia. I mean, first ever T20 game itself. I mean, let alone international. So
First
So
game in Australia for
basically,
World Cup.
Finn Allen did what McCullum wanted to do in the final.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
We can't
and he
blame
watched
that.
the ball. He
No, but,
watched the ball.
He watched the ball.
Yeah, the only difference is
course.
he didn't step out the first ball. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's the.
Oh, run that. 93 for 7. It's just literally just gone downhill for Australia ever since that.
No,
Yeah.
if there is something you have to learn this World Cup,
I
don't.
think we are doing the wrong watch along. We should have done the England Afghanistan.
No.
This turned out to be a damn squib.
No, but if there's something that we have to learn this World Cup, don't predict.
Don't predict.
That's the best choice. Don't predict anything. You say anything, that will be wrong.
By the way, the England Afghanistan toss is going to happen in like 15 minutes. So you can tap on cricket.com. There's no threat of rain in Perth. So that's good news. And it's the Optus Stadium, so it'll be interesting to see how that goes. We all made predictions for how much New Zealand will score, and we all kind of came close, but no cigar. How much will Australia lose by? That's the next prediction I want to ask everyone. I think I will stick with 69 runs.
Lockie Ferguson.
Not a dirty mind, but
No,
like,
Lockie Ferguson. Of course.
and Pratik Kandari is also taking the piss in the comments. Given that T20 is a fickle format, Afghanistan's chances against England
50-50.
10% chance.
10%.
I'd give them more than that, I think.
Upse Sara prediction 50-50.
I want to see what Critletics says before match about.
The pre-match prediction is always max 60-40. इससे ज़्यादा तो change कभी नहीं होता.
I think it'll be, I think 60-40.
No, 70-30 in favor of England.
70-30. Okay.
Aussie can lose to Sri Lanka, Afghanistan also if they play spin like this. Agreed.
Yeah. They have good numbers against Tikshna.
But they're playing Sri Lanka in Perth, if I'm not wrong.
But यार पर्थ में बॉल थोड़ा बहुत तो टर्न होता होगा, ऐसा थोड़ी कि टर्न ही नहीं होगा.
If they get a score, they will be fine. If they don't get a score, then they don't have a chance.
But Australia don't struggle against spinners. They struggle against the concept of spin. They don't know when it's going to turn, or that's the big thing.
I think there's one more thing. I mean, obviously, once you look at something like a 96 or 7, you inevitably goes to the batters and say, not batted well. But do you think that Australia bowled well up front? 3 overs, already 40 runs, or were they just blown away by Finn Allen and it was a rarity?
Blown away. They
didn't
actually
expect,
pulled it
they
very
didn't
well.
expect Finn Allen to hit them as hard as he did. No one saw that coming.
They pulled back the game a little bit. I thought.
But not a lot, right? 200 is still
No, but
a
in
good
the
score.
no, they
I'm
pulled it
saying
back
they
in
pulled
the
it
middle
back.
and then death
They
overs.
pulled it back from the 5th over till the 10th over. But then once Williamson was dismissed, then they lost the plot again. Pretty
Okay,
much.
let's do this exercise.
See, their death bowling has always been a concern, and what saves them a lot of damage at the death is them getting wickets either in the power play or in the middle overs. They got only 1 wicket in the power play, and then they got only 1 wicket through Zampa, because they would have expected Zampa to pull back the game, but that's what I'm saying. That middle overs where Conway played Zampa brilliantly. He scored 32 runs off his 17 balls, and in the remaining 7 balls, Zampa gave only 7 runs. So and took 1 wicket. So this actually makes me more inclined towards giving the man of the match to Conway than Finn Allen, because what Conway ensured was that impetus from that fast start is not lost in the middle overs and is continued till the death. So yeah, I mean. And we had discussed this, I think, in one of our previews before, that if Zampa doesn't click for Australia, then their bowling also becomes very vulnerable, because they don't have a very good death bowling unit, and there is a oneness to their fast bowling attack as well.
Is it too early to say, or did Australia's bowling slightly got exposed today?
They didn't use the 6 bowler, so I don't know if they were like doing the right thing.
I wouldn't really say exposed, because
They haven't lost yet.
Short.
They just need 9 more sixes to get close.
Now we are getting into the zone.
No,
Get the calcium out.
Let's
wouldn't
say
really-
even if Australia, I mean, even if to nahi, but if Australia go to the semis and they play India, it's sort of similarly set up team, right?
Hmm.
It's
Yeah, but I
filled
think
with
if for that, either like if Australia ends second, then India will have to end up first. But the way the seedings and everything are, uh, it's like that. The seedings are in a way that India finish second and Australia finish first, and they play in Sydney, right? But if India finish first and Australia finish second, then they play in Adelaide. So that really changes a few of the things for Australia. But I think regardless of where they play and what is the venue, they really need to bring in Ashton Agar for one of the pacers when they play India. That should be a no-brainer. Which pacer will that be is something that they'll have to decide upon. Uh, but yeah, for me, it's pretty clear that Ashton Agar has to come in against India.
Right, let's just jump on that question which is thrown in the comments below, and I want to get Nix's predictions here because I've heard the boys, and I want to see if they've changed their opinion in one game so far. Uncle Jane went on to ask thoughts about highest wicket takers in this year's competition. Nix, who are you inclining towards? Is there an Indian in the mix in your thinking, or absolutely not?
Kagiso Rabada, man of the match also in the World Cup final. So yeah, Kagiso
Whoa,
Rabada.
whoa! That escalated
Oh,
quickly.
boy.
South Africa to make the finals, really?
Yeah,
Not a
they
bad
do.
shout.
Temba to do the Finch, and yeah, let's see.
But to do a
Okay,
pinch.
okay.
You mean win all the crucial tosses?
Yeah,
And bat at a slow rate.
yeah. But I think,
I'll not go to the
But last year Finch had one knock. Will Bauma
Yeah.
have one knock is the question.
yes, he will for sure.
I mean, not to like fat shame, but we were actually having this chat here in the India South Africa Watchalong about the fattest captains going around in world cricket right now. But Temba, Finchy, Rohit.
Yeah, of course. I mean,
Arey, why?
Yeah, but this conversation over weights reminds me of what happened to Inzamam before the 2003 World Cup. He apparently lost some 10-15 kgs, and he scored lesser runs than the amount of kgs that he had lost before
easily
that World
lost.
Cup.
Yeah.
He really couldn't score a run or anything.
You
So
know,
maybe
had a shit World Cup, what, 2003?
Yeah.
India got run out.
Run out and then
Yeah.
Australia, that Simon's game.
No, I think it's a very safe call. You don't remember how Inzimam got out, just say run out.
Just say run out.
It will be quite possible.
Prateek Kandari going on to say, if India reach semis, which team will India fancy their chances against out of New Zealand, Australia, and England?
Definitely not New Zealand.
Yeah, definitely not New Zealand. For sure, because we've obviously burnt our fingers in Manchester, which Gurkeet was telling us about.
I think Ireland.
Or you say, yeah, extended part of England.
If we have to pick, I think I'd pick England.
But England are too tough.
Agar England mein oil
Bowling!
It's gone.
And that's Bolt's first wicket of the tournament, so he might be in the run for.
Bold does a Stark to Stark.
Yeah.
some fantasy points there. I'm sure Nikhil would have had Bolt in few of his teams. Nikhil doesn't make one team.
Few of
just
his
saying.
teams.
Yeah,
Few
he
of
has,
his teams.
he makes
Obviously,
like 10,
उन्हें पता
15
है.
teams. Not 10, 15, but like 8 teams, I guess.
Right, this is a statement win. This is a romp from New Zealand. It's only a matter of time about how many they win by. And wow, what a way to set up the competition, because everyone thinking Australia. Now it's England, Afghanistan next. What about the other two teams in this group, Sri Lanka and Ireland? They'll be watching this and be like, we might fancy Australia, right?
I don't think
Ireland,
so.
after like what they dismantle West Indies.
No, Sri Lanka won't be thinking that. They know how. They know what happens.
Sterling सोच रहा हूँ फिनाले ने जो किया ये मैं कब से कर रहा हूँ ये.
But one second, Ireland, Australia is a fixture we haven't seen that much, right? I don't know, like if I've seen an Ireland Australia
No,
game.
you
But would you want
Australia,
to see that?
you know, Australia's fixtures outside of a few top teams, say India, England, South Africa, no one has seen much of those fixtures because they don't happen. Amongst the big three, Australia's the board that doesn't really play against smaller teams. India will still send a second string team to Zimbabwe. India will still
देखो ना खेलते हैं तो क्या हो जाता है जिम्बाब्वे से हार जाते हैं.
England still went to Netherlands.
England will still play, and not only that, England, a lot of players from Netherlands, Scotland, and Ireland do play in the county circuit as well.
Yeah.
Australia doesn't do the same.
Australia are risking their lives to send their players to.
Wow.
No, I was just okay, guys.
No, I won't go there. But what I'm saying is,
First
Wait,
warning
wait.
on the show.
No. You,
Go Golem, another one.
So Gurkrit, when you say I won't go there, you meant the statement or the?
I meant the subject. I meant the subject.
Just jokes, lads. But New
as
Zealand
far
getting the
as I'm
performance
concerned,
done.
someone who loves traveling, I'd be happy to go and visit most countries. I don't have an issue with that. Like as a tourist, you can. I mean,
Yeah. By the way, Avnish, Jayesh, I liked your tweet.
By the way, 1 second. Who has a better knuckleball in the game? Trent Bolt or Zahid Khan?
Clint
Shardul
McKay.
Thakur.
Clint McKay.
Clint McKay. Good shout.
Clint McKay knuckleball, I can never forget. Courtesy 2009
Jade Durnback.
Hyderabad.
Jade Durnback.
Clint McKay knuckleball 2009 Hyderabad stays in my memory forever.
I think Pat Cummins has the best knuckleball because उसकी एक उंगली तो सिर्फ नकल ही है ऊपर से.
Yeah, he fractured it or he did something really messed up when he was a kid, but he still bowls seam up with it. So
No,
good on
but
them. Australia capitulating, the favorite word that I like using when people are
Capitulating.
you know,
We should
coming back
make
to
it
one of the questions that Avnish had asked about Australia's bowling being exposed. Yeah, I really don't think that we can say that because uh, howsoever that they have conceded runs today, it's not something that we didn't know from before that they can actually concede runs in those areas. We had already discussed that if Zampa doesn't get wickets in the middle overs, it will get tough for them. We saw them concede runs at the death against India as well, and in the power play as well. Given how most of their pacers are pretty much one-dimensional in a way, or one-length bowlers, when batters come after them and the conditions allow for it, they can be hit for more than 50 runs in the power play. So I wouldn't really say that it's been exposed. These weaknesses have always been there, and good teams have looked to target it.
and it could be a one-off. I mean, Som just mentioned even Australia being rattled by England in that first game, and then they came back hard. So it might be a one-off. Finn Allen was a new entity. Obviously, Australia would have made plans against him, but everything kind of came off for him. Arya Yutsu going on to say in the comments, right said Gurkirat, Australia could really pull more weight to help Fiji, PNG, Singapore, and Hong Kong.
No, they're taking help from Singapore.
Yeah, वही बोल रहा हूँ. उनको help करने के लिए उनके अच्छे player ले लिए.
New Zealand did the same, no?
Not cool.
New Zealand took Mark Chapman, Australia we'll do.
So who will they
same.
take from Hong Kong?
But on this subject, Jason Gillespie, who's been the coach of PNG for some time, he actually said that he would like Australia to get PNG in the Sheffield Shield and allow them to play a lot more games, because that way PNG will also grow as a cricket team. But then logistics and everything, like just what happened, like there was this test match scheduled between Afghanistan and Australia, and Australia very conveniently called off that test match because Taliban wasn't allowing Afghanistan women to play cricket. I'm 100% sure that before that Australia didn't even know that Afghanistan has a women's cricket team, or they were not even playing women's cricket even before that. So Australia,
Thank God you said the second part. I thought you were talking about the first part. Australia wouldn't even realize that they had Taliban. That's what I thought you would.
Guys, it's kind of gone really below the belt.
No, how?
I have at least. I'm still thinking about my comment.
Australia are a nation like that. They don't care about others. Australia are just into themselves.
We're talking about our neighbors, dude. Come on.
Nimesh Juneja, will just take your comment. But before that, will it be the final ball of the first game? It's Trent Bolt to finish his quota of overs. 110 all out Australia.
No,
Saudi has to take one more, so not yet.
No, they'll get on Nelson. It's 111 for 9. Nimish, new friend to the channel, I'm guessing. Subscribe, and we'll, of course, shout out your comment right now. Guys, I saw a picture of Hardik's knee being strapped during India's fielding session today. And a person tweeted saying he was limping. I hope it's nothing serious. Otherwise, Hami gai bhai.
Others hum gaye.
Wow. And Hami, I'm guessing. I mean, you can interpret that two ways. Sorry about that. But plenty of footage. I think we should have that footage coming out from Sandeepan Banerjee. So, if it does give us a glimpse of an injury.
मैंने पहले बोला अगर हार्दिक इंजर हो गया तो इन सबको वापस बुला लो यहाँ पर.
So Hardik's a bigger MVP than
यहाँ पर
Surya.
एक mini IPL conduct करा लो.
So Hardik going out, does that kind of
No, it helps India because Shardul
make
Thakur comes in.
Pakistan favourites?
Shardul Thakur plays them. Then you have the Lord.
Yeah.
So,
Shardul
that's
Thakur
what-
plays and then he picks wickets out of the blue. 3 wickets out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the
but
old
just,
Shardul.
just to add one thing about that out of the blue thing. I went to the 2018 game in Wankhede when that.
Oh, 1 second. Hold on your horses, because who wants this?
Drop.
Saudi.
Never are they going to drop that.
Nikhil,
111.
he said this before the over. The Saudi has to take one.
And it
more.
was fitting that Conway actually getting the catch, winning the man of the match.
ये कुछ लोगों को मैच की स्क्रिप्ट पहले मिल जाती है
It is
सही
quite
नहीं है ये,
ridiculous.
अच्छी बात नहीं है
And Saudi, honestly, Nicks, that's why we've got you on cricket.com for the watch along, because you have an amazing insight. And the Nostradamus that you are 3 for 6, Saudi. Wow, that's quite brilliant.
So
honestly.
we have had
Okay, a stat has just come in. A stat has just come in from our statsman that this is the first win for New Zealand across formats in Australia since 2012.
2012. Yeah.
Wow, what a way to do it. What a time to end it. 10 years, pretty much. New Zealand getting their first win by 89 runs. And if that isn't a statement to the other teams watching this right now, I don't know what is.
And the nice guys would have been cheering. We fooled them in the series a month back by not showing a true character.
But being nice.
1 second, guys. Gurkirat Nicks. We talk about New Zealand punching above their weight. This is punching the opposition out cold.
Yeah,
Knockout punch.
Yeah, I think the win will help the group a lot. It will just keep more teams also that much more interested, because if Australia slip up from here, they have a very big net under to catch up to. So
This result is huge for Sri Lanka more than England, because I think that Sri Lanka and Pakistan have been two teams who've got the best roster in terms of venues and the opponents that they are playing at those venues. Like Sri Lanka would have really loved playing New Zealand and England at Sydney rather than playing India at Sydney. And now they'll play Afghanistan at Perth. If they had gone to the other group, they would have played Pakistan at Perth. So Sri Lanka has those 3 games, and then there's one match against for them, which is against which team? Ireland. Yeah. So
Ireland.
I think this win is a very, very huge result for Sri Lanka, because if they are able to get 3 wins somehow out of those 4 games, then they have a real shot. And Australia plays Sri Lanka next. They will also be under a lot of pressure that they have to win that game somehow or the other. So pressure can do very different things, and it can make really teams play out of character or do something which is, they can even punch above their weight and punch below. So this is a huge result for Sri Lanka, I feel.
Yeah, pressure can actually make some teams have Rohit Sharma bat at 3.
Look, I mean,
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know. But yeah, I mean, Sri Lanka helping them enormously, but New Zealand, of course, sitting top of the table, 1 game in. And who joined them? England, Afghanistan. Let us know in the comments below. But Ankur has let us know in the comments below. Shots being fired all over the place in the first watch along. The rest of the watch alongs will be fun. Absolutely. Reminding our viewers once again to join us. India, Pakistan, the big one, the mother of all battles, whatever you want to dub it. Honestly,
Grandmother. Let's call it a grandmother.
hopefully rain doesn't play a spoil sport in that, but it'll be fun to bring it to you. Just to look at this fixture right now and talk about the positives, the negatives, in just a nutshell, guys. What is the main cause of concern? What has entertained you?
The game itself was entertaining. I mean, this sets up the World Cup nicely.
It does.
See, positives.
I'm very surprised
Australia.
at something. This was only the 4th T20 international that New Zealand have played in Australia.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, the Trans-Tasmanian.
And not just that. At one point in Big Bash, there's even this thing saying that include New Zealand. I mean, best teams from New Zealand to play in the Big Bash, and Australia said no, we don't want to. So this is a statement to them saying that we are
Australia,
better.
मतलब एसोसिएट नेशन को तो छोड़ ही दो, अपने पड़ोसी को भी ज्यादा नहीं खिलाते. उनको लगा इंडिया आने दो, इंग्लैंड आने दो, बाकी अपने घर में बैठो.
They're living in a bubble much before bubble became the norm.
Yeah.
So New Zealand getting the job done. Just looking at the figures and stuff. Spinners 4 for 60 between their 8 overs, but like Som said, the game was already in the bag, with New Zealand getting up to 200 batting first, pretty much to Finn Allen and Conway with a 92. And let's see how it really unravels in this group, because like Gurkirat mentioned, Sri Lanka will be chuckling away at the TV sets. Conway is rightly the man of the match,
Player of the
as
match.
we all predicted.
Player of the match.
Player
Player of the match as well. Sorry, the batters and the bowlers and the players. But yeah, it's been a good watch along, guys. Any final words, reactions from you guys back at home? Because like we've been harping upon, this is the first win, special win for New Zealand and all of that. But who do New Zealand face next? Do they face Ireland?
They have
next?
Afghanistan on 26th.
Which we're doing a watch along.
Today
By
is
the way.
22nd. So
Do they have a game in between?
check on the
Let's check.
cricket.com app.
Yes.
Check in the cricket.com app.
They play
Check
the
it out.
26th only, Afghanistan, Melbourne.
Afghanistan. Yeah.
So that's going to be a good game. And yeah, honestly, like just going through.
So
the
what is the
cricket.com
net run rate now?
game-changing
Let's check.
overs.
4.4 plus
4
4.450.
Four.
What?
Biggest
Four?
positive.
Wow. I was thinking like 2 or 3.
Four
but
is like a
that's
dream of
insane.
every RCB fan. इतना net run rate चाहिए बस शुरू में ही.
Guys.
पूरा साल
wow.
निकल जाए.
No, they'll get the 4. Except it'll be -4. The one that happened against CSK.
So the game-changing overs, you guys can check it out on the cricket.com app.
Game changing होगा शुरू से. First over
First
से
over,
game
the first over was a
changing.
game-changing over. And then Australia's first over because it had the wicket of Warner.
Also another big game changing over was Kane Williamson getting out.
Kane
Yeah,
Williamson getting
yeah.
out. Yeah, which worked well for them.
No data will be able to predict it, but yeah, that was a game.
But they were already well said. I mean, let's cut Kane some
See,
slack.
their turning point is this.
This
It actually turned off the bat.
But I think it was New Zealand's day out and out.
fully.
Thoroughly
This
dominated.
is such a lucky dismissal.
So we'll
Yeah,
also
but
get some tips for you.
this was like the ball wanted to go to the stumps.
Yeah.
Like this could have easily been a scene in Bollywood movie where the ball flies from the bat, it goes somewhere, then it bounces, it goes near the boundary, takes a few bounces inside, then comes and rolls onto the stumps. This can actually happen in a Rohit Shetty movie because there is no concept of physics anyway in those movies.
or the ball was crime master go के आया हूँ तो
Oh, God.
But what was that movie where there was Shah Rukh Khan and Nasiruddin Shah as ghosts?
Chamatkar.
चमत्कार.
What a movie
Yeah.
that was.
This was like a scene from that movie. The ball had
All-
no business.
All
The ball had no business
just
hitting the
like
stumps.
him.
Yeah, and now all the Adam Milne fans and stuff will have to take a back seat because Saudi's kept his place intact at least for the next couple of games. Let's wrap up proceedings and call it a day on the cricket.com watch along. The first of many in this World Cup tournament. It's going to be a riveting one. Tomorrow, India, Pakistan, just a general reminder. We're putting out a preview as well with Arshid at 6 p.m. to catch it all. And good luck to all you guys watching England, Afghanistan. Hopefully, Afghanistan win. It'll be some way to kickstart a tournament. Thanks so much, Cricket Crazy Nicks, Gurkirat, Somesh, and Akash. And not to forget Anirudh and Shubin, all the backroom stuff that we have.
And thanks to you.
And me as well. Last
He wanted you to say that.
Super Saturday, can it get better? It
Can
can
it
get better. If Afghanistan win, and maybe United win as well. Thanks for watching. It's a goodbye from us.
Cheers.
Thanks
Cut.
guys.
Cheers.